from them. In round number 1, we're going to be seeing almost a mirror, the only difference being Grayson on Mage, Thugonomics on Destruction Warlock. Who do you think got ahead in the blind pick here, Vin?
Honestly, I would have to give the edge to the boys in this particular matchup. I feel like Getchur Boy Dog, what they wanted to go against was a melee cleave, something like the Windwalker Death Knight that the boys has run in the past, and I feel like the boys sort of anticipated that decision from Getchur Boy Dog, and that's why they decided to tag in Thugonomics on that Destruction Warlock. Toe-to-toe, I feel like maybe in the late game, Grayson, if he can survive, he'll be able to sort of whittle down and kind of dampen Thugonomics. There's going to be decent, consistent pressure in this game. For Chun-Li, it's going to be a lot more difficult to go after Grayson. Obviously, the Mage is a very slippery target, whereas for Thugonomics, he's going to be more tanking a lot of this damage. Very durable target, but as the game goes on longer, a lot of his self-healing gets reduced, and that's when there's going to be some vulnerabilities here for Getchur Boy Dog to sort of exploit on the side of the boys.
Reki moving in, stunning up Baby Cakes, so Thugonomics can rain down some chaos. Chun-Li rolling over with the Fist of Fury now as well. Flop going to respect that exchange of damage and activate Iron Bark, which reduces incoming damage and more than easily allow Baby Cakes to survive that attack. We see Grayson channeling a Ray of Frost. And Baby Cakes trying to go after Thugonomics, but not too much damage thrown onto him. The efflorescence down here from Gareki, that mushroom with the green circle under Thugonomics, a lot of extra healing. Definitely a great heal to utilize when healing a class that is so stationary, such as a Warlock. Thugonomics is not going to be moving too much, so he'll get the maximum benefit of the efflorescence. Grayson the target here for the boys, although he saw it coming, activating that temporal shield, but it is now over, and there is still a touch of death, which is about to explode. Big hit potentially from Chun-Li onto Grayson. He's on the run. There it connects, but Flop immediately responds. Just Mend and Iron Bark easily stabilizing Grayson. Now the boys switching their attention to Baby Cakes. Feels like the boys are looking a little more loose in game number 1. They're more frequently switching targets, trying to keep Getchur Boy Dog on their toes, and they're running them out of mana faster because of this. I'm curious if Getchur Boy Dogs are just playing for dampening. This is a strategy that is effective against a Destruction Warlock. It's usually safer to just avoid them, get into the later stages of dampening, and then go for a kill on them, really taking advantage of their lack of mobility, and then let dampening reduce their effective self-healing, which is their strength in the early game. Right now, they're spending a lot of time trying to go after Thugonomics, but they're feeling the pain. Baby Cakes is trying to make a trade here with Touch of Death activated. He could be doing a big hit. Greki anticipates this big hit and activates his Iron Bark right before it happens, making Thugonomics not even get dented.
Baby Cakes is actually, interestingly, running Tiger Eye Brew specialization. Thugonomics, of course, on the Destruction Warlock is going to have quite a bit of armor, so using that potentially exploit that later on, but Flop's getting swapped to this big burst damage coming in from the boys. That was a nice attempt from Chun-Li and Thugonomics. They managed to force out the Trinket, Barskin, and Iron Bark, so a lot of that key defense. I think they actually got the Safeguard Trinket as well. So Getchur Boy Dog very vulnerable in this spot. Baby Cakes, Grayson, they're going to have to do a really good job making sure they peel for Flop. Flop has to stay out of line of sight, try to survive, because you can bet the boys, they're going to want to get aggressive on this Restoration Druid as soon as possible. If we look at mana, Flop is way behind at this point. He's at around 50% mana. Like you were saying, Sid, I think Thugonomics, Chun-Li sort of bouncing around, making sure Flop has to put heal over time effects on multiple targets, really is going to be taxing on that mana pools, whereas for Gareki, he's really only had to heal Thugonomics. He's just sitting in Efflorescence. It's not down right now, but for most of the game, he's just sitting in the Efflorescence. He has full heal over time effects. Grayson, the only stop he really has is the Kleptomania, which he's kind of just pressing on cooldown to try to force Gareki to use some mana, but I would say mana is in favor of the boys at the moment.
Thugonomics using the new Essence, Conflict, and Strife. This grants him an extra honor talent. I believe it is the Demon Armor, so he can go for a lot more aggressive honor talents baseline, running the Focused Chaos, which is just going to make his Chaos Bolts even beefier, running the Entrenched in Flames so that his Conflagrate will root a target in place, and then running the Fell Fissure, which these three combined together are all three aggressive choices, which is no surprise to see Thugonomics moving for more of an aggressive Destruction Warlock build. When one of these Chaos Bolts connects, he can then use the Conflagrate to hold the target in the Fell Fissure. This is a nice combination of honor talents thanks to the new Essence that Thugonomics is looking to utilize, and likely why Flop is spending so much more mana than Gareki. These gigantic Chaos Bolts fly in, and then the Fell Fissure is immediately reducing a Swift Mend that may come in right afterwards, so Flop needs to time these Swift Mends once the target has gotten out of the Fell Fissure. Otherwise, he's going to be wasting a lot of healing.
Yeah, and I mean, like you kind of talked about, the Conflict and Strife, the Demon Armor for Thugonomics, that's why Baby Cakes went into Tiger Eye Brew. He wants to try to shred through that, but it's been futile at this point. Really not too much damage is coming out from Getchur Boy Dog. Flop is behind right now. Chun-Li putting out some massive solo pressure, and it just seems like Chun-Li, he's willing to go wherever he wants. Like if he wants to make a swap on a Grayson, he'll do it. Without Thugonomics, they haven't been super coordinated. They're just putting out as much pressure as possible in this matchup, and I think that might be the best strategy for them. This is the touch of death go. Leg sweep, a lot of potential damage here for Baby Cakes, but Iron Bark has a response from Gorecki, going to mitigate a lot of that damage. Thugonomics still just tanking through, spamming out the Chaos Bolts. Now it's Grayson that's on the back foot a little bit, flopping a prime position to keep him alive with no crowd control. We're at about 5 minutes and 33 seconds in the game. 5% dampening, and I think as dampening gets higher and higher, I have to say, I feel like the game might start going in favor of Getchur Boy Dog with Thugonomics being such a low mobility target.
Yeah, early game, the advantage going to be given to the Destruction Warlock. Quite a durable class in the current meta, but deeper into dampening, when its self-healing effects are reduced, healing effects just in general reduced, it then becomes a little bit of a liability because it just cannot run away from the incoming damage. At that point, it becomes more of a race. Can Thugonomics kill the target before he inevitably goes down? We are now at 7% dampening. My expectation is around that 20 to 40% mark is when Thugonomics is going to be most stressed. In the meantime, the boys are cooking up a lot of heat here, getting an ice block from Grayson, switching over to Flop, getting a bar skin from him. Cooldowns forced from 2 members, still struggling to recover, slightly behind on mana on top of that, so the boys are in a good position right now to find victory. Still 10% away from the 20% dampening mark. Maybe just netting a kill right now. Grayson on hypothermia, very low and interrupted on polymorph. Iron Bark needs to be enough, but it may not be. The Gladiator safeguard and the ice barrier looking like they're going to be enough. Grayson holds on by a thread. Scary moment for Getchur Boy Dog in game 1.
Yeah, Grayson dancing with death in that situation. Now popping the Icy Veins, looking to get really aggressive on Thugonomics. Trying to put out big damage. What is Gorecki going to do as a response? He's holding on to the Iron Bark. Pressure just isn't there for Getchur Boy Dog. 13% dampening, still can't get much done. Bash over onto Thugonomics. Chun-Li makes a swap over onto Grayson. Flop's mana has been taxed quite heavily. I think Gorecki's actually sitting down for a drink at this point. He's going to be resetting his mana. Thugonomics will dip low, but I think it's a fair trade for a total reset on your mana bar. Iron Bark gets thrown out. Thugonomics will ultimately recover. And this is just a massive lead in the situation for the boys.
This is a build that Gorecki, I feel like, was the first Restoration Druid to run, is with the Spring Blossoms. This is a talent that makes the efflorescence I was talking about earlier, that red mushroom with the green circle, do even more healing, which is why Thugonomics, he's just stationed like a turret inside of the efflorescence, getting a lot of extra healing and then able to just stand in the face of his opponents and do a lot of damage. I really like this build from Gorecki with the Destruction Warlock, as it just utilizes it assists with their weakness, which is movement, quite a lot, and it allows Thugonomics to stand in positions that he otherwise wouldn't be able to, so he can get more pressure out. The boys are definitely building their composition to try and maximize Thugonomics' potential in the match. So far, it's gotten them 1 ice block. They're looking to try and get the second as soon as possible, because if they can't, we're now at that 20% dampening mark. The Fell Fissure with the Entrenched in Flames here onto Baby Cakes is super effective, especially at reducing the self-healing from the Reverse Harm Honor talent. I really like that combination from Thugonomics. Getchur Boy Dog at any point could be caught off guard by that. Grayson still just taking a lot of damage from Chun-Li with Fists of Fury flying in. Chaos Bolt flying in now as well. Ice Barrier going to absorb that one, but a second one. Grayson moves too far forward. Second Chaos Bolt connects into the Cataclysm. Gladiator Safeguard going to proc along with that Temporal Shield. Temporal Shield absorbing any damage hit and then healing it back a few seconds later. So Grayson looks like he's going to be all right, but maybe not totally recovered. Flop expending his Iron Bark. Ring of Peace knocking Flop away. Chun-Li moves in, but out of line of sight into a polymorph. So is Gorecki going to move forward to dispel this, or is he just going to say, yeah, you went too deep, Chun-Li. You're going to be crowd controlled for a while. I like this from Gorecki. A lesser experienced healer would maybe overextend to dispel and then compromise their positioning. Instead, Gorecki stations far back and prepares for the assault that Thugonomics is currently undertaking. Dipping below half, but now recovered. Thugonomics, he's moving forward. It looks like the boys want to go for the second ice block as soon as possible.
Well, I think they realize this is not the best situation for them to be in. They have a lot of pressure. It seems like they're winning this game, but I think things start spiraling out of control quite quickly for Destruction Warlock, especially as you reach that 40-50% dampening mark. A lot of the self-healing that they have, a lot of their absorbs aren't nearly as effective, and Baby Cakes is going to be able to put out a lot of damage, especially with a Tiger Eye Brew. If Grayson can just you know, assist him with a Frozen Orb, an Ice Nova, a Comet Storm. That's a lot of burst damage. Grecky will struggle to heal through that. Icy Veins now popped. Thugonomics could be in a little bit of danger as he gets interrupted. Baby Cakes, unfortunately, not able to interrupt that Chaos Bolt. Big damage over onto Grayson. We'll have to see if Flop can keep him alive. Chun-Li just polymorph behind a pillar. Gorecki just positioned so far away, and it seems like with the positioning the boys have right now, Thugonomics in midfield, Gorecki positioned very far away, they're kind of happy with the way the game's going, but I'm a little afraid for them, Sid. I mean, do you feel like as the game goes on, the boys are going to be in trouble? I mean, they look like they're in trouble right now. Thugonomics is trying to gateway to safety while Gorecki sits down for a drink, but that cost him a lot of health, and now at 33% dampening, is Gorecki going to be able to recover? Big soul to force regrowth, looks like it, but now they're stacked up. Big mistake by the boys. Baby Cakes looks to punish with a triple leg sweep. Ring of Frost Cyclone to follow up. The crowd control was good, but Thugonomics' defense was equally so, denying any sort of damage incoming with that Mortal Coil and Fear. Now setting up a swap to Flop. Is he going to drop here? Chaos Bolt casted onto Grayson instead. Thugonomics trying to create some split pressure. Grayson anticipates, Temporal Shields, absorbs the hits, although its healing going to be reduced now by 36%. Flop has to recover 2 members of the team, maybe even 3. Gorecki sneaking in and stunning Baby Cakes. They switch their attention to Baby Cakes, hitting the least hotted up target. So heal over time effects from the Druid cost a lot of mana. If you have to apply it to 3 members, it's going to cost you a lot more than 1. But in the meantime, Thugonomics under fire. Baby Cakes overextending, but going for the kill, popping that touch of karma, looking to go all in desperately to get at least an unending resolve from this assault, but not even finding that. Now they're down the touch of karma. Fortunately, Grayson is back to having 2 ice blocks in this match. It has now been long enough for that to reset, so he will fortunately have 2 of those to work with into these deep dampening stages, and it's now a matter of can Thugonomics race the kill faster than Getchur Boy Dog, because he is not going to be able to run away on the Destruction Warlock. We're getting to that do or die phase of the match. Ooh, bash on Baby Cake with Touch of Death. Paralysis on Flop. Baby Cakes could easily fall right now. He transcendences away. Chun-Li in hot pursuit, trying to actually put some damage on Flop while his Storm, Earth, and Fire are on Baby Cakes. This is a good maneuver from Chun-Li to create some split pressure. Unfortunately, he gets polymorphed up. Grayson with good peels. Now Thugonomics is in trouble. Ray of Frost gets shammed out. Grayson goes for another polymorph on Chun-Li. Now Chun-Li's in a Cyclone. Good control from Getchur Boy Dog, but the damage just isn't there. Thugonomics is easily healing through this. Gorecki with Iron Bark tops him off. 44% dampening. We're about 12 minutes into the game. What is Thugonomics going to be able to do? Because this damage from Baby Cakes is going to start really adding up. There's been good attempts here by the boys, and once again, they're going after Baby Cakes. Still no touch of karma for another 15 seconds, no transcendence for 3 seconds. Baby Cakes has to be careful. I feel like he's going to be the main target. There's an attempt here over on the Flop. Safeguard procs. Barskin gets used as well. Infernals get dropped out. Flop could be in a lot of trouble, but Grayson with a nice Ring of Frost on Chun-Li, on the Infernal, is going to keep Flop alive, and now it's Thugonomics who could easily go down. Yeah, Flop turned that around quite quickly. Now Thugonomics is behind on cooldowns, and this is where that Warlock becomes a liability. He's not going to be able to run away too easily. He's going to try to, but it's a Windwalker and a Mage. You're not going to be able to get away. Thugonomics is going to have to kill them faster than he goes down at this point. There's nowhere to run. It's do or die. Chaos Bolts are flying in. Grayson needs to respect them. He's going to ice block. Thugonomics is still low on health. Baby Cakes looks to take him out. Can they kill him fast enough? Grayson is now in trouble. Is Grayson going to have to abort and hide behind the pillar? He's mortal coiled now. Luckily, the pathing is bringing him out of Thugonomics' line of sight. Thugonomics fearing up Baby Cakes, Chaos Bolting Baby Cakes, trying to create pressure there, but there's too many cooldowns on Baby Cakes. They can't afford to spend too much damage on him. They need to be attacking the Mage. They stun up Baby Cakes. Thugonomics generating some soul shards for what could be the end of the match. If he can get a Chaos Bolt off here, the Flagrate Root onto Grayson. Chun-Li connects. Perhaps Chun-Li can just close this out. Flop into the paralysis. Grayson racing for the kill. Maybe both members will die at the same moment. Second ice block forced. Thugonomics, of course, not going to have that luxury. Only Iron Park left in the tank for the boys now, almost reaching 60% dampening. Curious to see if we can break records here. Flop now almost completely tapped on mana. Thugonomics lobs out a Chaos Bolt onto Grayson. When Chun-Li gets out of that Cyclone, it's going to be scary. He's got Touch of Death ready to go. Is he going to pop it? Baby Cakes is going to go for his. Gorecki respects that immediately. Iron Barking. This is where the Spring Blossoms is really getting to bloom. It's getting a ton of healing on Thugonomics. Gorecki jumps in. Chaos Bolt flies in. Grayson couldn't blink out of line of sight in time. Chun-Li looks to push forward and close the game out here. Flop, can you handle it? 57% dampening. I don't think so. Spell lock secured, interrupting Flop's heals. Grayson is desperate. He polymorphs up the Windwalker, wraps around the corner, barely staying alive. Ring of Frost. Chun-Li transcendences away from it, rolls in. Polymorph again. Somehow Flop has managed to at least stabilize the team, and if they're just stable enough, Thugonomics doesn't have any defense.
It could be anyone's match if Grayson can just lob out a bit of extra damage. Chun-Li is still crowd controlled. Thuganomics is trying to solo Baby Cakes. Gorecki looking to support him by holding him in place, but not able to. Thuganomics is interrupted. Grayson can't afford to take another Chaos Bolt. The next Chaos Bolt's going to close the game. Mortal Coil onto Baby Cakes. Who's the Chaos Bolt on? Gets interrupted by Baby Cakes. Any Chaos Bolt at this point is going to be the end of the game. We're now above 60% dampening.
And that's what it takes sometimes. Thuganomics getting low. Paralysis on a Gorecki. Preemptive Iron Bark. There's a lot of damage coming in from Getchur Boy Dog. They're trying to close out the game. Gorecki with the counter stun on the flop, and now it's Grayson on the back foot. Chaos Bolt gets interrupted. Chun-Li looking for a solo kill. Gorecki moves in. He wants to close out the game. Flop, what are you going to do? Can you keep Grayson alive? He blinks away, but Thuganomics also low. This could easily be a cross kill. Grayson blinks away, dancing with death. Ring of Frost gets traded out. Thuganomics falls. Will Grayson fall also? Fist of Fury from Chun-Li, a cross kill, Sid. It's going to go down to a 2v2.
All right, 65% dampening. This could actually break records. 85% dampening is currently the world record for the highest amount of dampening achieved in an arena match in the Arena World Championship Series. Currently, though, Getchur Boy Dog appear to be behind. Chun-Li's looking to close it out, and even though Thuganomics died first, it doesn't matter. If they can kill off Baby Cakes and Flop, they will be the victors of this match. Somehow, he stayed up until Touch of Karma's available. Surprising to not just see him use it immediately. Chun-Li goes for Flop instead, dropping the Touch of Death. Paralysis, it's about to explode. Big hit potentially onto Flop. He doesn't have much to stay in the fight. He's not running that Guardian affinity, so his bear form not going to be too durable. But now Chun-Li, he spent a lot of time being aggressive. He may actually be overextended. Baby Cakes looks to take him out, and Chun-Li's taking a ton of damage and will ultimately go down. Maybe Gorecki tries to play it out. Nope, not going to be. Taps out, and no.
Over the numbers from the mana restored of both the healers, and I noted that Flop, obviously he had much worse mana the entire game, and the ever-rising tide, the lower mana you are, the more it regens. So for Flop, it actually regened over 60,000 that one trait, whereas for Gorecki it only regen 20k, so that really does show how much sustain these healers are getting when they do drop low on mana.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's such an important trait, and that's one of the things about these essences, is they really can be game-changing, and these players are showing that. For the boys, I want to see them with a more aggressive strategy. I feel like Gorecki, he needs to try to end the game a little bit sooner, push in, help Chun-Li in those moments where he's going for those solo kills, trying to get pressure on Flop, trying to get pressure on Grayson. You see Gorecki move in, and he's landing stuns. He's also helping out with damage. Maybe they could take him down, but Baby Cakes in some trouble. That was a big attempt. Good offensive push there by the boys. Baby Cakes pass the trade out. The Touch of Karma, barely holding on. I wonder if this is something that they can repeat consistently in this game. Do you think Baby Cakes is going to get caught off guard like that again?
Maybe. I feel like if his Transcendence is in a good position and Chun-Li doesn't have his immediately on top, then he should be able to escape to safety with some reverse harms and catch some heals and be fine, I think. So it's really up to Baby Cakes. It seems like it's in the Windwalker's hands as to whether or not they are ultimately going to go down. Outside of potentially a rogue mage composition that could lock a Windwalker down long enough to kill them, I don't think the Destruction Warlock and the Windwalker have nearly enough lockdown to prevent the mobility of Baby Cakes. It would be a bit of a throw by him to go down so early on. Maybe an Ursul's Vortex, though, and pulling him back on the Transcendence. Even that, I feel like he should be able to avoid. Transcendence used there, escaping from Chun-Li. Chun-Li instead looking like he wants to switch targets. Trying to find Flop and Stealth, but not able to. Flop stuns Thuganomics. I think Gorecki stuns Flop. They're going to go after Flop. Looking for a lot of swap potential early on here against Getchur Boy Dog. Really shaking off that first defeat and just trying to build momentum here. Still playing in a good position. Chun-Li has Touch of Death active, but he's in a Cyclone, so he's not going to get too much extra damage from it, unfortunately. Great Cyclones from Flop, removing Chun-Li's hardest hitting attack.
I feel like at this point, the boys, there's some moments in the game where they could be a little bit more coordinated. Chun-Li had a really nice double leg sweep there. He put his images on Baby Cakes, went for a big Fist of Fury Rising Sun Kick, while Thuganomics was casting a Chaos Bolt on Flop. So, I mean, maybe they're trying to split their damage, just try to create as much pressure as possible, but I feel like if they focus their damage, they're going to have, obviously a much better time trying to close out the game early on. As we've seen, Flop with his mana can hold on for a really long time. These essences, when you're lower mana, they're more effective. So even though you get low, your mana's kind of deceiving at that point. I feel like Getchur Boy Dog is going to be able to hold on for a really long time.
Yep, the ever-rising tide, along with the vision, or sorry, the memory of lucid dreams. These combinations of essences are basically what every healer is running, at least Restoration Druid. And it makes it so basically you have infinite mana, and even though we see them get down to like the 10% mana mark, these essences will proc and return mana at a higher rate. So they'll just be sitting around that 10%, 20% mana range almost indefinitely, which is why we see Dampening getting to such high points. Baby Cake's in a bit of trouble as he is overextended. Doesn't even seem like he really cares. Ironbark from Flop should allow Baby Cakes to be aggressive in this position, but once again, that Efflorescence build from Gorecki doing a lot of healing before Dampening. Thugonomics can just bunker down here, become a turret on that Destruction Warlock. I really do like that synergy between Gorecki and Thugonomics in terms of their build. And then Chun-Li is kind of the one on point, looking to try and set up kills and pressure with his lockdown, switching targets quite frequently. The composition overall is a good one. The Destruction Warlock, the Windwalker, and the Restoration Druid, but Getchur Boy Dog are playing around the weaknesses. Although early on they're being quite aggressive, and it looks like the boys are punishing, but big heals come in from Flop. Baby Cakes continues to push forward. I'm almost surprised to see him be this aggressive. To me, it's they don't really even need to get cooldowns from the boys. They're not going to run them out of mana from the new essences, so staying aggressive like this just risks them losing the game. I would have much rather see them be more focused on defense and trying to get to Dampening. I think around the 10-20% mark, that's when you start pushing for cooldowns. You want to get unending resolve. So when you get to the 30-40% mark, the Warlock doesn't have it, and you can run them over. For the first 5 minutes, I feel like it's better for Getchur Boy Dog to just avoid the fight and not risk losing, because it's so difficult for them to actually dent the health bars. It seems like they're the ones more at risk playing aggressive. So Getchur Boy Dog, I almost kind of want to see them slow down a little bit.
Yeah, let's play a little bit safe. It does really feel like Getchur Boy Dog, their main win condition is bringing the game late. I mean, Thugonomics, look at him. He's very durable with the Restoration Druid healing him. You'll see him get a little bit low, but he'll instantly spike back up. And I mean, outside of a Miracle, outside of a long crowd control chain on Gorecki, they can't take him down. They just can't. So I think unless Getchur Boy Dog is willing to just push in and try to land crowd control on Gorecki to win, it just feels like a futile effort at this point to take down Thugonomics, but they're going to try. Baby Cakes gets stunned up. He's in a little bit of trouble. He has to actually run. Touch of Death was committed by Chun-Li. In the meantime, they actually got an ice block from Grayson as well. So this is a big victory from the boys. They're getting a lot more cooldowns. They managed to get an ice block from Grayson. Baby Cakes has had to play a lot more scared in this matchup. You know, you can see Gorecki's going for a lot of re-stealths, and when he gets the Rake Stun onto Baby Cakes, that's when they can channel out the Chaos Bolt. Chun-Li can come back, get some burst damage going, and they can really force Baby Cakes in this situation where he doesn't feel that confident to push in and maintain that pressure on Thugonomics. Big attempt now onto Thugonomics. He gets a huge heal from Gorecki, and he'll stabilize off the back of that Ironbark.
Yep, Gorecki in the back line, casting those Nourishes, a powerful Honor Talent heal. This is also synergized well with the Destruction Warlock because Gorecki knows he can't really be targeted. Baby Cakes out in midfield again. I think he's being overly aggressive and could potentially throw the game. Stun locked multiple times, but Ironbark looks like it's going to be enough from Flop. Chun-Li sees that cooldown activated and switched targets, going after Flop instead, but not able to bait out anything further. So Flop playing that patiently, Grayson supporting him well during that stressful moment. Dampening now ramping up at about 8%. Gorecki activating that Essence, the Memory of Lucid Dreams, going back to 100% mana thanks to its restoration effect. Flop is behind, although it was kind of crazy. I feel like Flop is behind the whole game, and then there's a certain point where Gorecki just spends his entire mana bar. But it's still likely to be getting to that 40-50% dampening mark. But when we get there, it's almost kind of a toss-up as to who is going to take it. If Grayson can't avoid the Chaos Bolts, then he could easily fall down. But if Thugonomics is just being pressured too much, he's just going to fall over. Baby Cakes rolls in, gets crowd control. Flop looks to get follow-up, jumps in, secures the bash. Thugonomics and Chun-Li move back to support. Flop gets denied on Cyclone. Gorecki escapes. He's looking to run away, but Flop holds him in place with that Ursul's Vortex into a Cyclone. Not able to find any support. Chun-Li and Apolly, it's 3-on-1 towards Thugonomics, but with that Spring Blossom Efflorescence down on Thugonomics, is doing a ton of healing, allowing Gorecki to get through the crowd control, then use Ironbark. But Dampening is at 14%. They need to be a bit careful. Chun-Li's mixing up. He's going after Flop. Infernals have landed in. Big Chaos Bolts potentially from Thugonomics. Gets polymorphed on it at the last second. Grayson knows that he needs to do everything to avoid these Chaos Bolts, but he's run out of time. No more diminishing returns. He blinks around the corner, but took a huge hit right beforehand. Now they're switching back to Baby Cakes. The boys hitting all 3 targets, trying to pull multiple defenses from Getchur Boy Dog at the same time, but Getchur Boy Dog don't overreact to the situation, and they trade very efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to recover because of this. Baby Cakes is a little low. Grayson taking a huge Chaos Bolt. It's been big pressure, but this is what happens. Anytime Grayson and Flop are in trouble, they can just default hide behind the pillar. Chun-Li gets caught into a Polymorph. It gets dispelled. He gets Polymorphed again, into a Cyclone, into a Cyclone. And that's enough time for Getchur Boy Dog to recover in situations like that, and it makes it hard for the boys to make these offensive pushes. They have to go for these kind of one-shot kills. They have one chance, one opportunity. Thugonomics, a little bit earlier, he got low, and it's a setup like that that when it comes in from Getchur Boy Dog early on in the game, you know, it doesn't do too much. But later on, it's basically really difficult for the boys to recover. I mean, Gorecki, once Thugonomics gets bursted down to 20% health at 40, 50% dampening, he stays there for a long period of time, and that's when we see Gorecki's mana start getting really taxed as he tries to recover Thugonomics' hit points.
All right, Grayson only has one ice block at this point. If the boys can manage to get through it, Chaos Bolt flies in. Thugonomics doesn't have a conflagrate. He can't hold Grayson in the Fell Fissure. Flop's going to get a big heal. Grayson bounces back to full health. Although a bit of a mistake, Flop and Grayson stacking up. Chun-Li punishes with a double leg sweep and then switches to the Druid with those Fists of Fury. Lots of damage. Flop going to bar skin, although maybe not necessary thanks to Grayson's Polymorph, so that could be an opening. No bar skin, one ice block down, no touch of karma. This is dicey for Flop to keep his team alive at 24% dampening. In the meantime, Getchur Boy Dog are engaging crowd control and Gorecki, looking to get that unending resolve around that 20%-ish mark of dampening. This is where they do want to be getting that cooldown if they can. Then when they get to the 30, the 40% mark, Thugonomics won't have its defense and could likely go down. But during this push, they're not finding it. Gorecki denies it. He's got Thugonomics looking quite stable despite the Frozen Orb. Gorecki moves in and stuns Grayson during the Frozen Orb, crowd controlling the cooldown rather than trading. Definitely an effective strategy. Grayson trying to pull Chun-Li back, but Gorecki is in a position to dispel if necessary. Gorecki activating that Memory of Lucid Dreams again, regenerating a ton of mana, staying very far ahead, getting a restyle, stunning up Baby Case, getting a touch of karma. This is the early game advantage that the boys have. Although it's attributed to the fact that Getchur Boy Dog are playing much more aggressive and assertive than I really think they need to in this matchup. Although a counter spell is landed by Grayson, this is an opening to push forward, but Thugonomics looks to reverse it, dropping in the Infernals and getting an ice block as a result. Perfect counter engagement by Thugonomics, but still under pressure.
Yeah, Baby Cake's in some trouble now as well. He potentially might want to run away. Thugonomics is low, around 40% health. Gorecki still has that Iron Bark he can fall back on if he really needs to. Touch of Death gets activated onto Grayson. Chun-Li just getting Polymorph spam. This is the default defensive position we're going to be seeing from Getchur Boy Dog when they are in trouble. Grayson and Flop can run, hide behind the pillar. Thugonomics is an exposed target in the middle, but Baby Cakes, there's no way he lives this one, right? Chaos Bolt comes in. Baby Cakes, oh, it's a nice counter spell. He might be able to survive, but no, it's going to be Gorecki and Chun-Li that eventually do take him down, and this is the over-aggression.
Against the second place in the entire year for North America, the boys, they need this victory if they are to basically go for their BlizzCon dreams.
A bit surprising to not see Baby Cakes running the Fortified.
Yeah.
Considering he was the main focus target, unless he's going to change his playstyle drastically and avoid really making any pushes. I mean, the boys are already looking to punish him as the main target, as he is the most overextended. He is rolling over, securing good crowd control, and honestly has decent momentum. Thugonomics deflects with that Mortal Coil was a big heal onto himself there. He is going to be totally fine from the initial assault of Getchur Boy Dog.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Baby Cakes, he actually did decide to gear a little bit more defensive. He's going to be running both of the Notorious Gladiator's emblem as well as the Safeguard. So both double defensive trinkets. In the last game, he didn't have that Safeguard as a safety net, and it was buffed in patch 8.2. It's a really strong absorb effect if you do get low. So if you are a target, it's definitely something you want to be using. I think for Baby Cakes also, there is some criticism there, but I understand that he wants to have a lot of damage for his team. So he's actually opting to run not only the Alpha Tiger, but the Tiger Eye Brew and the Turbo Fist. So basically all of the offensive honor talents that he has. He can get really aggressive on Thugonomics, but I kind of wonder, like, what we've seen from the last game was that Baby Cakes really was just the main focal point for the team of the boys. It seemed to be the main vulnerability. It's hard to take down Grayson and Flop. They can always retreat to that defensive position like I was kind of talking about. Whereas Baby Cakes, he's the one that has to push in, overextend, get aggressive. And I think putting a little bit more defense in his talent choices might be, the option he wants to go for, because their win condition is get the game 50, 60% dampening. That's when they're going to win. So they just need to do everything they can to get to that point. And then I feel like the little bit of extra consistent damage they're getting throughout the game almost doesn't even matter that much in the earlier stages of dampening.
I mean, we just need to look at the facts of this matchup. Getchur Boy Dog should just look to avoid as much damage as possible and get to 40% dampening where Thugonomics will fall over. That should just be their only main objective. Anything else, they are risking their own defeat for no real gain. I mean, let's say that Gurecki makes a big mistake and they somehow get unending resolve from Thugonomics right now. There's no way they're going to kill him in 3 minutes before dampening starts to where that will actually result in something that matters for them in terms of the outcome of the match. Instead, they're just taking a lot of damage. The Destruction Warlock's going to do way more pressure when you're just standing in his face, taking Chaos Bolt after Chaos Bolt. I mean, this right now is a scary moment for Baby Cakes with 2 Chaos Bolts, Gladiator Safeguard pulled, on top of Iron Bark. I mean, as soon as they see Gurecki even getting into stealth, I feel like Baby Cakes should just roll away, Transcendence, avoid the Warlock, and then retreat. I mean, look at, I don't think there's anything new, right? Healing stat for Resurgent on Swiftman. I don't remember Swiftman healing this much. I mean, anytime I see Thugonomics get Swiftman and he's going from like 50 to 100%, I'm not sure how that's happening. I feel like I've never seen Swiftmans this big from the Restoration Druids. Usually you expect the Soul of the Forest regrowth afterwards to be pretty big, but the Swiftmans themselves are quite hefty.
I think one of the things is just that on the tournament server it's 445 item level, right? So all of these druids have an insane amount of mastery. They can run high versatility as well. Like the Swiftman, yeah, I mean, Resto Druid healing is insanely high. It's really, really powerful. It's the reason that I love playing my druid right now. And yeah, until Dampening really stacks up, it's very difficult for these teams to really make a big dent in each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure. Grayson going to be playing a little bit defensive right now. Temporal Shield gets traded out as he's looking to avoid damage by using Shimmer to get out of line of sight. Thugonomics gets interrupted, but this is what happens. The problem is, sometimes I feel like their best defense is a little bit of offense. If Thugonomics is not under pressure at all, then he's just going to be able to run in, get the double Mortal Coils. Their setups are going to be a lot more dangerous. So in a way, I feel like Baby Cakes kind of has to be that defensive point for their team where he is pushing in, getting damage rolling on Thugonomics, keeping him locked down, keeping him in check, basically, making sure he can't do basically whatever he wants. Baby Cakes, we saw earlier how powerful the Gladiator Safeguard trinket was. We've seen setups like that from the boys before, and when he didn't have the Gladiator Safeguard, it was an instant touch of karma. But because he had that, he could rely on that. And, you know, he has the debuff now, so he's going to be playing a little bit more safe when he doesn't have the safeguards. There's an attempt here from the boys. Are they going to be able to take down Flop? Thugonomics gets interrupted. It's going to be a solo mission by Chun-Li, but Flop ultimately escapes. We're at about 20 seconds left until Dampening kicks in. Both healers doing fine on mana at this point. Baby Cakes has the safeguard, I think activated once or ready to go again. So this is the point in the game where he can push in, get aggressive, and not really worry about getting taken down in a big one-shot attempt.
Decent damage here on Thugonomics, but not even really enough to get Iron Bark from Gurecki. Flop looks like he wants to try and drink. Gurecki snipes him with that Ursul's Vortex. Not going to find any mana regeneration. Although I'm not sure if that will have any impact overall with the new Essences Ever Rising Tide and Memory of Lucid Dreams. Even when the Restoration Druids are sub 20% mana, these Essences have higher likelihood to restore mana, so they'll just ping pong between that 1%, 20% range almost indefinitely until we get to around 40 to 60% dampening. It's a bit surprising to see even the game ending at 33% dampening, but I would attribute that to Baby Cakes just being so overly aggressive. He just needs to anticipate the attacks better. Like you said, I don't think he can completely just run away from the fight. He needs to be at least somewhat assaulting Thugonomics, otherwise they'll get snowballed, all three members stacked up. But he's not really reacting in time to some of the setups, and he's spending a little bit too much time being aggressive. I think if they can be a little bit more adaptable in their strategy, mostly Baby Cakes avoidance of damage, then I feel like Getchur Boy Dog should be able to clean up this series. I'm surprised that they aren't focusing for that strategy after their victory on the Grand Arena. Decent damage on Baby Cakes, getting a Transcendence back to the pillar, wrap around, interrupt the Chaos Bolt. Good denial of damage, good avoidance of Chun-Li there. Looks like Chun-Li wants to go after Flop. He gets Bark Skin without Touch of Death. That's a good opportunity now here at 9% dampening. Touch of Death active from Baby Cakes. He's trying to make a big push on Thugonomics. Gurecki going to save him with Iron Bark. Flop looking like he's a bit of the target more often here in game number 3. Perhaps that's how the boys look to cut this game short. The Restoration Druid doesn't have an immunity to damage. He doesn't have an Ice Block or a Touch of Karma. So if they catch the Druid off guard in a stun lock, and he's not going to have that guaranteed survival. So that definitely could be a way for the boys to cut the match short and close it out before they get to that 40% dampening mark where Thugonomics becomes a liability.
Thugonomics looking for Chaos Bolt, unable to find it. Chun-Li comes back and backs him up with that Ride the Wind. Maybe that's something that we need to see from the boys. Chun-Li is opting to use the Ride the Wind, which does empower his Flying Serpent Kick. Another attempt here on Baby Cakes, but Iron Bark looking to deflect that. He does have the Touch of Karma, so Baby Cakes is going to be fine. But if Chun-Li can come back, get a Ride the Wind on the Thugonomics, that's going to allow him basically suppression from movement and parrying effects. He can run in. Maybe that's when they go for the Mortal Coil, double Chaos Bolt plays, and they might be able to do a little bit better of a job of setting him up with the Ring of Peace, with the Ride the Wind. Maybe that's the win condition of the boys. They have to get aggressive with those abilities to get Thugonomics in a prime position where he can get some casted damage out. Right now, his only target really is Baby Cakes. He's going to be fearing him off, getting locked out instantly on that Chaos Bolt. Unfortunate for Thugonomics. Gorecki just sitting in stealth right now, looking for a prime opportunity. And the last time we saw Baby Cakes go down, it was off the back of a lot of that damage that Gorecki was able to provide. He went in for a Rake Stun, into a Bash, into a Shadow Meld Rake Stun. So there's a nice setup by Gorecki. Those are the kind of plays we need. We have to see this Restoration Druid get a little bit more aggressive, and Gorecki is the Restoration Druid to try to get that done.
Yeah, we're now at that 20% mark, so this is where Getchur Boy Dog really need to get an unending resolve from Thugonomics so that when they get to the 40% mark, they can just outright kill him. But they're the ones under fire. Thugonomics is really turning up the heat. Grayson trying to respect that damage with the Temporal Shield, although able to avoid the pressure just by line of sighting. Baby Cakes now the only target for Thugonomics, so he's immediately going to just switch his attention to Baby Cakes. Gorecki trying to support but not able to find a stun. Mana is heavily in favor of the boys, but even though I think it's a bit more deceiving, I don't think that flop being this much behind on mana will result in too much. I think it's mostly pressure, cooldowns, and crowd control that matter in the current meta. Thugonomics looking to try and generate a lot of pressure here, but interrupted by Grayson. Good shutdown. Chun-Li then shutting Grayson down. Flop not able to cycle on him soon enough. Grayson repositioning. Who are they going to go after? I mean, it's so obvious at this point that Thugonomics needs to be the target in Dampening. Baby Cakes is the target, main focus point for the boys because he's just the one most frequently in Thugonomics' line of sight. Although, if Grayson or Flop poke their heads out for too long, certainly Thugonomics will look to lob them off.
I mean, he's going to be looking for the opportunities when he can find them. Temporal Shield gets traded out by Grayson. Iron Bark as well. Flop has to use the Bark Skin and the Iron Bark. If we look at mana, he's around 20%. We'll have to see how long he can hold on. We're almost 10 minutes into the game. 30% Dampening. This is where we saw the last game close out. Thugonomics still looking for opportunities. You can see what he does. He goes for a Fear on the Baby Cakes and then goes for a Chaos Bolt. If Baby Cakes interrupts Fear, it's an interesting situation for the Destruction Warlock because he goes for the Fear. If he gets interrupted on that, he can just spam out Chaos Bolt. If he doesn't, then Baby Cakes gets feared and he can spam out Chaos Bolt. So it's a difficult situation for Baby Cakes to be in. He kind of has to pick his moment for interrupts. He can't just be interrupting Chaos Bolt on cooldown or Fear on cooldown. He has to try to interrupt during moments when his team is actually in a lot of trouble. A lot of damage rolling onto Grayson. Temporal Shield bounces his health back. Big damage coming from Baby Cakes on a Thugonomics, but he's just sitting in the Efflorescence. Grayson needs to be able to get some damage out. We're not going to be seeing too much pressure on the Thugonomics unless it's off the back of a Frozen Orb and a Comet Storm and an Ice Nova. A lot of that added damage. Thugonomics now going to be eating that Frozen Orb. Gorecki responds with the Iron Bark, and now this is a point in the game where Thugonomics is actually a little bit vulnerable, but there's just no crowd control. You get your Boy Dog, they're not even trying to crowd control Gorecki at this point. Their plan, just win on all-out damage.
All right, let's see if they can get it done here. Can the boys move to match point and close the series out, or will Getchur Boy Dog overwhelm Thugonomics? We're getting closer to that 40% dampening mark. It's kind of just the magic number that I've decided is a magic number for classes like the Death Knights, Warlocks, and Demon Hunters to an extent. Even Mages and Windwalkers, I feel like we don't really talk about them, but they also heal themselves quite a lot here at 445 item level. The stamina and health pools have increased dramatically, and any percentage-based healing has increased dramatically along with it. So this is the Ice Barrier of the Mage, the Reverse Harm of the Windwalker, Frenzied Regeneration, Renewal for the Druids, although in this case not really running that. Most of the Ysera's Gift, which is just based on your maximum health, healing over time automatically for the Restoration Druid. I actually think this is one of the main attributes of why we see Restoration Druids so prevalent. It's just free healing that is a ton of healing that happens all the time thanks to the stamina being so high. But right now there is a lot of pressure. Grayson ducks around the corner, but Chun-Li's chasing after him. Chun-Li may be able to solo him here at 40% dampening. Flop is caught into a paralysis. Grayson is desperate. He's trying to polymorph Chun-Li, but he's getting denied on it quite frequently, finally able to polymorph him. Grecky dispels it immediately. Even more pressure now onto Grayson. That's going to be the Gladiator safeguard, but he's in a Fell Fissure. He needs to get out of it as soon as possible. The Windwalker and the Warlock both bringing root effects, so it's quite difficult. Fell Fissure on Baby Cakes, big connect. Double stun combo, trying to catch him overextended with no Iron Bark, but not even finding a touch of karma at 40% dampening.
Safeguard.
That is not good for the boys. We're now getting to the point where Thugonomics could easily be overwhelmed. They need to get a kill soon. They at least get an ice block.
Yeah, and that was the power of Safeguard right there. That would have been a situation where they get Touch of Karma from Baby Cakes, but because he's using that trinket, he doesn't have to use the Touch of Karma. Now he has it available for this swap. Can they take him down? Grecky actually going for a re-stealth right now. Baby Cakes in some trouble, eats the Chaos Bolt, has to trade out the Touch of Karma, overlapped with the Iron Bark. Things are spiraling out of control, but this is the situation. Thugonomics is getting low. You can see Grayson, he's just free casting, and a free casting Frost Mage actually is scary at this point in the game. It's a lot of incoming damage. Baby Cake just gets deleted, and unfortunately for Baby Cakes, the Diffuse Magic was a little bit too late. Thugonomics able to take him down.
I'll reach through the internet and give them a high 5.
Yeah, me too, because I'll give them a high 10, I don't know. But the thing is, like, it's going to be really difficult to take down Thugonomics.
I'll take them on a 10-day vacation to the Bahamas if they kill Thugonomics before 30% dampening.
So basically what we're saying is they have to make attempts onto Chun-Li and to Gorecki. If they can make a big attempt onto Gorecki, potentially they could win the game early, but it just seems like with this map, it doesn't play into their advantage at all.
The only advantage, I think, is killing Gorecki, but I don't think that's what they want to do. They're still attacking the Warlock. Thugonomics can use Demonic Gateway while his healers crowd control, get right on top of Getchur Boy Dog. I do love watching Thugonomics on the Destruction Warlock because he is never afraid to just get in the face of his opponents. Double Mortal Coil, timed both aggressively and defensively. High value there. Trying to capitalize, get through some interrupts, fake casting these Chaos Bolts, but not really finding too many interrupts, unfortunately. Does finally nail a Chaos Bolt. Nails 2! That's going to be an ice block from Grayson, and already the map is backfiring for Getchur Boy Dog.
Oh, it's backfiring quite a bit. Thugonomics is going to have free reign on this map. It's not going to be as easy for Grayson and Flop to just run and hide behind the pillar. Thugonomics is going to be able to have his way with the team of Getchur Boy Dog. And we'll have to see what they can do. I mean, where's the pressure? Thugonomics still sitting quite well on HP. You can see Gorecki using the Iron Bark to deflect this incoming attack, and Thugonomics actually pushing in. This is something we didn't get to see on the other maps, where Thugonomics is actually on top of Grayson, helping Chun-Li get the damage rolling. Normally, Grayson and Flop can position just so far away. Flop moves in, gets the rake stun over onto Thugonomics. Chun-Li going to be in pursuit of Flop, wants to deny any incoming crowd control on Gorecki. Flop luckily finds the bash. An immediate interrupt. That was a nice spear hand strike there by Chun-Li, denying the Cyclone. Now actually generating some pressure on the Flop. Thugonomics is there. This is a big attempt. Flop could be in a lot of trouble. Safeguard might be enough to keep him alive. Safeguard procs with the Bark Skin. And because of that, Flop can hold on to his Iron Bark, he can hold on to his trinket, and he's going to be okay.
Yeah, this could be an opportunity for the boys to switch to the healer as well on Hook Point, an aggressive map selected by Getchur Boy Dog, but they're already behind. One ice block so early on. I am curious to see if they can get a second prior to it coming off cooldown. That's going to be the main point of contention. Thugonomics generating soul shards using Incinerate. Grayson moving forward with the Frozen Orb. Thugonomics going to line of sight him. Good positioning there on his part, avoiding a lot of damage. Grayson's going to be polymorphing Chun-Li, getting control of him. Both Thugonomics and Grayson the main target here, so they're focused on just avoiding damage, getting crowd control onto at least one damage dealer of the opposing side. Doing a good job of surviving. Gorecki sneaks in, gets a stun on Flop, but I believe Gorecki is not running the Honor Town Cyclone, so he's only going to get that stun and then immediately evacuate, reposition far away from the fight to avoid a swap to himself or crowd control impending. Fortunately, that stun that he got didn't really net him any cooldowns. Did get a lot of mana from Flop. Double leg sweep here from Baby Cakes. Good offense. Do they have any follow-up? Otherwise, Baby Cakes may just be overextended. Fists of Fury are flying in. He's going to use the Fortifying Brew. He's down below half still. Is he going to use the Transcendence? He's in an Ursul's Vortex. He needs to be careful. He does get pulled back in before the Transcendence. Big Swiftmend. Basically, I feel like it's almost lay on hands every time I've seen Swiftmend right now today. He's going to go back to 100% health, be totally fine. Grayson has the Temporal Shield activated. He's absorbing a huge amount of damage. He's going to be going back to full shortly. Gorecki's in stealth. What is he going to do? Okay, just regenerating back to full mana. Gorecki making sure that the late game is also in his favor.
Yeah, it's big healing coming in. Thugonomics still getting pressure down. Baby Cakes with the big Fists of Fury. Gorecki just doing a really good job, honestly, balancing offense and defense. When he needs to play defensive, he's always positioned quite far away. When his team senses there's an opportunity, he'll go in stealth. He'll get the rake stun. He'll assist with the bash and some added damage. And that is just a really nice balance I wanted to point out from Gorecki with that offense and defense. Grayson landing a polymorph on Chun-Li in a defensive position. Baby Cakes, he's playing a lot more defensive this game. He's actually opting to play the Fortifying Brew, so changing his honor talents just a little bit for added defense. Now he has a lot of cooldowns he can rotate through. He has the Safeguard, Touch of Karma, Diffuse Magic, Fortifying Brew, as well as his Transcendence, and it's going to make him a lot more of a difficult target for the boys to take down. I feel like in this matchup, I'm going to call it that I feel like if the boys are going to land a kill, it's going to be on the Grayson in this match.
Yeah, looks to be the case so far, although it's been quite some time. If they can't get a cold snap here, Grayson's going to have 2 ice blocks again. He's able to evacuate, get to safety, and hold on to it for another 14 seconds. Gorecki is back to full mana now at this point, maintaining that late game potential as well for his team. 10 seconds away from dampening, likely required, and especially this matchup in particular. Although I think with most of these teams running the Restoration Druids, it's going to be quite a long matches between all of the teams remaining. Perhaps Sidhu's team could bring in some X Factor. I know that he was playing the Discipline Priest in the open bracket, trying to add some extra damage to his team, so maybe there's some potential there. But Grayson and Thugonomics are literally standing on top of each other. It's not very often that you see Wizards going face-to-face. Usually you leave that to the Warriors, but Grayson is trying to get a little bit cheeky, get up close and personal, generate some extra damage. But it's Baby Cakes who's overextended, this time running the Fortifying Brew, realizing he is the main focus, so getting more defense I think is a wise decision, although overlapped with the Iron Park and his Gladiator Safeguard. That was a big attack for the boys, and they got a lot of value.
Yeah, a lot of value. Baby Cakes is going to be in a little bit of trouble now, but he still has some defensive cooldowns he can rotate through. Here's an attempt over on the Flop. Gorecki getting the re-stealth, rake stun. Flop getting pressured down. This is really taxing his mana. Is he going to be able to survive? Mortal Coil comes out. Safeguard might be enough to keep him alive. Chaos Bolt, nice interrupt sniped in there by Grayson to keep Flop alive. That Chaos Bolt would have been the end of the game, so really good job. Good backup from Getchur Boy Dog. Keep their healer up. 6 minutes will have elapsed in this game at around 7% dampening. And on this smaller map, I think it's unlikely we go as high as we've seen in some of the other games. It seems like both teams are able to put out a little bit more pressure in this sort of close quarters combat.
Unlikely that we go. I feel like it's still going to be roughly the same here in game number 4. Grayson coming back and now having 2 ice blocks to his name. So that first ice block forced within roughly about the first minute, going to be non-consequential to the team of Getchur Boy Dog. However, they are match point. They face elimination. They've got roughly, I think, 100 and something points right now. They would really like to have a decent finish if they want to try and crawl back up into the top 4 and qualify to the summer finals. The boys, on the other hand, if they manage to lose this series, they're going to potentially open themselves up to having someone pass them, not only just for the summer season, but the point standings overall. So I would say there's more pressure on the boys to take this. We anticipate that they should, just based on individual play and the compositions that they have on their roster in terms of the meta. I would anticipate that they take this series, but Getchur Boy's composition can certainly punish the weaknesses of the Destruction Warlock should they survive long enough. Game number 1 they did, but even that was a cross kill. Game number 2 not making it far enough. Game number 4 they're going for a lot more defense, so hopefully they can get to that point where they can push Thugonomics over. Otherwise, I would say it's looking better and better for the boys.
I mean, they have a lot of pressure in this matchup so far, but Grayson, he still has both of his ice blocks. Baby Cakes, every single defensive cooldown rotated back up. We'll have to see what they can get done. I mean, this is match point for Getchur Boy Dog. This is a lower bracket elimination game. For the boys, they need to win this game. They have to make a deep run in the tournament if they want to establish their lead behind Cloud9. They're the team from North America that qualifies on points. Are they going to be able to do it? Really is the question right now. Getchur Boy Dog stand in their way. They have to win this game to tie up the series if they want to stay in the tournament. And honestly, for Getchur Boy Dog, they're a team that hasn't really accumulated too many points this season. If they want to try to make it to that top 4 for the summer finals, they need to start putting points on the board. They have to take down the boys and make a deep run in this tournament and be consistent in the next, this cup and the next 3 cups to make it to that summer finals. It's definitely not an easy task for this team, but it's a roster full of talented players. They've got good compositions. They just have to execute, and the boys are not making it easy for them.
Yeah, the boys are certainly not making it easy. The offensive build of Thugonomics is doing a ton of pressure. Big hit on Grayson. Cooldowns overlap. The defense is starting to crack, and Dampening is also going to backfire on Getchur Boy Dog. The map selected is small. Chun-Li can bounce between targets. Thugonomics can easily get in line of sight, and this is a horrible map pick in my mind from Getchur Boy Dog, which was pointed out by Zico in the pre-game analysis, and now you're really starting to see why. Flop getting swapped to, taking a huge amount of pressure, looking desperate to try and find a Cyclone, trying to jump across the map, but it's not really that much of a distance. Thugonomics, or Chun-Li, will easily close that gap, rolling over, going after Grayson. Pressure just so high right now for the boys. Paralysis on Flop. Grayson the target. He's got Temporal Shield right before getting stunned. Perfectly timed there. This Temporal Shield, a big reason why Grayson is even still alive at this moment in time. Iron Bark stabilizes the rest of it, so instead Gorecki switches targets. Chun-Li immediately ping-pongs over to him instead. Now he's in a lot of trouble. He's not running that Guardian affinity. It could be quite difficult to recover if Chun-Li can stay a target, but he's not going to keep up the chase. Instead going after the safe target, Grayson, shutting down the Mage, focusing on him in midfield, attacking the target that is most accessible for Thugonomics to lob Chaos Bolts at. 1 Chaos Bolt, 2 Chaos Bolts, Ice Block forced. Good swaps from the boys here in Dampening, and they're setting themselves up for victory.
All right, Grayson on the smaller map, he can't run and hide. That's why I predicted he would be the target to fall. Getchur Boy Dog, they're on match point. They're in trouble. Paralysis on Flop. Grayson, no ice blocks left for another 4 minutes. If he can hold on, he'll have 2 left, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it. Thugonomics and Chun-Li, they realize, they smell the blood in the water. They want to take down Grayson as soon as possible. At 32% dampening, they might be able to do it. Flop's mana is actually doing quite well. I'm not sure if he went and snuck away for a drink or if it's the essences that recovered his mana, but Flop's doing quite well on mana, and I don't think this match is going to come down to mana. I think it's going to come down to one big all-in push from either one of these teams. Flop taking a lot of damage. Thugonomics also low. Thugonomics does not want to get overzealous. The boys cannot afford to throw away this game. Gorecki and Thugonomics still have to play a very solid defense. At this point in the game, Thugonomics still really exposed. Safeguard procs not opting to use the Unending Resolve just yet. Infernos get dropped off. Thugonomics, he's going for counter pressure.
Yep, looking for counter pressure. No ice blocks. I don't think Grayson can spend too much time out here. 1 Chaos Bolt is going to close this game out if he gets it on Grayson, but he's not able to cast on him. Casting on Baby Cakes instead. Those are still pretty beefy. Touch of Karma going to be traded out right before getting stunned. It might be lights out. They break the Touch of Karma. Thugonomics dealing massive damage here in game number 4. Wants to just close this series out and advance in the lower brackets. Now Chun-Li cycloned up. Baby Cakes is trying to just stall. Casting Vivifies. Grayson hiding around the fenced wall, trying to just stay alive at this point for 1 push on Thugonomics, but they have all the defense they need, and at any point they could counter-aggress. Touch of Death active. Chun-Li looking for the kill. Baby Cakes needs to run, and this is where we've criticized him is in terms of his defensive play. Now rolling out of line side Thugonomics, activating that Fortifying Brew and playing a lot better defensively, surviving that assault of Chun-Li, but Thugonomics is still blasting. Tons of damage from Chaos Bolt. Grayson being pressured by Chun-Li. Chun-Li gets polymorphed. Dispelled instantly, though, by Gorecki. Gorecki knows that he needs to keep Chun-Li as mobile as possible, but Cyclone follows up. Thugonomics is having to do all of the work right now. 1 Chaos Ball on the Grayson. Temporal Shield denies the kill there. Chun-Li switches targets again, going after Baby Cakes. Baby Cakes gets stunned up for another second. No Iron Bark. Chaos Bolts are flying in. The boys look to close. Ursul's Vortex potentially. Nope, not going to find it, but the Gladiator Safeguard Absorb going to be making it safe for Baby Cakes to survive this assault. But why is he going aggressive? He's just taking Chaos Bolts to the face. He can't afford to take all of this damage from Thugonomics. This is very risky from Baby Cakes. Double Mortal Coil, even more Chaos Bolts over into Baby Cakes. He's running into Diffuse Magic this time around. It's going to save him. Flop moves in to try and Cyclone out of the stun. Fake cast, but not able to find it. Stunned and reversed by Chun-Li. Touch of Death active. This Touch of Death has to get a kill. I don't think if it gets a kill that we're ever going to see Getchur Boy Dog win this game, but Touch of Death is going to go off. Is it going to kill him? Doesn't look like it. Maybe. He's got Unending Resolve. He's trying to counter-aggress, but he gets Ring of Peace on it. Beautifully timed there. Grayson still with no ice blocks. Any Chaos Ball could close it. He gets one. It's going to connect along with Chun-Li, but the Gladiator Safeguard again, saving Grayson. Temporal Shield is active. Thugonomics could fall. I think this is going to be a cross-kill potentially. Gorecki gets caught in a polymorph. MVP Grayson in the final moments, finally making it to that win condition. The deep dampening kill onto Thugonomics, but he looks to
ride
deny.
the wind.
Double Mortal Coil. Thugonomics repositions. Swiftman connects. Thugonomics is going to take a breather, saying, okay, I somehow made it out alive of that situation. They've got another 30 seconds till Grayson has 2 ice blocks, and now the boys are on the clock.
I love that ride the win with the Tiger's Lust. Thugonomics says, see ya. Crosses the map instantaneously after his gateway. Now, unfortunately for him, Baby Cakes and Grayson were able to find him again. He's caught into a leg sweep. What is Gorecki going to be able to do? He's holding on to the Iron Bark at 51% dampening, still not forced to use the Iron Bark. Grayson, Baby Cakes, they're trying to make an offensive push. Ironbark forced down. Thugonomics looking to reverse the pressure with big Chaos Bolts of his own. Baby Cakes really nicely done. Ring of Peace interrupts that Chaos Bolt that could have closed out the game and taking down Grayson. Touch of Death is rolling. Grayson, he's got 2 seconds left on his Ice Block. It's now available. Doesn't throw away the game. Trades out Ice Block. He has Cold Snap. This is such a great situation for Getchur Boy Dog. I think they're going to be able to take this game.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to a game number 5 between these teams. Getchur Boy Dogs look to tie it up. Chun-Li tries to deny, though, with the spell lock. Beautifully timed into a fear. He gets the fear. Thugonomics sets up for the win. Chun-Li, Tiger Splash. Why? Thugonomics still being pressured, though, at 55% dampening. Baby Cake's, of course, going to want to play it out because it is match point if somehow he can pull off the miracle, but it's looking unlikely. Thugonomics going to close it out. Beautiful play on his part. Bit of a throwaway by
sticking to that Fire Mage. We've got a couple of Bakers on the desk here who will be interested to see the outcome of this one. Channel staying on that Destruction Warlock. We'll really have to see how much pressure they can put out because Method Orange with that Windwalker Monk, they're gonna pack a punch, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be looking at Wealthy Man's build. I'm really curious to see what he's running.
See up high.
More than likely going to be running the Greater Pyroblast, so he's going to be able to spam out a lot of incoming damage. The one problem with the Fire Mage is he doesn't have the same kind of snares. There's not going to be the Blizzard, there's not going to be the Frozen Orb to sort of keep Method Orange pinned back behind the pillar, and I could easily see a strategy for Method Orange where they just kind of sit back, wait, grip in Chanimal, try to do as much damage as possible, kind of work. I don't think Wealthy Man can push in the same way he does on a Frost Mage. And I'm trying to think, what do you think it is about the Fire Mage that, I mean, Wealthy Man is so reluctant in the past to ever go fire. Why now?
I feel like your guess is as good as mine. I mean, Greater Pyroblast is certainly going to scale up quite a lot with the 445 item level, as it does 35% of a player's maximum health, so maybe they want to take advantage of that. Infernals have landed, Meteor combined. They're going to be going after all 3 members of Method Orange, but Mez is the one taking most of the initial attack. Triple Dragon's Breath. Cloud9 focusing on purely pressure early on. Mez going to be retreating around the corner. Method Orange are definitely looking scared here in game number 1. It's obviously the strategy they need to play, staying at the pillar against these double spellcasters to avoid important spells like the Chaos Bolts and the Greater Pyroblast, but if they can't develop any offense later on in the game into deeper dampening, then they're just digging their own grave.
I mean, we'll see what Cloud9 can really get done. That was a combustion. Wealthman gets gripped in. Nice triple Dragon's Breath, looking for some more crowd control, but they're going to be pushing in. Rake's done now on Sidu, big damage. And this is one of the scary things, and why, I mean, I like playing this composition, the Destruction Warlock Fire Mage. Basically what happens, if they're going after your Destruction Warlock, you get to spam out Greater Pyroblast, and you do a lot of damage spamming out Greater Pyroblast. And if they go after you, you have a Destruction Warlock who's just spamming out Chaos Bolt. So for Method Orange, they definitely have a difficult task ahead of them. This is a composition that I feel like has been good for quite some time. We just really haven't seen too many teams actually implement it. It runs very similar to the double Fire Mage, except I think overall it's just a much better, more well-rounded comp. So I like the fact that Cloud9 is experimenting a little bit with their Mage Lock Druid. They're actually going to be playing Fire Mage in this matchup. But I feel like, yeah, Frost Mage would have been just as good, but at this point, it doesn't seem like Method Orange is able to leave the pillar at all.
Yeah, not leaving the pillar whatsoever. It would be my expectation that they're waiting for the deep dampening push onto Chanimal, try and run him over. This is the strategy we've seen time and time again against the Destruction Warlock, even in 8.1.5. This is the best way to get through their passive Soul Leech, which does a huge amount of healing over time through an absorption effect. So Method Orange are waiting for all of this added healing bonus on the Destruction Warlock to be reduced in dampening, and then make a push, trading their defensive cooldowns like Anti-Magic Zone and Touch of Karma to immune the Greater Pyroblasts, immune the Chaos Bolts, and while they're immune, they look to push the Warlock over. Trying to do that before dampening is likely to just cost their defense and not really get any of Cloud9's, so their main prerogative is to just avoid the fight as much as possible. It's kind of up to Cloud9 and as to what they want to do about that during the period of time where Method Orange are focused on defense. Right now, Chanimal looks like he's trying to just get up in their face, casting out a couple of Chaos Bolts, stunning up Trill, but he did manage to get Diffuse Magic off right before the bash, reducing a lot of that magic damage, now avoiding the fight by rolling around the corner. Sidu in a Ring of Frost. They're baking the 8 here. against Sea-Doo, getting the stun now out of the Ring of Frost, but
yeah,
how much damage are they going to really get? I know there's not two of them. I know that it's not a figure eight. You can't
make an 8 without two fire mages,
yes,
Sydney.
Okay.
All right, I appreciate that.
I was just giving you like a shout out. I know that it's not actually what you can do, but it was.
It's okay. I appreciate it either way. I just want to make sure everyone at home knows that that's not an 8. All right. Takes 2 circles to make an 8.
Yeah, don't discredit it. The 8 takes a lot of work.
I can do it with that world quest where you draw a circle and I can draw one in. Okay, I will do it manually for them.
All right, Wealthy Man looking for greater power blast. Chanimal as well. Trill trying to get some damage rolling onto Wealthy Man, but this damage just seems overwhelming for Method Orange. Cubsy's having a lot of fun. He's just sitting back, allowing his 2 wizards to just cast out these really powerful spells. And because hit points went up so much with some of the new gears and essences, what ends up happening is percentage-based abilities like Greater Power Blast get a buff, essentially. They do more damage than the scaling on other abilities. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why Wealthy Man wanted to run the Greater Power Blast. It just does so much effective damage onto Trill, onto Mez. Later on, it's going to become really difficult for Sea-Doo to actually heal through that. But like I said, I do see a win condition for Method Orange. If they can stall out the game long enough, they can grip Chanimal in, they can keep up the consistent pressure, they could just outright take him down really quickly.
All right, Sea-Doo the target here. Cloud9 mixing it up, trying to go after the healer, but Sea-Doo able to reposition to be A-OK. Wealthy Man taking some damage, and as fire as opposed to frost, he's not as slippery. They're going to be right on top of him, doing a lot of pressure. Ironbark traded out, but Trill has spent a lot of time out in the open, and they've left Chanimal free casting. This could be risky, but they want to take the risk to try and get an Ice Block cauterized from Wealthy Man. They're not finding it. Cubsy's defense is too strong. Dampening has now kicked in, and Method Orange look to engage.
Method Orange, they're going to be pushing in. They've had enough of just sitting at the pillar. Wealthy Man taking a little bit of damage. We are at Dampening. Trill deciding to run away. Mez caught in midfield. Unfortunately, there's no Ice Nova. There's no Pet Nova to keep him locked down, and that's one of the disadvantages of playing the Fire Mages. You don't have that same lockdown. It's going to be a lot easier for Method Orange to run and hide. The flip side is a free casting Fire Mage does a ton of damage. So if they're eating Greater Power Blast, it's unhealable for Sea-Doo. There's nothing they can do about it. It's just too much damage. That's why they're forced to run away in these positions. But when you don't have a Frost Mage, they actually can much easier run and hide. Infernals get dropped down. Chanimal, they're looking for an offensive push. Who are they going to go after? Combustion not available for Wealthy Man just yet. Still looking for Greater Power Blast. Who's he going to land it on? One gets channeled out onto Mez. The second one, Mez could just die. Big damage. They have to be so scared in that situation. Luckily, Deathstrike is actually really effective. If Mez can Deathstrike after a Greater Power Blast land, it's a massive heal onto himself. So it's going to be important that Wealthy Man and Chanimal, they create distance if they're going after Mez, so you can't just Deathstrike all those hit points back to health, or back to full.
Chanimal and Wealthy Man, too threatening for Method Orange. They're reluctant to make a push, but now in Dampening, they're feeling confident. They're going after Chanimal. They get on any resolve. They get Ironbark. They maybe even just outright kill him. An impressive amount of damage from Method Orange. They pull most of the defensive lineup from Cloud9. And even though Cubsy is at full mana in patch 8.2, there are obviously a bunch of new essences that came into the game, and one of those, the Ever-Rising Tide, grants mana regeneration every time you heal, has a chance to give a little bit of mana back on top of the Memory of Lucid Dreams, which pretty much every Restoration Druid is running both of those at the same time. So even if their mana is low, they will continue to regenerate at a drastically increased rate. So much so that the lead that Cubsy has, I'm not sure if it's going to result in too much impact in the overall game. Instead, what it is about is making a gigantic push of damage deep in Dampening, holding the target in place long enough so that you can kill them. This is more easily done on the Warlock Chanimal because he can't really run away. We see Chanimal gripped in, then Ring of Peace around the corner, but he seems confident to just chill with Method Orange on the pillar. Says, okay, you want to give me a hug? I'll give you a hug with a Chaos Bolt attached. Just standing right on top of Method Orange, slobbing out a bunch of damage. Trill rolling back over to interrupt the follow-up Chaos Bolt. Wealthy Man trying to set up some Greater Power Blast, but now being line of sighted. I mean, Method Orange got exactly what they wanted in that last exchange, so they're waiting for the perfect crowd control. I'd love to see the paralysis, asphyxiate on Cubsy, and then a ton of damage towards Chanimal. I think if they initiate with this crowd control, they could kill Chanimal in the next 15 seconds. Maybe they just kill him with pressure. He uses Demonic Gateway to try and get to safety. A stolen Polymorph, beautifully timed by Mez there, gets the Glidier's Medallion from Cubsy. Surprising to not see them move over and try and go for any more crowd control on Cubsy. They had so much momentum off the back of that. Now Ironbark going to be available. Infernals have landed. Chanimal looks to counter pressure.
Cedu's had to use a lot of mana to heal through, and I was looking at Shrill's gear. He's running a really interesting Essence condensed life force, and that's going to be summoning a Guardian of Azeroth to assist you and deal damage. So in these situations where they grip Chanimal in, they're just trying to put out as much damage as possible. Trill has basically been the only player to run this Essence so far. It's going to be an extra hit, basically summoning an extra little minion for extra damage. Right now, Method Orange, they're kind of pinned behind the pillar. Wealthy Man's been able to free cast a lot of Greater Power Blasts, creating pressure for his team. Trill and Mez forced to run away. See, really struggling. Mez almost just falling. A massive Greater Power Blast landing there from Wealthy Man. AMS gets traded out. Polymorph now on Cedu as he's caught into a full fear. Another Greater Power Blast getting channeled out by Wealthy Man. Combustion gets traded out. They're just going for the kill. Mez has to trade out the anti-magic zone, but he gets Mortal Coil outside of it. Rooted as well. Nicely done by Chanimal. Second Chaos Bolt comes in. Method Orange, this is a scary situation for them, whereas Cloud9, look at that, they're all just sitting pretty full health.
Yeah, that window, that opportunity is now slipping away. Unending Resolve available in 10 seconds. This is now Cloud9's match. They're looking to close. Chaos Bolt's flying in. Wealthy Man on the right. Chanimal, I'm surprised to not see him move to the left. He's moving to the right as well. This means that Method Orange can rotate around easily and avoid the fight. Wealthy Man can use Demonic Gateway, escape to safety. I love the positioning there on Chanimal's part so that when he gets gripped in, he can use that to escape to safety. Looking for a stacked up Shadow Fury, getting all of the interrupts out of the way, so now there's none for Wealthy Man. Cedu is forced to stun him to stop the Greater Power Blast. Chanimal get a Demonic Gateway, Ursul's Vortex from Cubsy. Cloud9 look like they want to try and set up for a kill. Greater Power Blast being channeled. Trill rolls over, but he blinks away from him. One Greater Power Blast straight to the face. One Chaos Bolt straight to the same place, and that is Cedu. Hope Arcs can be enough. Rooted out in midfield, manages to get around the corner, catch a Swiftman, but now Trill was left behind. They're switching to him. Instead, goes all in for a kill on Chanimal. Chanimal sees that they're doing an all-in and trades an all-in defensive lineup as well, both Ironbark and Unending Resolve. So both teams trading everything that they've got here in what could be the final moments of the match.
Yeah, Wealthy Man still looking to generate some pressure. I'm still not convinced that Fire is better in this matchup. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it plays out. Trill's already traded out the Touch of Karma. Diffuse Magic gets traded out as well. Wealthy Man looking for another Greater Power Blast. Lands onto Trill. Unfortunately, it was into the Diffuse Magic, so it didn't get that much damage done, but Trill is a really exposed target right now. He's caught in midfield, caught into a Shadow Fury. Greater Power Blast being channeled out. Trill has to run and hide. One goes off. Trill could fall. Massive hit there by Wealthy Man as he gets low. Cedu struggling to keep him alive. He has Ironbark in just 1 second. Is he going to be able to get it off? Trill hiding behind the pillar, channeling out the heals. Big damage from Wealthy Man. Combustion gets traded out. Cedu has to keep Trill alive as he kites away, crossing the map. This is the distance that they needed. Trill should be in a safe space at this point. Cedu, if he can connect some heals, it's going to be great. Rake Stun comes in from Cubsy as he's looking for a re-stealth. What are they going to be able to get done? Cubsy doesn't want to throw away the game at this point. It has to be a little bit defensive. But Method Orange, they're just pinned at the pillar. And who do they go after at this moment? I mean, Chanimal, he doesn't have the Unending Resolve. He could be vulnerable, but look at his positioning. He's just so far away. He's not allowing Mez to get the Death Grip. He's just allowing Wealthy Man with his Ice Block and Temporal Shield to basically be the defender of the team. He can be the one that pushes in, gets aggressive, stalls out the game. Chanimal drops a nice little gateway there for Wealthy Man if he needs to escape. That was really good backup there by Chanimal for Wealthy Man.
Yeah, Chanimal repositioning, realizing that Method Orange are waiting for a Death Grip stun, so the Demonic Gateway needs to be on the same pillar as Method Orange so that Cloud9 have a getaway when that engagement occurs, because Touch of Death is available in a couple of seconds and there's no Unending Resolve. And now at 45% dampening, Ironbark may not be enough for Chanimal to survive. This is what I anticipate Method Orange trying to do. They're repositioning again to try and get away from the Demonic Gateway. If that gap closer is utilized, they won't find a kill, but now they find Chanimal on the corner with no Demonic Gateway. He's going to use Mortal Coil instead to stall. This is the Touch of Death. This is the big push. This is what Method Orange were banking the entire game on. If they don't get a kill with this push, it's going to be devastating for them, and it doesn't look like they're going to. Chanimal takes 0 damage, relays that gateway, goes into midfield, and now there are going to be a lot of Greater Pyroblast. One flying over, but Chanimal's still in a bit of trouble. Where are the other Greater Pyroblast? Wealthy Man's desperate. He's spamming out Polymorphs instead, getting control of the fight, then going for the Greater Pyros. Another one. Cubsy jumps
one on
in.
Mez, two!
Switching targets. They're going after 2 of them. A 2-pronged assault from Cloud9. Touch of Karma. Maybe they're just going to bust through it. They're not able to. Trill will duck around the corner and stay alive. Dampening continues to mount higher and higher.
Yeah. And at this point, I mean, as the game moves forward, maybe Cedu can recover. His mana's not doing great. The Essence is obviously doing work to keep his team still in the fight. They grip in Chanimal, looking for an offensive push. Wealthy Man there, looking for Polymorph spam to slow down some of this damage. It's going to be difficult for Chanimal to actually escape. Infernals get dropped down, and they're just going for it. Seadu's no mana left. Ironbark is the last line of defense. He has to trade it out on Trill. Dragon's Breath comes in from Wealthy Man. Trill just could easily fall. Diffuse Magic, the last thing to keep him alive. Wealthy Man looking for a greater Pyroblast. Mez has to run and hide. Trill has to run and hide. Polymorph now on Seadu. Cloud9 just pure dominance in this game. It would be a miracle if Method Orange could come back, but they might be able to do it. Anti-Magic Zone trades out, but Trill falls, and that didn't.
If they can stop drinks, if they can keep, you know, the pressure up, it's going to be nice to have a lot of purges. But I think we saw this composition with the Shaman before, so I think this could be the first time we see it with a Druid. It's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing.
Okay. I'm very curious to see how this composition works for them as well. Obviously with the new essences, which I really want to check on Mez, he may be able to get Necrotic Strike baseline with the Conflict and Strife, which is what I want to know if he is running. He is, so this allows him to maybe get Necrotic Aura. I'm surprised that he's not running Necrotic Aura playing with his Shadow Priest. That would give the Shoppers 8% more damage. Instead going for Dark Simulacrum, I mean, there's high value there, being able to steal. Actually, not so much. I think the Fire Mage it was high value, you get greater Pyroblast, but in this matchup, it's just Polymorph.
Fear.
Or Fear, when you already have Fear and Cyclone, potentially. I think Dark Simulacrum is less value than... I mean, to me, their strategy is getting Dampening, doing an overwhelming amount of damage, right? That has to be the strategy. If they try to play the crowd control strat, Cloud9 wins that. They're going to be way more effective at crowd controlling and bursting down a target than Method Orange are. So getting the Necrotic Aura, I think, would have been a better way to build momentum. But we already see that Cloud9 are just all over Method Orange. Total disrespect, just standing right on top of him.
Well, this is a problem. I mean, Samayam, he is the only one that's just eating interrupt after interrupt. Let's see if he can get some VTs out. Seadu's still in a little bit of trouble. Samayam trying to get back into prime position, gets interrupted again. You just spam interrupt Samayam. When he's not interrupted, you Shadow Fury him. It's just really difficult for the Shadow Priest to get anything rolling in this matchup with the way they play it. And I think Cloud9, they know exactly what their win condition is, exactly how they have to play it out. Samayam still just not getting topped off. Seadu pushing forward, landing a bash. Do they have any follow-up crowd control? Unfortunately not. Infernals does get dropped down. There's 2 Infernals down. You could see right now the power of that for the Destruction Warlock. When you see 1 Infernal, you run and hide. 2, I don't even know what you do. You should probably just press Dispersion. Luckily, Samayam was able to survive as he got interrupted. Seadu in a prime position. There was no crowd control on him, so at this point, he can easily heal Samayam up.
Good recovery from Method Orange throughout the initial attack of Cloud9. That Dark Simulacrum Polymorph maybe getting some value there on the Cubsy. Bit unfortunate that it broke prematurely. Wealthy Man lobbing out a ton of damage with that Flurry. Chanimal Mortal Coiling them away though, stalling it, looking for big Chaos Bolts. The Fell Fissure, Honor Talent for Chanimal, going to be putting those green Fell Eruptions on the ground, and when an enemy player is standing in them, they take 50% reduced healing. So great Honor Talent in this particular matchup. Method Orange don't actually have a Mortal Wounds effect on their team, no Siphene for Samayam, so they don't actually reduce Cubsy's healing at all in this specific matchup, so I'm not sure if they will ever be able to overwhelm him. I think this is a matchup where Cubsy pretty much gets to do whatever he wants, at least until Deep Dampening. Method Orange are trying to punish it by going after Cubsy, developing a decent amount of damage here with the stun and the silence. That Feral Affinity means Cubsy doesn't have immediate recovery, but he is able to avoid the fight by just repositioning, and then with Wealthy Man's snares, Samayam and Mez really can't keep up the chase. Ironbark exchanged here onto Chanimal, a decent amount of damage from both Samayam and Mez. Curious to see if Mez looks for a Dark Simulacrum here shortly. Wealthy Man's casting Polymorph, didn't go for it. Samayam's in trouble. Wealthy Man snags the Polymorph. Dispersion, they're going through Dispersion. The Fell Fissure may be absorbing some of its healing, but Samayam gets around the corner. He looks like he's fine. Cubsy, though, gets in position for Cyclone. Looking for a stun. Mez is there to support. Cubsy doesn't want to risk it. Actually, not even sure if Cubsy is running the Cyclone. He is not running the Cyclone, so not going to be able to get any crowd control, just trying to go for the Feral Affinity stun instead. They do get the Gladiator Safeguard from Samayam. I would say that they have the mana lead, the cooldown lead, the momentum lead. So far, there's only been maybe a couple of moments where they get Chanimal decently low, but until we get to those deeper damage. Oh,
this could Polymorph.
This could be the chain that they get a big cooldown, and there it is, the Unending Resolve from Chanimal.
That was big.
This composition is at least showing a lot more promise than anything else we've seen from Method Orange in the matchup.
Yeah, this is good. Mez doing a great job stealing that Polymorph. Big highlight there. That's one of the powerful abilities that they have. A grip into a double fear. Nice setup from Method Orange. But Chanimal is just full HP. It was unfortunate. I mean, they land the full Polymorph, they land the double fear, but the Iron Bark is enough to keep Chanimal alive with that efflorescence heal. But, I mean, I hate to say it, but if the game goes on long enough and they get into dampening, that is a moment where Sam.I.Am and Mez might be able to take him down, but they have to last that long. This big damage on Sam.I.Am. There's been a lot of moments in the game where Sam's in trouble. No dispersion. He's got the Void Shift. He might have to change his hit points with someone else on his team, but he has to be careful. He doesn't want to create a vulnerability there for Sea-Doo. If he swaps his hit points with Sea-Doo, then they might be able to make a swap onto him, but Sam.I.Am's eating so much damage. Chanimal just spam casting, Wealthy Man spam casting as well. Sea-Doo gets caught into a fear. This is actually a disaster for Sam.I.Am. This is almost certainly going to be the Void Shift. The big heal comes in from Sea-Doo, Polymorph as well. I don't know how Sam.I.Am's still alive at this point. They're not forced to use the Void Shift. Infernals get dropped out. Wealthy Man puts Sam.I.Am in a Nova, so the Infernals hit him. That was nicely done. Good fear over onto Mez. Mez trying to generate some pressure onto Cubsy, but unfortunately, Chanimal had good backup, was able to land the fears and shut that down. Chanimal, Wealthy Man pushing in once again, trying to get the pressure rolling on Sam.I.Am. We need to see another setup come in from Method Orange. Crowd control on Cubsy. They're actually going after Cubsy. Can they punish him? They dispel off the Gladiator Safeguard. That was massive. Cubsy trying to get out of line of sight. Iron Bark, Safeguard, procced. Sam.I.Am in hot pursuit with Mez, but you have to be careful. You can't leave Wealthy Man and Chanimal alone for too long, though they're going to be able to put out big pressure.
This is why Cloud9's Mage Lock Druid is the best in the world. They utilize all the strengths and weaknesses of their comp simultaneously, so Cubsy is likely to be the easiest target to kill before dampening with the Feral Affinity, but if you leave a Warlock and a Mage open, you risk losing the game to go after the best target. Because of that, Cloud9 always punish their opponents when they push forward on Cubsy. This then makes Cubsy not an option, so he gets to benefit from the Feral Affinity and add a huge amount of damage to his team. This impenetrable defense of damage and crowd control from Cloud9 is the reason why they are the spring champions, why they're currently the top point earners in summer as well. Method Orange are trying to grasp at straws for compositions to defeat them. Nothing has worked for them. They've been public to say that they feel hopeless against Cloud9. This Death Knight Shadow Priest, they're banking on it to at least get a point on the board against Cloud9. They've had promise. There have been moments that have shown that they are capable, but now those moments are no longer occurring, and Sam.I.Am is just falling inevitably behind.
Sam.I.Am does manage to get topped off. We're at about 7 minutes in the game, 11% dampening. There's decent pressure, and here's the thing. The composition Method Orange is running, I actually feel like there is potential later on for good spread pressure. Mez, if he can get his diseases up on all three members, and Sam.I.Am can get VT Shadow or Pain up on all three members, they might be actually able to get some spread pressure rolling and really tax Cubsy's mana. But the problem is Sam.I.Am's going to have to do a really good job shutting down a lot of, or fake casting a lot of those interrupts. If he's getting spell locked and counterspelled, that's not going to happen. You can see right now, Polymorph snuck onto Sea-Doo. Sam.I.Am does manage to find the Master Spell. Nicely done. Sea-Doo into another Polymorph, but Sam.I.Am's going to be full hit points. Good amount of healing coming in from Sea-Doo, the Fellfisher. Once again, that's something we really have to be paying attention to in the game. When Chanimal is able to land a Chaos Bolt, you can see it right now. It's going to drop a green, shaky ground to the ground, and cracked earth. If Sam.I.Am's standing on that, it reduces healing by 50%. So Sam.I.Am constantly has to be repositioning every time a Chaos Bolt lands in him. If he sits in that, Sea-Doo will not be able to top him off and heal him up. So that's something that Method Orange really has to be paying attention to during the game.
All right, let's see if Sea-Doo can keep his team going here. The deeper we get into dampening, the deeper down the rabbit hole we go, the more chaotic things end up. Polymorph secured. Fear on Mez. 3 versus 1 on Sam.I.Am. How are Method Orange going to exchange? Sam.I.Am going to be using that Leap of Faith, pulling Sea-Doo into the Frozen Orb, breaking the crowd control. Good awareness on his part. That allows them to use less important defensive cooldowns to survive that assault. But Chanimal capitalizes on the positioning, goes after Sea-Doo with a couple of Chaos Bolts. He's struggling to even recover his own health. This is the advantage Cubsy brings on the team with that Feral Affinity. He is just tearing them to shreds. 2 members low. Mez is trying to steal some crowd control. What's he going to find? I don't think he found anything too important. Wealthy Man blinks over, looking to snipe the kill. Big damage for Cloud9. All 3 members pincering in on Sam.I.Am.
Let's see, are they going to be able to take Sam.I.Am down? This Polymorph over onto Sea-Doo. Infernals get dropped out. Frozen Orb as well. There's big pressure coming out onto Sam. Sea-Doo, what is his mana situation like right now? There's actually good rot pressure. Interrupt onto Cubsy. You can see Wealthy Man's getting low. Chanimal also. Sea-Doo doesn't have too much mana left, but with those essences, should be able to stay at that point for quite a while in the game. Anti-magic zone trades from Mez to keep Sam-I-Am alive. He realizes it's a scary situation. Infernals are going to be doing massive damage over onto Sam-I-Am right now. Ironbark trades out. Cubsy stabilizes his health. Sam-I-Am still a little vulnerable. Actually, opposite trade of the dispersion.
Overlap.
So now he's going to be vulnerable. There's no Ironbark and there's no dispersion. He still has a Greater Fade, but he's just eating a lot of Chaos Bolts. Sidu trying to shut him down a little bit. Greater Fade trades out. Fear now onto Sidu, and Sam is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Sam is in a lot of trouble. He still has Void Shift, but Cloud9 could switch to the target that Sam-I-Am uses Void Shift to switch his health with, so that's going to be a bit of a scary moment here now at 29% dampening and always rising. Sam-I-Am getting Gladiator's Maledicts activated onto him by Cubsy. Big absorption effect, putting him even further behind, and this composition showed promise, but maybe their defeat is just inevitable at this point. Chanimal pushes forward, but they try to punish. He has to trade Unending Resolve. A bit of a race here. Could be cross kills potentially. Chanimal's going for it. Big Chaos Bolt. He needs to. He Void Shifts over to Sidu, but now Sidu is low. Cubsy moves in, tries to get some added damage to Sidu. No one else can really back him up. Chanimal is still low on health. Ironbark has to fade out. Cubsy's desperate. His team is starting to rot down. We're finally seeing the damage from Sam-I-Am be of some use here. Deeper into dampening. Can they get the kill? They've got Chanimal all alone for a couple of seconds. They need to take him out, but he deflects with a triple Shadow Fury, punishing the position.
Oh, they gotta
Chaos
take him
Bolt's
down.
being lobbed in. Gladiator Safeguard gets dispelled. Perfect dispel timing from Sam-I-Am. Method Orange are finally, are they able to do it? Can they break the slump? Can they take down Cloud9? Chanimal, he's going for the kill at 1%, but ends up going down.
They did it!
Method Orange have finally done it.
Absolutely incredible. It's the Death Knight Shadow Priest. Of course Method Orange would win with this composition. The mad scientists themselves always coming up with something. Even when you give up hope, like I swear they do this to their fans. They're so in this series, but they're definitely up against it in Game 3.
Very curious to see what build Mez is running in particular on that Frost Death Knight. What strategy we see from Method Orange. Are they going to be playing scared at the pillar? Are they going to go all out? Looks like they're playing a lot more aggressive, targeting down Wealthy Man, although he was able to blink out of line of sight or out of range of that Syndragosa. Powerful offensive from Mez, avoided with that blink, but hard stop Delirium going to make it very difficult for this Mage Wealthy Man to escape from battle. And I'm wondering what essence he is also running. The Conflict and Strife, so he's going to be getting a lot of extra damage. Good build here from Mez. Trildo equally so, taking a ton of damage from Chanimal.
Whoa!
Gladiator Safeguard on very low health. I mean, Method Orange, they're trying to play more aggressive, see how it works for them, but they are falling behind now. We see Wealthy Man able to force Trill back. Touch of Karma has been worked through. Ironbark has been worked through. Trill with not many options, and I think Method Orange are starting to think, all right, being aggressive isn't really working too well. We're kind of just getting beaten up right now by Cloud9, so let's just take a breather, go back to the pillar, take a sabbatical in Tolvaron, although I don't know any person in the right mind would want to take a sabbatical in Tolvaron. It's pretty hot there, but it looks like Method Orange are just going to take a breather.
Yeah, so for Mez in the Frost Death Knight, I think the main advantage, obviously we kind of talked about it, is the Delirium and the Heartstop Aura. The thing is, those together only really give you a big edge if you have high uptime on a target. So they have to be on Wealthy Man for a good 30 seconds to a minute before you really start noticing a big difference in Wealthy Man's Shimmers coming up a little bit later. So they actually have to stay in the open for a while if they want to take advantage of that, but it just doesn't seem like they're able to do that at all. Mez uses Death Grip, brings Wealthy Man a little bit closer, but he uses Shimmer to get away. Now Mez, just caught in midfield, going to be taking a ton of Chaos Bolts. You have, look at this positioning. You see Cubsy at the pillar, positioned very far away. He's just spamming out heals onto Wealthy Man. And you have Chanimal in midfield as well, putting on a lot of pressure with his Chaos Bolts. And Wealthy Man is just doing his best to drag Mez and Trill into the corner, so we can see Chanimal just putting out a lot of damage. Crucible
of Flame is actually being run by Chanimal, so he's mixing it up. I'm wondering if his whole team is. We saw Zuniaki on Enlight running 3 Crucible of Flame, but no, he's the only one on the team running it. It gives him a little bit of extra damage and maybe a heal as well later in the game if he wants to use it that way. But he loses out on getting the extra Honor Talent or just Infernal uptime. It seems a bit peculiar that he's running it. I think he's almost just experimenting with it, but I think for the Destruction Warlock there's much more high value in getting the extra Honor Talent than there is in the on use of the Concentrated Flame. The Crucible of Flame, unless you're going to run 3 of them and then try and go for all 3 at the same time when they've stacked up, try and burst somebody down, I could see that working, but that's not what they're doing. They're only running 1 of it. Counterspell on Sea-Doo. Scary moment here for Trill if he's not careful. Uses Touch of Karma. Could be ice blocked off if Wealthy Man really wanted to. I feel like the game hasn't gone on long enough that he would really get punished too much. Trill using Touch of Death along with it, trying to amplify it even further, but getting feared by Chanimal into a Frost Nova. Tiger's lost Death Grip to connect. Touch of Death going to connect as well, but not do too much. Cubsy had Iron Bark up and ready. Going to be allowing Wealthy Man to be able to stand still. Chanimal's got Infernals into the arena. He's going to be doing a lot of damage, and Trill doesn't have a lot of defense. Is Trill going to opt to retreat away? They got Ursul's Vortex. He needs to be careful he doesn't use Transcendence during that. Instead, using the Flying Serpent kick, wrapping around the corner, but Sea-Doo again getting counterspelled. They switch over to Mez. Mez going to respect that and trade out Anti-Magic Zone. That purple defense in midfield, allowing Mez to soak up some hits for his team. This Method Orange look like they're retreating away, but they're not retreating away for free. All three members softened up here. Chaos Bolt flies in. Glider Safeguard proc. They chop right through it. Spell stolen off. Diffuse Magic forced to be traded along with Iron Bark. And Cloud9 are developing a huge amount of pressure in this moment of time, which is a bit surprising before Dampening.
Yeah, I mean, Mez is just sitting in the open. Anytime Mez and Trill are in the open, you have a free casting Destruction Warlock. If there's anything that's going to do a lot of damage in this game, it is a free casting Destruction Warlock. And it's difficult for Method Orange. I mean, as this game progresses, I mean, Wealthy Man has been taking a little bit of damage, but Sea-Doo, it hasn't been easy for him. I don't even think Wealthy Man has had to use a Temporal Shield yet, let alone an Ice Block. So Mez and Trill, they're going to have to up their damage, or they need an extra little bit of dampening. The problem is, I feel like in dampening, the damage Chanimal is able to put out is going to force Mez and Trill to run away, or they could just fall down. Sea-Doo getting caught into a counterspell once again. Mez actually gripping Wealthy Man to the pillar. Trill trying to get there as well. He uses Transcendence. Wealthy Man blinks away, but that Shimmer cooldown, it's really, really long. And you're probably wondering, why is Wealthy Man just sitting there? Why isn't he using his blinks? Why isn't he kiting away? It's because Mez with Delirium, with Heartstop Aura, makes that Shimmer a really long. I think it goes up to somewhere crazy, like a 50-second cooldown, if they can keep that disease up and keep uptime on Wealthy Man. I'll have to double check those numbers, but it makes it really difficult for Wealthy Man to actually escape these melee. And later on in the game, when Cubsy's healing is a little bit less effective, that's when we could see a strategy like this being, super effective. The problem is, Sea-Doo's healing also gets reduced, and Chanimal is going to be able to put out a lot of damage on the Destruction Warlock. It becomes really scary really quick for Method Orange.
There it is, that magic number at the top of the screen. Method Orange's friend in this particular matchup to reduce the healing of Cloud9, hopefully allowing them to develop enough momentum to find a killer, at least a cooldown. They've been struggling to even just do that. Cubsy positioned forward. I'm curious what he's looking to do, if he wants to get some crowd control. It looks like he's trying to re-stealth. He is able to re-stealth. No one stopped him. He jumps in, stuns Trill for free. Bit of a mistake here by Method Orange. Trill in trouble as a result. Touch of Karma forced to be used. He's low on health with Touch of Karma. Instead decides to go aggressive with it, try and reverse the pressure, get an ice block, but Chanimal is there to intercept, and that's the thing, they've left Chanimal open for most of this match, going after the Mage, and Chanimal has been able to fully capitalize on it, getting a lot of pressure. Infernal's in, one Chaos Bolt lobbed out. What are you going to do, Trill? He's going to portal back, but he's separated from Sea-Doo. They are so far apart from each other. Cubsy looks to intercept, but Trill ducks for cover, able to escape to safety with the Flying Serpent kick, getting picked up now by Sea-Doo. Mez decides, all right, I'm the only one out there. I need to get back to the pillar. Then Death Gripping Mez out of line of, Death Gripping Wealthy Man out of line of sight. Wealthy Man Temporal Shield to the Death Grip, absorbs all of the damage, and then walks away absolutely at full health. Big Chaos Bolt on Trill. Rolls again around the corner, but Sea-Doo is interrupted. Trill needs to heal himself. Cubsy jumps in to close out the game, stuns up Sea-Doo. Trill, how are you going to stay alive? Even Cubsy at this point might be able to knock you over. Flurry from Wealthy Man. Trill holding on for dear life at the moment, but the triple fear? I'm so surprised to see Trill make it out alive there in that situation. Now, though, that he has survived, Wealthy Man's in trouble. They do manage to at least get the Gladiator safeguard, although they would like to get an ice block at some point. They're just not finding enough damage. Cubsy still at absolutely full mana, thanks to his new handy-dandy essences. The Ever-Rising Tide paired up with the Memory of Lucid Dreams. Definitely the best combo for at least the Restoration Druids, if not probably all of the healers in the current meta. Getting around that pesky necessity to drink and able to stay in the fight a lot longer and be a lot more limber.
I mean, that was actually unbelievable that Trill managed to survive that situation. Good healing coming in from Method Orange. Good survival tactics, but this is not the spot you want to be in, Sid. For Method Orange, in order to make the Frost Death Knight effective, you need to be in a situation where you can actually push in and have high uptime on a target. The thing is, when they're running and hiding, this is when they're very susceptible to the Frozen Orb, the Blizzard, the Ice Nova. All of this damage, all of these snares that Wealthy Man is putting out makes it really difficult for Method Orange to actually stabilize, and things start spiraling out of control quite quickly. But Method Orange, they're going to be comfortable to just hold on for as long as possible. Now Diffuse Magic's available, Touch of Karma is available, Fortifying Brew, Trill has all the defensive cooldowns that he needs to make an offensive push, and that's what Method Orange has to do. They have to bank up all of their defensive and offensive cooldowns to make a push in the game to actually take Cloud9 down at some point. Cloud9, they're going to be positioning very far away. They want to avoid that. They want to just get out their wizard damage from a safe range, avoid the melee damage. Channel going to be soaking a lot of this damage right now, but Cubsy and Wealthy Man in prime position to keep him alive, keep him going. And once again, it's Method Orange that's on the back foot, and it's Method Orange that has to retreat.
Yeah, this is an elimination series. Reigning BlizzCon champions, spring finalists, Cloud9 go head-to-head against Method Orange in an elimination series. Just the second series of the day. And we're already eliminating some of the biggest names in World of Warcraft history. Who is going to be going out? In this specific moment, it's looking like Method Orange. But Sam.IM's Shadow Priest did put a point on the board, so Method Orange can fall back on that for Game 4 and likely take us to a Game 5. But now, after seeing how this Frost Death Knight is playing out, unless by some miracle, by some work of God, they managed to take down Cloud9 in this game. I don't think they're going to go back to this Frost Death Knight strategy. I'm glad that they tried it. I wanted to see how it would work, but so far it's looking exactly the same as the Unholy Death Knight. Impossible. So Method Orange, they're going to have to come up with something else. They're going to really have to hope that the Shadow Priest Death Knight can beat anything else that Cloud9 have. The triangle position.
You love it.
It's perfect from Cloud9. At least one member of the team will be guaranteed to get. They're desperate. They're going after Cubsy. They say throw caution to the wind, kill Cubsy or lose. They can't take him out. Trill gets feared into a poly. Sidu and Mez take a huge amount of damage from that push, but it's do or die. Mez is saying, whatever, I'm going to kill Cubsy or I'm going out of the game. They are fed up of running around the pillar, but Cubsy knows exactly where to go. Supati's patented wizard corner. If they go out into this corner, it's too deep in the deep end of the pool when you can only dog paddle against a Frost Mage. They're not getting back to shore. Big damage by Cloud9. They move to match point.
Yep, that was 2-1. If they win this game, they will eliminate Method Orange from the competition, and Method Orange simply cannot afford that for another cup.
Yep, Method Orange simply cannot. They're so far not really doing great. I mean, they're third, they're tied for second, but Resurgent are in the upper bracket. They're already secured at least a further position. If Method Orange can't pull this off, that means that Resurgent can continue to build their lead, Cloud9 continue to build their lead. We see M2KC having a great run, the Move having a great run. Right now, it's not looking good for Method Orange this early on. This is a devastating amount of damage, almost an unexpected amount of pressure from Cloud9. They seem to be just all over Method Orange, looking to close it out within the first couple of seconds. They have to bank out basically all of their defense to stay alive, but now that they have stayed alive, they're counter-aggressing. They're going after Chanimal. Cubsy looks to deny the kill there with Ironbark. Is Ironbark going to even be enough? He is just getting slapped around. Now big heals come in. They're going to use Unending Resolve. Both teams just going right on top of each other. This is a surprising amount of offense from both sides here in game number 4.
Yeah, I mean, definitely good damage rolling in. It was a good start for Cloud9, but you can see Method Orange, they were able to easily recover from it. Sam.IM, Mez, Sidu, they're all full HP. When the cooldowns are available and Chanimal is pushing in without any resolve, with Infernals, with Dark Soul, I mean, it's a great offensive push, but once that damage fades, it's pretty easy for Sidu to deal with after that. And that's why you see a complete stabilization of everyone's hit points. Sam.IM did use the dispersion, but it's a low cooldown, so it will rotate back up, and he'll have that available later on. One thing that is really interesting to me in these tournaments is just how powerful the mana recovery essences are. Like, before 8.2, we'd see a lot of these healers have to sneak away and go for consistent drinks in the matchup. And it doesn't really feel like that's something they have to look for anymore in these games.
Nope. The new essences, the Ever-Rising Tide, and the Memory of Lucid Dreams. Great combination for healers in this meta to remove the need to drink. But Sam.IM's under pressure. Is he going to fall? This would be surprising. We've seen almost every game today in North America go into deep dampening, so to see a member die this early on would be quite a surprise. I'd almost say a bit of a throwaway. I feel like there's more than enough defense right now available for either side. They shouldn't be going down this early. Sidu going to recover. Sam.IM at the pillar. Mez being left behind a bit and crowd controlled for a long period of time. Cubsy's jumping in. They're going after Sidu. They've isolated him. What's he going to do? They're bursting him down. This is... Whoa! Void Shift from Sam.IM. Now he's low on health. Chanimal switches targets. Big Chaos Bolt. Barely stays alive. Has to fade. That fade's going to be fading. Is Shaman just going to die outright? Insane push from Cloud9. Mixing it up, going after Sea-Doo, costing him a lot of mana, costing him a lot of cooldowns, and maybe costing him the tournament.
I mean, Shaman's still in trouble. He's not out of it yet. He goes for the defensive silence on a Chanimal. Anti-magic zone trades out. But look, they've used everything. In Chanimal, he has his Dark Soul, he has his Infernal, so Cloud9 has managed to desync a lot of the defensive cooldowns. Shaman, of course, does have the Dispersion. Polymorph gets traded out onto Sea-Doo. I think Mez may have actually snuck in a Dark Simulacrum. He did. He has a Polymorph on Cubsy right now. Are they going to be able to get any pressure off the back of that crowd control? Doesn't seem like it so far, and Sea-Doo's mana is being taxed heavily in this game. It feels like Cloud9, they are really comfortable with this particular matchup. They're not afraid to get aggressive. They realize the damage from Method Orange just isn't high enough. They don't have a Mortal Wounds effect. Sure, they have Necrotic Strike, but it's just not enough without Dampening to actually take someone down. And I feel like Method Orange, they basically just have to hold onto their boots for as long as they possibly can, maybe make an attempt over on the Cubsy, but I feel like he's going to be fine. And this is kind of what Sea-Doo was talking about, where they play in these games and they're kind of just waiting to lose because there's just no good target for them. They can't go after Wealthy Man, Chanimal, or Cubsy. All three of them are essentially bulletproof to this composition that they're running until later on in the game. Eventually, Chanimal can fall, but there's just, the thing is, Cloud9 has so many windows of opportunity to actually take down Method Orange. Meanwhile, Method Orange kind of just has to wait, hold on for, 10, 15 minutes before they can actually secure a kill.
Buckle up, Method Orange. Keep your hands and legs in what is going to be the most painful ride for you all day at all times, because you're going to have to make it at least another, I feel like, 10 minutes to be able to take out Cloud9 and stay in the tournament, move to a Game 5, and then pray that Cloud9 don't have a counter pick to this Death Knight Shadow Priest. But I'm not even sure if the Death Knight Shadow Priest is guaranteed to win. Cloud9 have realized that before. Dampening, they don't really get scratched. They can do whatever they want, go wherever they please. The entire map is their playground, and if they keep pushing forward, they may eventually catch Method Orange off guard, and even one time will be the end of the game and the end of this tournament for them. Method Orange, they can make zero mistakes, and they've got a long way to go.
I mean, we're just now creeping up to the 5-minute mark in the matchup. Dark Simulacrum gets traded out by Mez. Let's see what he's able to get done. I want to try to take a look at the point standings right now for both of these teams. Obviously, Cloud9, they're in a position where they won the spring finals, so they're doing quite well. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter. They're playing in these cups for points, also for prize money, so it's still worth it for them to make these consistent performances. And I think also it's really good for a team like Cloud9. Early on in the year, they're going to be qualifying to BlizzCon. They know that they've secured their spot, but I really like the idea that they're staying consistent. They're going to be, the front runners. Right now, they are currently the highest seeded team in North America. They have 180 points this season alone. Resurgent's going to be behind them at 160, so it's been a good season for them so far. Method Orange, of course, they're a little bit behind. They have to play catch-up. They need to make sure that they're securing their top 4. This is not an ideal situation for them to be in. If they lose this, they're going to be exiting the tournament in 7th and 8th, and that is not a prime move, especially when you see teams like Mew Mew Kitty Cats and the Move right on their tail, just 40 points behind, and those teams are in the upper bracket. We're going to see them a little bit later today. If Mew Mew Kitty Cats and the Move can make a deep run, they could sort of dethrone Method Orange out of that top 4 spot. And if Method Orange doesn't make top 4 this season, they can't qualify. They can't qualify to BlizzCon. It's over for them. So they have to make sure they're doing a really good job in these tournaments. Otherwise, their BlizzCon dreams are over.
It would be unbelievable to not see Method Orange make it to BlizzCon after their great victory last year, but Cloud9 could make that result possible if they can close this out against them. Method Orange are running out of mana. Their cooldowns are starting to dwindle. Things are starting to fall apart. The only thing going in their favor is that they're still alive. And if Dampening gets to critical mass, then maybe they can overwhelm Cloud9 with damage. But we see Cubsy. What's he doing? He's in cat form, having the time of his life, attacking Sea-Doo. All 3 members of Cloud9 closing in on Sea-Doo, looking for the chokehold, trying to close it out. But multiple Gladiators Maledicts absorbing Sea-Doo's heals. Sea-Doo tries to jump to safety, stuns up Cubsy. Cubsy was overextended for a long time. Mez is trying to punish, going after him. They've got him locked down. Can they find the kill? They silence him. They grip him back on the jump, looking to try and take him out. Apocalypse activated, but Mez can't keep up the chase. Cubsy will recover.
Yeah. Cubsy does manage to stabilize. Sea-Doo does escape, and it looks like he actually tried to sneak away for a drink. I don't think he was able to recover too much mana, but mana really hasn't been a factor so far in these matchups. Cubsy getting a little bit low. He's struggling to keep Chanimal alive at this point. Mez is putting in a lot of pressure. Samayam also. Chanimal and Wealthy Man need to make sure they're keeping their focus on shutting down Samayam. Interestingly enough, they're going after Mez. This is not something that we saw in Hook Point. They went after Samayam a lot more in the matchup, and I think it becomes scary. If you don't shut down Samayam, you're not polymorphing him, fearing him, spell-locking him, consistently putting pressure on him, then he's going to have free reign in this matchup. And Shadow Priest do a lot of damage if they can free cast. So definitely something Cloud9 needs to consider moving forward.
All right, let's see if they can get it done here. 20% dampening and counting. Sea-Doo in crowd control. Mez targeted down. He's got full runic power. He can spend that on Death Strike to heal himself back up. I don't think he's in the most amount of trouble. But Cubsy does move forward, get crowd control, jump in, add some extra damage with the Feral Affinity. Mez is trying to steal some crowd control. What did Mez manage to snag? Maybe just death. He's still out in midfield taking a beating. Sea-Doo is still crowd controlled. Finally starting to end at this point. Now going after Cubsy. Trying again, wants to go after the healer. Can they get it? Cubsy doesn't have any defense in a second if they can stay on target, but the longer Mez spends going after Cubsy, the more Chanimal casts Chaos Bolt, so he can't keep chasing him. Opts to go after Chanimal instead, but still just lobbing out Chaos Bolt after Chaos Bolt. Sea-Doo in another polymorph. I'm still curious if Mez has managed to steal anything of high value. It might not matter. Void Shift, anti-magic zone. Big overlap of cooldowns here from Method Orange just to stay in the fight. They're still on match point. Wealthy Man could switch to Samayam. There's 2 members low on health. Really limited on cooldowns. Cubsy is stunned up. Finally, some pressure. Samayam's damage is finally starting to sink in on Cloud9. Down at like 90% across all 3 players, but the pressure has subsided because Mez is forced to abandon the push and has to recover at the pillar with Sea-Doo.
Yeah, nice double fear coming in from Samayam. Cubsy getting gripped in. There's a bash over onto Mez. Sea-Doo with a counter bash over onto Cubsy. And I honestly like the adaptation coming in from Cloud9. Cloud9, one thing I like about their team is they are willing to try a ton of different strategies. They don't just stick with one strategy. They're willing to go after different targets. I mean, they'll go after Mez in this game. Going after Samayam didn't work on Hook Point. Now that Samayam's in the open, he's basically just a target dummy. Wealthy Man and Chanimal just teeing off on him, putting out a lot of pressure. Mez was forced to run away a little bit earlier, and that's the problem. If Mez has to run away, all the damage starts to lose. All the pressure, all the damage from Method Orange starts really, dwindling, and Cubsy can heal through it. So Mez has to make sure he has high uptime on a target, pushing in, but it's just so difficult, especially with the positioning you see from Chanimal and Wealthy Man in the matchup. Kleptomania comes in from Wealthy Man. Sea-Doo has to re-put up all his heal over time effects over onto Mez. Cubsy just in the face of Mez and Sea-Doo right now. This is actually quite unbelievable. Mez cannot get him off of Sea-Doo. Of course, Cubsy does trinket out. He doesn't want to fall far behind. Managed to build up some damage. Sea-Doo's going lower and lower on mana. Cubsy at around 50%. We're at 34% dampening. And the question is, at what point in the game, Sid, do we feel like Method Orange is actually going to start developing a lead?
It depends. If Cloud9 can keep shutting down Samayam, prevent his vampiric touches from being casted, get on top of Sea-Doo and Mez and overwhelm them, I don't even know if Dampening is 100% favored to them. Mez is taking huge hits, trying to hide around the corner, but Wealthy Man on one side and Chanimal on the other. There is nowhere to hide. Cloud9 is everywhere all at the same time. Big Chaos Bolt comes in on the Mez. Barely gets around the corner in time. Ironbark's defense has subsided. They go after Samayam. Big Ray of Frost. Chaos Bolt. Dispersion. Gladiator Safeguard. Multiple cooldowns forced. Finally some pressure on the Chanimal, but it is still Method Orange that are taking the pain. Cubsy jumps in, adds in a ton of extra damage. Icebound Fortitude needs to be enough. Mez is trying to make the push, but they don't have much left to trade to make the push. Multiple Chaos Bolts. Anti-Magic Shield gets shredded. Samayam is so low on health. He's pinned out in midfield. Wealthy Man looking to close it out with an Ice Lance. Anti-Magic Zone barely holding on, but there's no way Samayam can afford to stay out here. He fades on 10%, barely still in the fight. Cubsy's got more than enough mana to keep this going. Sea-Doo in a fear, and this looks like lights out for Method Orange. If Chanimal can get even one more Chaos Bolt, trying to get through the interrupts. Mez trying to wrap around the staircase corner. Sea-Doo looking to reconvene, but now he's stunned up. The 2 members are still at 50% health. Cubsy looks like he could just go into cap form at any moment if he really wanted to and just kill Mez. All 3 targets in trouble at this period of time. Samayam is interrupted. Wealthy Man and Chanimal are looking to push forward. Cubsy adding into the mix. Chaos Bolt gets stunned. Mez is desperate on the run. Cubsy doesn't care. He's jumping in, trying to snare up the team. absolutely 0 mana left. I feel like I've seen Sea-Doo in this position time and time again, and he manages to pull it off, but
I don't think
it's happening this time. Double Mortal Coil, Janimal in position to close. Samai has Vampiric Embrace. Maybe that is the saving grace. With the Void Form activated, it could be enough healing to at least sustain their health at 10%. The cooldowns are rotating up exactly when Method Orange needs them. It's almost as if a miracle is happening to allow them to still be alive despite the push of Cloud9. Innervate comes up at exactly the same second that Method needed it to get some free heals. Sea-Doo gets high value heals, the Efflorescence and the Tranquility. Method Orange have stayed alive.
How?
Despite your negative attitude, Benruki.
How did Sea-Doo keep them alive?
That's crazy.
That's actually unbelievable. Sea-Doo managed to keep them all alive, but Mez now with an offensive push. He's overstayed his welcome. Frozen Orb gets dropped down. Can he stay alive? Stun over onto Chanimal. Mez has to remain offensive, but I don't know if he has enough time. 1 Chaos Bolt lands, 2 Chaos Bolt lands, and that's the problem. Once you're this late in dampening, Mez just can't.
To the Resto Druid.
Yeah, and we're going to see the blind pick come in here from Storm, going to be that Shadow Priest Destruction Warlock that we did kind of hear them talking about. Very confident so far in this matchup. The move, though, going to be running that Rogue Shadow Priest Resto Druid, Absturge, once again swapping off that Shaman, which is something that we've been wanting to see here. Let's see if they can get any pressure here in this opening.
Yep, so both the teams running the Shadow Priest, both the teams running the Restoration Druid. Both those classes have been quite popular lately, which I must say is pretty nice for me since I'm playing the Resto Druid and the Shadow Priest as my two main classes. Definitely can't wait to get on Monday, play more of my SP, because it's been a big theme throughout this weekend. Oz with his fantastic success in the midweek, taking down Method Orange. As we see the first set of Infernals coming out from Nozom, he'll be putting Absturge, I suppose, to the test for the first time in this game.
Yeah, and we did see a nice little double fear come out there, but I believe it broke there onto Metaphors. WizK ramping up some of that insanity, trying to get some pressure going. Oz as well entering Void Form, looking to get some burst going, but not too much happening right yet. We see Nozom going for that double Mortal Coil. Chaos Bolt with a lot of cooldowns activated. This is big damage here onto WizK, onto Peekaboo as well, actually here. Caught up in the bash, but a nice silence from WizK should allow Absturge to stabilize here. Both Druids looking pretty even on mana, both of them using their Innovate as quickly as possible so they can regen that cooldown back, so they can kind of just be efficient throughout the fight. I like that from both of these Druids. Absturge so far doing a great job here.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's definitely starting to feel a little bit of pain. You can see his blue bar is moving ever so slightly. We don't expect either of these Restoration Druids to be put under too much stress prior to dampening, though honestly, Storm actually having a fair bit of pressure. Peekaboo dropping low, has to trade out the Feint as he gets caught in the Rake Stun. Metaphors has been getting better and better on this Druid. You know, at the start we were very critical of him. He was taking a lot of hits from us on the desk, but he's definitely been putting his work in on the Restoration Druid. He completely re-rolled off of the Resto Shaman, hasn't touched that class in a very long time, certainly in the tournament scene, and he's looking pretty solid here. You know, he's getting his restarts, getting his drinks, and causing pressure, the move forced to retreat.
Yeah, and as you say that, he goes in for another Rake Stun here onto Peekaboo, and he doesn't get too much damage done in that Rake Stun, but that was on Peekaboo's kidney shot, which of course allows Nozom here to be free casting and force Peekaboo back behind that pillar. Peekaboo had to use his Cloak of Shadows on one of those Chaos Bolts a little bit earlier on, so he doesn't want to be too risky here, put Absturge too far behind on mana, so he's just going to go ahead and try to re-stealth or at least get his kidney shot cooldown back, but a nice preemptive Iron Bark there from Metaphors on that smoke bomb. But Nozom still using his trinket there, which is honestly showing the move a little bit too much respect there, in my opinion. Metaphors already pre-Iron Bark the smoke bomb, but look here, a lot of damage from WizK. Silence, can he combo it with the fear? He does land that full fear on the Metaphors. Nozom now in a little bit of trouble here. If WizK can get a couple of purges out, another kidney shot here. Metaphors though, coming out of that fear, should be able to stabilize Nozom for now. Nozom now activating his Dark Soul here, looking for some damage, looking to get the Shadow Fury, Chaos Bolt onto Absturge, I believe, but it gets Shadow step kick there by Peekaboo, waiting to get his kidney shot cooldown off DR once again here. Now looking to get some bleeds up onto Oz as well. Looking for that. Now actually Metaforce here, big swap by the move, Adrian.
Yeah, this is where Peekaboo's at his best. He loves to just swap around, get pressure wherever he can. Metaforce dropping low, forced to trade out his demonic gateway, kite away. Peekaboo in hot pursuit though, he's chasing, he's hunting for the kill here. He's already forced out the bark skin and the trinket. A good Mind Smash from Metaforce should deny, though he is running toward WizK. Needs to be careful. Peekaboo looking for a cheeky re-stealth. If he's able to land that, he could potentially get a good opener, but he's going to go back over onto Nozem. Look at all these Infernals dropping left, right, and center from the Vision of Perfection Azurite Essence here. It's something that they have to be so mindful of on the move, because the Destro Warlock is such a threat. If they do swap over onto Metaphor too much, then Nozem, I mean, he could easily just land a kill.
Yeah, and basically if you're the move, the best case scenario is to just kind of have a decently high mana pool entering Dampening. If you can do that, then you're going to be in a pretty good situation. Peekaboo is therefore kind of just ducking in and out, kidney shotting whoever is close, seeing if he can get any openings, because Metaforce is always going to have the mana lead here. Playing in a double wizard composition just allows him to throw up his healing over time effects and then just go back and drink. He's playing very, very safe because he is that feral affinity as well. He can go for re-stealths. He might be going for one right now. Actually, he's going to go ahead and just throw out a couple of healing over time effects. Gets silenced here. Nozem now in a little bit of trouble. WizK activating that Void Form, looking to get some damage gone, but it looks like Metaforce is going to be able to deflect that with the Iron Bark for now. The move again resetting. Upsurge not being able to find any of these drinks, slowly withering down his mana bar for now.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the goal for Storm. Storm will get infinite resets in this game if they want it. Metaphor can spam, go for those drinks, those resets to get his mana back to full. Upsurge, meanwhile, he has to be very careful. Obviously, the essences help out a lot, and I'm just so happy that Upsurge has swapped over to the Restoration Druid. Previously for the move, you know, they always had the potential offensively, but they just needed the time. They need to be able to stack up to Dampening, and with Upsurge on that orange healer there, it is giving them the tools they needed to succeed in this tournament so far. We're starting to hit that Dampening mark now, 6% healing reduction for both sides to contend with. Nozem very stable at this moment in time. Metaphor's trinking out his blind on cooldown basically every single time that blind comes through. He trinkets fairly. Nozem with all his defensive cooldowns means that the move really do have to start making some offense happen, but they're just favoring defensive play right now, both WizK and Peekaboo at the pillar.
Yeah, just want to hold on to as much mana as possible. When they have the Vendetta, when they have the Silence, then they can go for big pushes here. Nozem again caught up in a kidney shot, and I actually really think the move is going to be able to take this game based on what we've been seeing so far, because I don't see any like real opening here for Storm other than tapping out Upsurge and kind of getting into a chokehold situation, similar to what we saw Cloud9 do against Method Orange last game. But I just don't see that happening, knowing that Peekaboo is an assassination rogue who has a Mortal Strike effect, and on the flip side, I see a clear win condition here for the move where they go, they kidney shot Nozem, they dispel all of his healing over time effects with WizK, they get a silence onto Metaforce, and then, you know, if they combo that with a Vanish, Sheep Shot, or, you know, Upsurge pushes in and gets a bash, maybe into a Cyclone, I can definitely see them taking down Nozem. I mean, even now, without Peekaboo being on target, just standing next to the pillar, keeping up the Poison Knife, they're managing to get a significant amount of pressure here. Just keep WizK's dots up, spam Purge, and then go for a silence play, and that's going to generate pressure deeper into Dampening. That's going to land them a kill. So what the move is doing is really, really good. The main thing that they can lose on is that mana. So Absol just needs to do a good job holding on to his mana bar. We see the Iron Bark actually from Metaforce being activated here. Metaforce dropping low on mana. Nozem has his Dark Soul active, looking to get a few big Chaos Bolts. For now, the kidney shot was shutting him down. Oz and Nozem needs to get a big burst on Peekaboo or WizK so they can force him back. It looks like Nozem might just go down here. That's his unending resolve.
Yeah, I didn't actually like that play from Metaphor. He sat down for a drink there. He got about 20% of his mana back, but surely it's not worth trading for the Unending Resolve. Now they won't have that available for Vendetta. This is falling apart here for Storm. Like you say, Z, there's just no openings here. They don't seem to be able to find anything. Upsurge even was able to sit down for a little drink in the midst of all that, and it's just looking better and better for the move. Peekaboo, he has to play it careful, of course. As Dampening starts to stack up, it's going to be difficult for him, but WizK can just sit on the pillar. Upsurge as well. Both of them just kind of sit back, deny any dot shots coming in from Oz, and eventually that Assassination Rogue plus the Spam Purge, we've seen it time and time again against these Destruction Warlocks, will be enough damage to land the kill. 20% dampening right now. Metaphor is going for a reset, resetting his mana to full, but the big story here is that that's the Iron Bark, there's no unending resolve, and Vendetta's coming up in about 30 seconds here, Z.
Yeah, and that was a Iron Bark on the silence. I would have actually maybe liked to see WizK hold on to it. He's going for the silence into full fear combination. Metaphors gets the bash. Bear form gets the full fear there from WizK, trinketing out of that bash. And here, if the Vendetta was ready here, Nozom would just go down. But I think Nozom might actually just go down regardless of that in about 20 or so seconds from now. When that Vendetta comes back up, the silence rotating back up, I could easily see a kill happen here onto Nozom. Peekaboo also has his blind ready, so he could look to force out Metaphor's trinket. But right now, Oz doing a huge amount of damage here. Nozom as well is going to have his Infernals back up in about 49 seconds. They need the pressure here on the side of Storm to keep the move at bay, stop them from actually going. And here, Peekaboo actually goes for the kidney shot. WizK, though, spell locked, not going to be able to assist him in that. They do, however, force out that life grip. Might have not been needed there by Oz. Now, the next kidney shot, they're not really going to have too much defense on the side of Storm, but that Iron Bark has rotated back up as an answer for the Vendetta. Nozom still does have his trinket, Unending Resolve coming back up as well in about a minute. So defense is rotating back up for the side of Storm, and the move they need to go now, they need to go and look for that kidney shot. There it is, blind onto Metaphors. Is he going to sit that? No, he trinkets out. No Iron Bark committed just yet though, and it looks like WizK is not going to commit his silence either. They're just going to go ahead and pull back to the pillar once again on the side of the move.
Yeah, I think that was a good read from Metaphor. I respect trading out the trinket on the blind, because if you fall behind in this stage of dampening, it can definitely be scary, but equally doesn't trade out the Iron Bark too early. I think Peekaboo was trying to bait that one a little bit there. This is something that Peekaboo will do. He likes to play this really fast-paced game, swap around a lot, put his bleeds up, make you confused as the healer. It's very difficult to play into him. I know from personal experience, you know, you've got to read him very, very well, because he will be very tricky on this rogue, but so far Metaphor's done a good job. We see another kidney shot over onto Nozom. Maybe he's getting a little bit close here. He's actually enabling WizK to do damage to him whilst also line of sighting Oz. I don't think that this kind of pincer maneuver is always worthwhile against the Assassination Rogue, because now they've basically set up a situation where Oz is the one out the game. He's crowd controlled in a root right now. Meanwhile, the mover getting a 3v1 essentially over onto Nozom. He's dropping very low. Iron Bark forced out. This is the Vendetta and the Void Form. Even the Smoke Bomb coming in since Nozom used his Racial there. Unable to trinket for 20 seconds. Huge damage coming in. Metaphor spamming out the Nourish. There's no crowd control, but can they just burst through? We're at 40% dampening here. The Unending Resolve is forced, and that is huge for the move.
Big Chaos Bolt from Nozom there onto Absturge. He's going to go ahead and deflect with his trinket, with his Barks, and with his Iron Bark, with everything here. We see another silence here onto Nozom, and another full kidney shot here. Peekaboo trinketing out of his CC to get that one. A lot of damage being committed here. Concentrated Flames are flying in as well onto Nozom, and now we can see Nozom again going for that summon of his pet that did go down in the midst of things, going for another Chaos Bolt here onto Peekaboo. Peekaboo does have his feint activated, however, so he should be fine for now. Another Chaos Bolt coming out of that Mortal Coil right there, and now we see Absturge and the whole entirety of the move kind of just go ahead and regroup behind that pillar. But that was a lot of cooldowns exchanged on both sides here. We saw Peekaboo drop the Smoke Bomb, we saw the Vampiric Embrace, we saw Unending Resolve as well from Nozom, so they just need to find that win condition here. There it is. Okay, so that is the Iron Bark. If they can go through this, if they have another silence, they could potentially just take the game here, Adrian. 44% dampening. Yeah,
44% dampening. It appears even the move aren't immune to dampening right now, but they're trying to spin it in their favor here. Peekaboo with that Vendetta coming up in about 30 seconds. Currently no answers available on the side of Storm. Even the mana starting to even out, potentially moving in favor of the move here with that Assassination Rogue. Iron Bark comes out from Absurge here to deny some of this damage. This is a lot of cooldowns coming in here from Storm offensively. It's the Void Form. There's two Infernals that come down, one after another for Nozom. Both procs now, but the actual Infernal, which you can see is coming up in about 20 seconds. We're at almost 50% dampening. It's starting to get really tough for the move, and they've got to be careful here, because if they get pinned against the pillar, similar to what we saw from Method Orange, then they're going to have a real tough time moving forward in this game. Nozom sitting back. He recognizes his win condition is to just avoid death, keep working down Absurge's mana, because he's really starting to feel the pain at this stage.
Yeah, and I'm not sure actually what Whiskey trinketed there behind that pillar, but he's not going to have his trinket available right now. The Vampiric Embrace as well, trying to help out Absturge in healing up. And Absturge actually sitting down for a drink. Whiskey now trying to kill the pet as well. And Absturge actually got his stealth off there. You can see the pet swap target. That means that the pet can't see Absturge, even though we can. And there's a Cataclysm as well. I think he did get a decent amount of mana there. Nice kidney shot here onto Oz. It looks like the move. No, they just wanted to kind of just limit the amount of damage while Absturge is drinking. Kind of a defensive kidney shot there by Peekaboo here at 53% dampening, looking to push in and see what he can do here. Nozom is going to have his unending resolve. There's one more kidney shot before Nozom is going to have his unending resolve. There's no Iron Bark right now. Small window of opportunity, but we've seen the move take these windows and run with them. Now Peekaboo is making his way down. Unending resolve in 5 seconds. Whiskey has a silence available as well. This could potentially be big cooldowns forced here. Either life swap or the unending resolve. There it is. Full silence onto Metaphors. Metaphors making his way towards Absturge to stop the drink. Absturge now should be pushing in, looking for a bash. He's not going to go for it. Instead, he's going to be completely separate from his teams. The Infernals have been dropped here by Nozom. Now Peekaboo and Whiskey taking a lot of damage. Absturge looking to get a re-stealth off so he can sneak over to his teammates, but he can't find it. That Fell Hunter making it really, really hard for him. But Nozom still just taking so much damage. Metaphors is really struggling to keep him alive at this point.
Yeah, I have to say this is one of the first times we've seen the move have to try play from this sort of situation where they're just kind of playing for deep dampening. So I have to see how much experience they have trying to set it up. It looks like Peekaboo's doing a good job just kind of rotating his dots around both players, just generating as much pressure as possible. Kidney shot, triple trinket forced out by the move. Incredible stuff coming in from the team. This is the smoke bomb. No healing incoming over onto Nozom. He's in trouble. He's kicked. Has to use the unending resolve, but it's so late in the game. Absturge is struggling as well. Both teams dropping low. 62% dampening, Zico. This is the moment we were waiting for.
Peekaboo getting that kidney shot on the unending resolve. No answer available for Storm. What are you going to do, Nozom? He goes for the Shadow Fury. Doesn't go for it on Peekaboo, though. Gets a full fear. Peekaboo gets the spell. Lands a nice kick there on the Chaos Bolt. Nice silence here onto Metaphor. Surely there is nothing he can do at this point. Now Peekaboo swapping over to Oz, getting that dispersion immediately out of the way. There is the Void Shift still, last line of defense, and now we can see Oz using his leap of faith, trying to get Nozom back to a decent amount of HP. The Void Shift was used there as well. We can see Metaphors with that Iron Bark, 66% dampening. Metaphors, what are you going to do to keep these people alive? Chaos Bolt comes out onto Whiskey, immediately uses his Vampiric Embrace to counter that, and Peekaboo looks like he's just going to go for a double kill here. Nozom, and
it's perfect double kill.
Perfectly. There's not going to be any death strikes or necrotic strikes, which is, you know, the good stuff that the DK brings.
Yeah, we'll have to see. From the Wizards of Oz to the Vanguards of Oz, I suppose, coming in here on the Paladin. They're going to tunnel down WizK, but I mean, it's anyone's guess if it'll work.
All right, let's see if the Retribution Paladin Arms Warrior works out for Storm. As much as we want to criticize it, it could end up doing the work that is required here. Otherwise, I think that Peekaboo and Whiskey are going to do an overwhelming amount of damage that the Retribution Paladin doesn't bring in these self-healing or percentage-based heals. Neither does the Arms Warrior, which we can already see is established with both members at around 50% health. Metaphor struggling to recover, manages to pick up Oz. Sheepgod shortly afterwards. Sharpened Blade activated by Sheepgod, looking to generate some pressure with that healing reduction effect towards WizK. Being also cleaving down Peekaboo a little bit with the sweeping strikes. Definitely a two-pronged assault, but the Crimson Vial healing and the healing from the Shadow Priest's Leech Essence effect, sort of from doing damage and healing themselves, is proving to be more than enough for them to be stable. Oz doesn't have that luxury. Sheepgod doesn't have that luxury. Metaphors is crowd controlled and can't heal. Two members are low on health. WizK is likely stripping down all of the heal over time effects from his opponents. Therefore, they are even further exposed. Metaphor's finally out of crowd control, looking to pick his team up quickly. They actually switched to Absturge, trying to catch him off guard. Metaphor's leading the charge. They actually do manage to bank a Void Shift. This was something that the move didn't look like they were ready for. Storm catch Absturge by surprise and bank a very important cooldown.
I can't help but feel like that was a major overreaction. I mean, Absturge still had his Iron Bark available, Safeguard had just proc, but I guess better safe than sorry. I think things are starting to kind of spiral out of control here for Storm. Sheepgod's low, already using the Die by the Sword. Like we kind of talked about, this may be the first game, I think today, that may not enter Dampening. Metaphor is now caught into a silence kidney shot onto Sheepgod. There's a lot of pressure here for the move. Oz could rot down. This could be the Divine Shield. Sheepguard could just fall. Metaphors definitely has to play catch-up at this point. Look at Upsurge in the back. Solar Wrath, Solar Wrath, Solar Wrath. He's just spamming out damage to help out his team. That little bit of extra damage is definitely helpful, but look at the side of Storm. I mean, a Cleave like this, you would expect to have a lot more pressure in this type of situation where they have a target like a Shadowplay with high uptime, but unfortunately they're unable to find it. Divine Shield gets traded out by Oz. Maybe this is just one of those compositions they thought would work, but it doesn't look like it's really doing too much.
I think it's over at this point. Rallying Cry, triple Psychic Scream. Sheepguard looking like he's still alive. Blessing of Protection and Iron Bark buy him time. He stays in it. They go after Upsurge. They got to kill him quick if they want to stay in this and put a point on the board, but it doesn't look like he's going down. He's going to be able to escape to safety in that bear form. Oz and Sheepguard are still low on health. Metaphors is almost completely out of mana. A significant impact having percentage-based healing on your team. The Rep Paladin and Warrior not bringing that, so this could just be it. There's no defense remaining. Silence, although Sanctuary was up. I believe Oz could have removed the silence, and then Metaphors could have healed, so a bit of a blunder on the side of
Retribution Paladin. These guys are going to be able to put out a lot of damage, but the problem for me is if they don't have crowd control on Upsurge, I just feel like he's going to be able to easily heal through it.
All right, let's see if the move can close this out. This is looking like the return for the move. I mean, this composition, to us at least in terms of analysis, makes absolutely no sense from Storm. Restoration Shaman is easily, I would say, the worst healer in the meta right now. Bringing in Arms Warrior, Rep Paladin, they don't really have a lot of self-healing against a Restoration Druid, Assassination Rogue, Shadow Priest. Maybe they can do it. Let's see if they can. Peekaboo's going to switch over to Metaphors. Sanctuary from Oz going to save him. Then Sheepguard switching back to Peekaboo, looking to pressure him away from Metaphors. They play goalie for their healer, managing to force Peekaboo back, although Metaphors did have to exchange his guy's medallion earlier and the Earthen Wall Totem now as well. Double stun combination here from Storm. Good pressure right now onto Peekaboo and WizK. Upsurge, though, in a position far away from the fight, and he's easily healing through it. Metaphor swap 2 again, and remember, Pack Spirit, the Azurite trait for Shamans, was reduced significantly in patch 8.2, so Metaphors will not be able to rely on running around in Ghost Wolf to save himself. He's going to have to use Healing Wave and Healing Surge, which open him up to being interrupted. He fake casts the kick, but then gets silenced on the follow-up. Huge damage. Blessing of Protection buys Metaphors a couple of seconds to stay alive, but now there's still pressure on Sheepguard. WizK pushes forward to dispel it. Chain Heal connects. Metaphor stays alive, but I think a couple more swaps like that, and it's going to be curtains for Storm.
I mean, it's certainly looking to be that way. And let's look at pressure for Storm. WizK taking a little bit of damage. He eats a Wind Shear. Actually forced into the Dispersion. Now there's no Iron Bark. There's no Dispersion. And look at Upsurge's mana. He's at around 50% mana, so he is actually having to use a lot. Metaphors gets Shadow Step kicked there by Peekaboo, as Peekaboo is looking to make the offensive push on Metaphors. Garrote Silence comes in. Metaphors really struggling. All three members rotting down. WizK and Peekaboo putting out massive damage. Metaphors trying to keep himself alive. Earthen Wall Totem drops out with the Ascendance. That's a massive heal. Storm completely stabilized off the back of those defensive cooldowns, but without those available, I feel like there is a storm of brewing, and it's definitely a storm in favor of the move.
All right, Metaphor's trying to rep the Shaman, trying to give the Shamans a win out there. If he can manage to do it, it would be quite impressive in the current meta. They do have a significant mana lead, so the pressure is substantial from Oz and Sheepguard, but equally so from WizK with 2 members low on health. Metaphor's Trinket's blind. That now opens up to a swap. He's going to need Oz to protect him with that Blessing of Sanctuary as soon as possible, but now they're all stacked up. Peekaboo goes after Sheepguard. They silence Metaphors. 3 members are low. They're looking for a triple. They got a double in game 1. They're looking for a triple in game number 3, but Peekaboo's overextended. He's caught in a stun. Now into a disarm. Metaphor's trying to get a chain heal. He's a bit worried about an interrupt that isn't actually available. Needs to connect these chain heals. Chain heal definitely effective to heal through this damage output unless Metaphors are crowd controlled or interrupted on it. It's certainly efficient. I almost wonder if he should have gone for the Healing Rain Honor talent to dispel damage over time effects. Maybe that could have been quite potent against this Shadow Priest. Upsurge is trying to drink. Metaphors is trying to snipe it with the Earthbind Totem. Throws the Totem over. Upsurge repositions. I think WizK is just going to trade Void Shift maybe for the drink, but Upsurge didn't get too much mana. They're still gunning down Metaphors. He's silenced up. He's going to use the Astral Shift. It's a big chain heal.
Wow.
Big heal there. If there aren't interrupts, that is certainly a powerful heal. Perhaps Storm have potential here. Hammer of Justice on Peekaboo into a disarm. He's going to use evasion. Super effective against the Warrior and the Rep Paladin. They're going to have to switch targets to go after WizK instead. Bouncing over there for some time. Sanctuary available. I'm wondering how they're going to navigate through that. Maybe a Psychic Scream on Oz when they stun Metaphors. I feel like this would be the likely strategy, but instead silencing Metaphors and stunning the Warrior. They've done this now twice in a row. It's creating pressure on 2 targets. Peekaboo Shadow steps over for the interrupt. Sanctuary try and protect Metaphors, but Sheep God is still low on health. This could be a die by the sword. Metaphor stunned on the next heal. Potentially silenced out with the Garrote, not able to find it. Triple Psychic Scream, good follow-up. 2 members are still low. Metaphors needs a chain heal as soon as possible. Goes for it with the Spirit Walker's Grace, is guaranteed to get it, but still only at half health. Absterge, I think, drank to full mana at this point, or at least very high. When he comes out of cat form, we'll know. Not that high, but Metaphors is in trouble. He's silenced. He's going to use the Dwarf Racial to remove the silence, but then is soaking up the Vampiric Touch Dispel. Does manage to get a chain heal. Now into the full kidney shot, no Sanctuary, no Trinket. Oz uses Divine Shield to break out of this crowd control chain to save Metaphors and also be aggressive towards Peekaboo. Perhaps bait the move to go after Oz instead. I think they have to kill Metaphors. That chain heal is quite powerful. But with this crowd control chain, they're looking to close it out. Interrupt into silence. Where's the stun? As soon as that stun is off cooldown, it could be the end of the match. Metaphors going to pre-astral shift. Manages to catch it here right before the silence, absorbing a lot of damage, but now Oz has opened up himself to a swap. Sanctuary's off the kidney shot. Chain heal needs to connect. How many chain heals can they get? They use Psychic Scream to stop it. Metaphors needs more. There's no interrupt for 5. He gets another one. Connecting that. He is actually, I believe, running the chain heal, dispels damage over time effects. This is an interesting strategy from Metaphors overall. Definitely unique to the Restoration Shaman, that cleansing water. So every time chain heal heals, it has a chance to dispel off the damage over time effects of the Shadow Priest. It's actually, I would say, looking pretty solid. A lot better than I would have anticipated in this given matchup. There could still be potential for them to find victory here against the move.
Yeah, I mean, you have Metaphors dispelling off all the VPTs as well as the Shadow Word Pain, and then, of course, you have Oz dispelling off a lot of those poison effects. So, in theory, I mean, this composition isn't too bad. I'm actually really surprised with how much healing Chain Heal is doing in this matchup. Metaphors, every time he gets one of these heals off, he just tops off his team. So it is impressive, but it just feels like the move has most of the pressure, most of the momentum. There hasn't really been any scary moments, whereas for Storm, it's been about barely keeping Metaphor alive consistently over and over and over. Metaphor, once again, looking for some heals. He's getting low in a full kidney shot. There's no Blessing of Sanctuary. There's no Trinket. I think they may have ran out of time. Metaphors could be in trouble. Blessing of Protection gets traded out by Oz. Metaphor's now looking for a chain heal. Big heals on his team. The move? I mean, if you look, Absterge's mana is getting low, but with some of the new essences, like we said, Absterge might be able to just hold on to 10-15% mana for quite a while. Kidney shot now on Oz. The move making plays, trying to go after another member. Metaphor's in a full blind. Oz left all alone, looking for some heals, but he's caught into a silence. Is there any follow-up crowd control? No. Metaphors gets out of the blind. He manages to connect chain heal, keeps his team alive, and this still is not looking good, but maybe there's hope for Storm?
There's no Blessing of Protection to deal with the Vendetta. Peekaboo drops Smoke Bomb on Metaphors. Oz can't support. He runs in. He stuns up Peekaboo. Absterge instantly dispels it. Peekaboo looks to close this out. He's got Kick coming up in 2 more seconds. Can Metaphors deal with the Kick? Absterge is lobbing in Solar Wrath, adding extra damage into the mix, and the move are going to overwhelm Storm in game number 3. Fall to them in earlier cups.
That's a good point.
I don't know why they would lock the Destruction Warlock into this team when they know they have Roasties on the roster.
Sid, I do gotta ask though, do you really think Jamili is gonna go for a Kolos type strategy of the RM Paladin?
I mean, maybe. It works, it works.
I would bet no, but anyways.
All right, here we go. Valido seems to be the target of choice early on. I think it's unlikely they go after Mageddon until at least later on in Dampening. The Destruction Warlock just has so much self-healing, so much passive defense that I think M2KC knows this. They realize Valido probably the only target that they can go after, at least initially. Sheep over on a Mageddon, an aggressive playstyle coming in from M2KC. This is what they're known for. Hammer of Justice on Colo, Kidney Shot on Valido, Polymorph on Mageddon. Good crowd control, good attempt here coming in from the team of M2KC. Resurgent forced to actually use the Trinket of Colo. Oh, no Trinket now. That was a fair trade for the blind, but now without that available, I mean, Valido still has some defense he can fall back onto, of course, with the Astral Shift. He's going to have some defense that he can use. Big attempt here now onto Roasties.
All right, big attempt onto Roasties. Evasion activated for the Infernals. Going to be dodging that 2 Infernals at the same time, thanks to the Vision of Perfection. A new essence and this Destruction Warlocks love it because you get a ton of Infernals, and what Warlock doesn't love more demons? Mage looking to maximize his damage during this moment in time, as Infernal does increase the damage of the Chaos Bolts that they dish out. Colo getting swapped to by M2KC, getting a bit aggressive and cheeky here. Let's see what they can do. Colo down at half, still getting tunneled down, but Roasty's forced to retreat. Rubcub with a quick pick-me-up, though, getting Roasty's back into the battle.
Yeah, Roasty's going to be full health, looking to continue the assault onto Valito. Is he going to be able to get it done? Jamili looking for some fireball cast, still consistently building up the damage. Kind of wondering what build Jamili's playing right now. He is going to be playing the short combustion build, so he is going for that fire starter honor talent. Every time he uses a fireball, it takes 5 seconds off the cooldown of combustion. And you can see with combustion active now, they're getting a lot of pressure rolling. So having that often in the matchup is going to allow the team just a lot of consistent burst. Colo is able to stabilize Valito's health, keep him alive. Fear now over onto Rubcub, Jamili into a Hex. Good diffusal of that situation coming in from Resurgent. They need these defensive plays, but the thing is, Sid, I don't know where the opening is for Resurgent. Who are they going to go after? Who's the main target? Do you think they're actually going to be able to take Roasties down?
I think if he is maybe a bit aggressive, yes, but if not, then no. And then the question then becomes, in Dampening, where is the advantage given? Is it the mana can the Holy Paladin keep up with the Druid? I think that they can. It then becomes which class is the most viable in the match. I think it's the Destruction Warlock. Their limited mobility, the reduction of healing and dampening onto their Soul Leech, and the reduction in healing from the Restoration Druids. I think at a certain point, Mage just gets overwhelmed and ends up getting taken out. So the only other way that I see Resurgent winning is maybe a situation like this where Roasties overextends without very many cooldowns. Definitely needs to be aware of that situation and not give up the match, because certainly in the late game, M2KC are favored.
Yeah, M2KC will be able to just pick a target and run them over. We've seen that from Assassination Fire Mage in the past, especially with the Paladins. Just so much consistent damage. Another attempt here. Colo gets caught into a blind. He trinkets out. He actually preemptively Ironbark Valito. He does manage to get some healing off in that Ironbark to keep Valito a little bit stable, but these consistent setups coming in from M2KC. I mean, we're not even at dampening yet. Colo already 50% mana. Valito getting low consistently throughout this game. Actually, a Polymorph sneaks in there by Jamili. Another combustion comes in. Big damage from M2KC. Valito has to use his Astral Shift. And now look at this. This is a recipe for success from M2KC. You want the recipe to take down a team like Resurgent. You get the Trinket with Blind. You get the Astral Shift. Valito, he's got no Trinket. All they need is one good triple crowd control setup, and they're going to be able to bake up a victory here. Speaking as a baker, I know. Valito now into a kidney shot. He's at around 30% health. Do they have the crowd control on Colo? It doesn't look like it just yet.
But his mana is not looking too hot, and that's actually a bit surprising considering the new essences every Restoration Druid has been running in the tournament, the Memory of a Lucid Dream, and the Ever-Rising Tide. It would be an impressive feat for M2KC to actually tap Colo out on mana, about 16 seconds away from Dampening, which kind of has been the name of the game here in the North American region. Lightning Lasso, big hits. Rubcub forced to exchange one of his most valuable cooldowns to save Roasties. That Blessing of Sacrifice redirecting damage to Rubcub instead, along with the Honor Talent, the Ultimate Sacrifice, redirecting 100% of the damage. But Colo's in crowd control. Valito's in trouble. No Astral Shift. He's on the run using that Demonic Gateway, but Pack Spirit was reduced in effectiveness for all specializations of Shaman, so Valito can't simply rely on that for the fight, and maybe he is actually the better target, at least before Dampening. It's something that M2KC are looking to exploit, but once again, Resurgent with a clean setup, a 3-on-1, Lightning Lasso on Roasties, big Earth Elemental stun as well, while Rubcub was in a Cyclone. That nets them the Avenging Crusader and the Cloak of Shadows, exactly what they wanted. But now that those cooldowns are active, M2KC are unlikely to die until the next crowd control attempt, which means they can be aggressive, and they're using that moment of time to go after Valito, blinding up Colo and getting his Gladiator's Medallion. Both teams trading effectively. I would say that M2KC are still in the lead. Rubcub with Divine Shield to break out of the next crowd control chain. But after that, maybe not. Cycloned up, unfortunately, on diminishing return. Lightning Lasso still a big threat. Roasty's going to faint right afterwards to try and reduce the strength of the Earth Shock damage. Now he recovers, he pushes forward, pops Vendetta, looking for the kill. What's Valito going to do in this position? Looks like just running around the pillar, holding onto that Astral Shift, although I feel like it would have been a fair trade for the Vendetta here. Doesn't look like it's the Vision of Perfection Vendetta from Roasties. It's up for some time. Usually you would see Astral Shift traded 1-for-1 with that. Valido gets away with it, but I'm not sure if it's... I guess it wasn't really necessary. It's fine that he gets away with it. It's really just costing Colo mana. Perhaps later down the road, if Colo runs out, this moment in time, it would have been more favorable for Valido to trade. Resurgent set up crowd control, Lightning Lasso, Mortal Coil, but gets deflected entirely by Rubcub. Both teams equalize here, and Dampening continues to rise.
Rubcub is doing surprisingly well on mana. I mean, we're at 12% Dampening. He's at 80% mana. He's easily keeping his team alive. And maybe this composition, the Rogue Mage Paladin, is another one of those comps in 8.2 that is going to be rising to the top, because this seems really good. Resurgent is struggling to find any sort of pressure. You can see Jamili has Combustion up. Here's a full cyclone onto Rubcub, a nice attempt onto Roasties. Jamili shuts that down with the Dragon's Breath on Mageddon, and Roasties ultimately should survive. A huge heal from Rubcub, immediately topping him off. And this is crazy. This Paladin is able to put out a lot of HPS. Resurgent has really been struggling to find pressure so far in the matchup. No one's had to use too many defensive cooldowns. It's a full Hammer of Justice onto Colo. Kidney shot on Valido. Another attempt here by M2KC. Massive damage coming in from Jamili, Rubcub, and Roasties. Valido barely holding on. Colo looking for regrowth. Finds a Cyclone onto Rubcub. Trying to shut down some of that Holy Paladin damage. Hacks on Jamili. Good control from the team of Resurgent to survive. But that's all they're doing at this point, Sid. All they're doing is surviving. They're kind of just getting walked over in this game.
Yep, they are most certainly just getting walked over now. Mana almost completely tapped out for Colo. It's not looking good, and this is where I was criticizing Resurgent. They already know what happens because they beat Cloud9's Destruction Warlock with the Assassination Rogue. Why would they play it in willingly? They knew M2KC would run this. M2KC is pretty much all they run. I think this is a big blunder by Resurgent on the blind pick. That or they're desperate. They don't know what to do in 8.2, and they were just kind of throwing this against the wall and hoping that it would stick. But throwing away the blind pick means you lose the swing match advantage, which means should this go back and forth to game 5, M2KC will pick the map and they'll know what composition is coming their way should Resurgent figure something out. But if they can't figure out something, then maybe M2KC just clean this up 3-0. Double stun combo initiated by M2KC. Jamili blinks in for follow-up, gets denied by Valido with the grounding totem. Great teamwork by Resurgent. They break the chain. The only reason Valido is even still alive, but look at Colo's mana, absolutely 0. He's relying on those essences to give him some mana, but he gets smoke bombed on his regrowth. He runs into the smoke bomb. Is there crowd control for him? Valido's on the run, but he's getting overwhelmed, and maybe the Destruction Warlock can just be ignored now after Pack Spirit has been reduced. Valido seems vulnerable, retreating away with that Astral Shift, barely holding on. Colo tries to get a clone and gets interrupted. They use the Demonic Gateway, but Colo's still interrupted. Rosty's got Blessing of Freedom. He's going to Shadow Step over, stun Valido. Spell Steal takes all of the heal over time effects. Valido is completely by himself. Colo and Hammer of Justice. Mageddon interrupted. Rosty's looking to close this out. M2KC, total domination in game 1.
Yep, very clean. I mean, 27.
I'm interested to see the build that Jamili is going to be playing. He is going with the Kleptomanian once again. He's going for that Firestarter build where he goes for the short combustion. I think it's a great choice. In a matchup like this, it's just so unlikely he gets off a greater Pyroblast. So I think just going for the Fireball spam, going for the consistent combustions is definitely a good option. Ooh, this is an interesting start. There is an opportunity here for M2KC to just all-in Colo if they really want to.
Well, it looks like they want to. They're in position. They got Valido and a Polymorph, Zach and a Ring of Frost, all 3 members in crowd control. It's do or die. It's an all-in. Will Colo cry? Huge damage. I'm not sure if it's enough, but it's not. M2KC get the perfect open, but 8.2 has reinvigorated them, and it's looking like M2KC are going to go head-to-head in the upper final if it keeps up at this pace. Can the Windwalker Death Knight of Resurgent overcome a 2-point deficit? They have to win 3 games in a row to be able to make it and advance to face the move tomorrow. Otherwise, they're going down to lower bracket. They're going to have to keep playing it out, and that lower bracket is filled with sharks in the water with our top point earners already down there just waiting in the wings.
Ooh, a nice interrupt there by Valido shutting down that opener, but they're just going for Colo once again. Colo actually changed up his talents. He's playing Renewal now, so has a little bit more of a safety net to keep himself alive. Uses the Barskin, anti-magic zone trades that as well, but that wasn't Vendetta. So there's still an offensive push here on the side of M2KC. You can see Rubcub still has the Avenging Wrath. Colo is still in danger.
Yep, next swap, they can pop Vendetta or Avenging Crusader. Likely going to be the strategy there. Maybe they go after Zach and use Blessing of Protection. They try and bait a Trinket. They get the Trinket from Colo, so now they're going to probably kill him. That should be the line, although they're still attacking Zach. They stack up for a double stun. Could be a scary moment for Jamili here. How are M2KC going to respond? They want to hold on to Avenging Crusader as long as possible, but they're forced to use it. Now Robocub's moving over. They get the polymorph. They catch Colo off guard. I mean, this could just be it for Zach. This could just be it in the upper bracket for Resurgent if he is not careful. Pops that Fortifying Brew. Doesn't want to rely on Touch of Karma. It could be immediately removed. Will he be able to stay alive? He's dropped Ring of Frost. He's line of sighting back with Colo, waiting for Colo to get out of that Hammer of Justice, but now Dragon's Breath. Gladiator's Maledict incoming. Zach going to diffuse magic that. Pop the Fists of Fury and Touch of Death. Big damage potentially onto Jamili, but Rubcub looks like he's more than ready for it. Gladiator Safeguard gets procced. They spell steal that off. Colo in position to try and pick him up. Catches a couple heals onto Zach with Iron Bark and stays alive. Resurgent get out of that stressful situation. Still with a lot of defense available, but M2K's pressure is quite insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage, and I mean, look at Zach. He's running, he's hiding. No Blessing and Protection is going to be available. Zach has to keep himself alive. Jamili's still looking for crowd control onto Colo. Unable to find it. Velito doing a good job separating Jamili from the rest of his team, making sure he has Chains of Ice up. He's death gripping him away, and it makes it really difficult for Jamili to actually land the crowd control and damage that he needs. Zach still under fire. There's a lot of damage available. Look at Jamili. He's got Combustion and Meteor. There's a big hit. The next full stun on Zach. They might be able to take him down, and there's no trinket from Colo. He's not going to be able to keep him alive. We need a preemptive Iron Bark or an anti-magic zone that's now available from Velito. So Resurgent has to be careful. M2KC, they're firing on all cylinders. They have pressure all over the place. Right now, everyone's sort of stabilized, but still a dangerous moment for Resurgent.
All right, let's see if they can hold on. So far, not too much pressure, really, thrown M2KC's way. They still have a lot of defense. They still got a lot of mana. There are a lot more close calls, I would say, for Resurgent early on. And then when we get into Dampening as well, what happens? Does that pressure just overwhelm them? They're on match point. They can't afford to go down here. M2KC would advance in the upper bracket. Rubcub's charging forward. Zach is a bit overextended. Colo's trying to get over to his aid, but Fortifying Brew has to trade regardless due to this overextension. Bit of an overlap with the anti-magic zone. I mean, they're trying to go 1-for-1 with the Combustion, but is Jamili running the Firestarter build? He is, so Combustion isn't going to line up with the anti-magic zone. I don't think it was necessary there. Now that defense won't be available if they switch to Colo. They got his Gladiator's Medallion, Vendetta, and Avenging Crusader are available. If they don't go after Colo in this next stun, it's the biggest mistake I've seen in the AWC. They should just... Colo should just outright die, I think, in the next stun lock if they catch him. But instead, they go after Zach. I guess they could kill Zach, too. He still doesn't have much defense either. Diffuse Magic, Gladiator, Safeguard. Really kill anyone at this point. But I feel like
backpedaling. Zach could easily just fall. That didn't look like
whatever.
A mistake.
This was just guaranteed victory at this point. It was
mistake in AWC.
It was checkmate.
I think it was just like a week and a half ago. I was like, you know what? Assassination Rogue does good damage. I think I'm going to make one, and now here it is against the boys. So we'll see how well prepared he is on that Assassination Rogue, opening up early on to Chun-Li. But I think Roguelock Druid as a composition in general is strong. I mean, you do a lot of damage. You're really durable. You can bring the game to a long period of time, and there's definitely lots of moments of opportunity for you to land a kill with a kitty shot into a Mortal Coil, but we'll have to see if Oz can survive defensively. Paralysis on Metaphors. Chun-Li looking to get aggressive on Oz early on. Is he going to have to trade out the evasion? No. Big heals coming in from Metaphor off the back of that Innervate.
Yeah, Fluorescence Spring Blossoms build from Metaphors, so copying a build earlier on that Gorecki was running. Very effective when playing with a Destruction Warlock as a Restoration Druid because the Warlock is going to be standing still in that healing effect. It also benefits Oz as well. It taps into the Mastery of the Restoration Druid. For every extra heal over time effect, you get a little bit more healing, so the Spring Blossoms really maximizes that. I do like this build from Metaphors. Gorecki was running it earlier. Gorecki may actually still be running it. I see his Fluorescence down as well. He is running it as well, so he knows that the Warlock isn't going to move on the opposing team, so he's actually taking the benefit for himself. It's going to be a lot of Fluorescence on the ground. Oz looks like he wants to switch targets, but Gorecki slips away from him. Now Oz has Chains of Ice so far away from a target. He's not going to be too excited about that. Manages to re-stealth, sneaks over, cheap shot smacks him, but cannot cheap shot through the Turbo Fist, so Chun-Li pulls Oz out of stealth and gets his Gladiator's Medallion. That is now an open target for Touch of Death in about 1 minute and 12 seconds, something that I'm sure Chun-Li has his eyes on.
Yeah, Oz putting out decent pressure. I'm curious to see what build he's playing right now. He actually is playing the Flying Daggers. So going for some spread pressure here against Smexen and Chun-Li. We'll have to see if that eventually adds up. I will say, if they can force Chun-Li, Smexen, and Gorecki to retreat and be on a pillar, then the Flying Daggers build is going to get a lot of value. But with this positioning, with Spring Blossoms, I am not sure. Right now, Nozem taking quite a bit of damage. Metaphor able to deflect that quite easily with the Iron Bark. But still, there's been really good pressure in this game in favor of the boys. Gorecki trades out his Bark Skin. I'm not sure. I think Oz may have made a swap to him, but preemptively trades out the Bark Skin. Nozem's taking quite a bit of damage. Things seem to be falling apart for Storm early on. Metaphor's mana already not doing too great, and we're only 2 minutes into the game.
Oz keeps trying to switch targets, but Gorecki sees him coming at every turn and completely avoids him and shuts out that option. It would be in my mind that Oz wants to attack Gorecki for the entirety of the game, force Chun-Li and Smexen to come back and assist, and then when they do, that Flying Daggers build is going to hit 3 targets. But if Gorecki keeps just avoiding Oz, he'll never be able to do that, and I think that Nozem and Oz are going to take a lot more damage unless the boys can create that situation where they can stack up the opposing team and get full advantage of the Flying Daggers build. Rain of Fire going to snipe Gorecki's drink attempt, but Rain of Fire also costs a lot of soul shards, an important resource for the Destruction Warlock to spend on Chaos Bolts to deal big damage, so it would have been better to have that Rain of Fire during Infernals. That way you can at least benefit from the Grimoire of Supremacy to increase the damage of the next Chaos Bolt for every soul shard you spend. Oz once again is trying to attack Gorecki. Metaphor, it looks like he wants to assist as well. Curious to see if the boys notice Metaphor is playing much more aggressively and switch to him. Looks like they're happy and content to be attacking Nozems. Smexen making a wise decision to activate the anti-magic zone here towards the tail end of the Infernals with the Dark Soul activated. This is when Nozem is most lethal, so anti-magic zone will remove that lethality and allow the boys to continue their assault towards the Destruction Warlock. Mana is going to be the name of the game here, I think, in this matchup, unless the Ever-Rising Tide has something else to say about it. But deeper into Dampening, I think it's a situation where you've just got a melee cleave attacking a Destruction Warlock. He's going to fall over, so in my mind, it's up to Storm to close the game out before Dampening becomes overwhelming.
Yeah, and they just don't have the damage to do so far. I mean, the boys are easily healing through this. Kidney shot now on Chun-Li. Nozem with a big Chaos Bolt. What can he get done? Chun-Li shrugs that off with an interrupt on Gorecki as well, but still, Chun-Li just pushing the pace, trying to keep the damage rolling on Nozem, gets the interrupt. Chaos Bolt going to be channeled out. Smexen needs to get back on target. Right now, in terms of mana, the boys are way ahead. Gorecki does take a huge hit from a Chaos Bolt from Nozem, but should be able to stabilize, and I don't know where the win condition is for Storm right now. They need to try to take down Chun-Li. Here's a kidney shot, but is there any damage to follow it up? 1 Chaos Bolt lands, 2 Chaos Bolts land, but Chun-Li is going to be walking out of danger. He's going to be completely fine. Gorecki drinks to full in that situation. That's a reset on his mana entirely right before we enter Dampening. And now, if the boys can shut down Metaphors, not allow him to recover his mana, that's pretty much the best position you could ever be in.
I mean, I would say that the boys are in the best position they could be at this point of game one, that looking strong to take it. This Rogue Lock Druid, a composition that we saw throughout the spring season in 8.1.5 as an option for these Windwalker Death Knights, doesn't look nearly as effective in this matchup. I really haven't seen any openings where I was saying Storm have a chance to win. Literally none. I feel like they have absolutely no chance to win at this point. Nozems is trying to create an opportunity here, calling in the Infernals, generating some soul shards with the Immolates, and then looking for some Chaos Bolts here shortly onto Chun-Li, but there's still a lot of interrupts available, so he's going to use Shadow Fury to remove some of them, then try and bait interrupts on Fear. Fear's Smexen away, but Smexen actually pre-anti-magic zones, anticipating the crowd control, and it is still Nozem and Oz that are just getting hammered on.
Yeah, big pressure from the boys. Oz and Nozem both rotting down low. Metaphors, what are you going to do? On any resolve, trades out, but the damage is just so immense. Oz getting cleaved down in the meantime. He could just fall. There's no evasion. He shadow steps away, gets gripped back in. Cloak of Shadows trying to run for his life. He has a smoke bomb. Is there any opening? No, there is not. The boys just steamrolling Storm at this point. They're going to need a miracle to win this game. The boys just need to continue to do what they're doing. Pressure down Nozem, cleave down Oz, force out the cooldowns. You can see Oz right now, no feint, no evasion, no Cloak of Shadows. He's really vulnerable, and if he's playing on top of Chun-Li and Smexen, he's just going to be cleaved down in this matchup. Metaphor's running on fumes at this point. There's no mana left. Innervate is going to allow him to get some casted heals out, but Touch of Death from Chun-Li with the Fortifying Brew. What was that heal? How did Nosem just go to full? That was the touch of death. They almost took him down, but he just got topped off instantaneously.
I'm telling you, these Swiftmans, I'm telling you. Yeah, I don't know. They're healing for more than I've seen before. Double leg sweep by Chun-Li. Looking to just close this game out. Metaphors is really relying on those new essences, the ever-rising tide to keep healing. And I mean, so far it's working out for him. Even though he's got 5% mana, 5% is more than 0. But he's Ring of Peace against the wall. He can't jump in line of sight. He's trying to heal up Nosem, but Dampening's too high. He's out of cooldowns. I think he's out of time. This was probably one of the most one-sided games we've seen today.
That's when they got introduced. I mean,
there we go.
I love the arena in Wrath of the Lich King. I still like arena, but we're gonna see Smexen now. Go ahead and grip Nosem. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see what happens here. Is Storm going to be able to put out the kind of pressure that we want to see them be able to put out? If the boys can just stay in the open, tunnel down whoever they want in this game, it's going to be a disaster for Storm. Oz seems to be the target of choice, but here's the thing. This is another one of those compositions. It's like we talked about Fire Mage and Destruction Warlock. If you go after the Destruction Warlock, there's a Fire Mage. If you go after the Fire Mage, there's a Destruction Warlock. It's very similar here with the composition that Storm's running. If you just leave Oz alone on that Shadow Priest, he's going to be able to put out massive damage. If he needs to, he can use Mind Control as a peel. You can use it on Smexen and Chun-Li to try to avoid some damage during the big burst attempts of the boys. And that's the kind of utility we want to see, but it looks like the boys, they're actually going for an interesting strategy. They're going to be bouncing between Nosem and Oz. When Nosem has a lot of heal over time effects, they go after Oz. When Oz has a lot of heal over time effects, they go after Nosem. And I think what they want to do more than anything is just tax the mana of Metaphors. You can see Smexen, he actually stole a fear there with Dark Simulacrum from Nosem. Nosem's going to have to be careful. If Metaphors is caught consistently into these fears, that's going to be a lot of extra crowd control, a lot of extra opportunity for the boys to actually try to land a kill.
All right, let's see what they can get done here. Oz positioned in the wizard corner. Nosem's looking like he wants to go to the corner as well and overextend Chun-Li and Smexen and burst them down. This is why Storm locked in Tolvaron Arena. Those corners are definitely the best place to play for them. Metaphors is crowd controlled up by Gorecki for a moment as Nosem is going to be the pressure point, and I think I agree with Zico. I feel like this is going to be similar to what we've seen. Destruction Warlock, deeper into Dampening, ends up becoming a liability and then just sort of falls over to the pressure. Although Oz is throwing in a bit of variability, running in the Psy-Fiend. So Psy-Fiend is an honor talent. When activated, summons in a Psy-Fiend that reduces healing on the target by 50%. 50% healing reduction on all of these healing effects of the Death Knight and the Windwalker could be a surprise that Storm are able to pull out of their pocket, find victory with, but so far they're not even really scratching the surface of the boys' health.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage coming in from the boys. Nosem getting lower, Safeguard procs. Oz trying to get into a position where he can actually land some crowd control onto Gorecki. Unable to find it. Gorecki just sitting behind the pillar right now, trying to potentially get out of combat and go for a drink, but doesn't look like he's going to need it just yet. 68 stun onto Metaphors. This is dangerous, though. If you go after Metaphors for too long, Nosem and Oz are going to be able to put out a ton of damage. And there's the Psy-Fiend once again. You can see Oz, when he uses the Psy-Fiend, it's a lot of healing reduction onto Chun-Li, onto Smexen. And it's going to be up to Chun-Li and Smexen to make sure they take that down as soon as possible. Otherwise, it's basically going to be impossible for Gorecki to heal through it. And Oz is putting out a ton of damage right now on that Shadow Priest with this build where he has a ton of crit. You can see those shadowy apparitions floating around the map, those sort of ghosts. Those are extra damage that Oz gets.
Who do you call?
Ghostbusters.
The boys are now the Ghostbusters here against Storm. We do finally see the damage sinking in. 3 members down at 80%. Gorecki getting blasted. Finally, Storm putting some damage on the board here. Psy-Fiend available, activated instantly by Oz, looking to generate some heat here. Infernals, quite literally, called into the arena. Double Mortal Coil. Nosem trying to turn it around, build some momentum, burn down the rest of Gorecki's mana. Rain of Fire, a great way to increase the damage of the next Chaos Bolt with that Grimoire Supremacy. This next Chaos Bolt of Nosem could be gigantic. Smexen knows that. He's going to drop Anti-Magic Zone here, his barrier of protection during this moment where Nosem is most threatening. Grip into double stun. Beautiful play here. Nice job by the boys, but unfortunately, Metaphors is more than ready. Gets a big heal, and Storm look A-okay.
Yeah, Storm's going to be fine right now, but if we look at mana, Gorecki's actually behind, so this is not looking too bad for Storm in this situation. They've had a lot of moments of pressure in this matchup. A lot of defensive cooldowns still going to be available on the side of Storm to survive, and I'm not sure who I favor going on in the match. I mean, sure, it's a Destruction Warlock. He's sort of susceptible to being trained down, but with the amount of damage Oz has been able to do, I think Garecki's really going to struggle to heal through it. Metaphors gets swapped to. He's forced to run away. Safeguard procs. Iron Bark was traded out as well, so a little bit of defensive cooldowns traded out by Storm, but ultimately I feel like most of the pressure is still in favor of Storm.
Yeah, Storm developing a lot of momentum, but equally so. Nazem being hammered on here, touch of death. Activated. Where they're disrespecting this moment in time, but looks like they're okay. Touch of death not doing too much on a Nazem. No unending resolve force there, and we've hit the 5-minute mark. Dampening has started, and what are your guesses for this match? Do you think we're breaking any records?
I don't think so. We'd have to get to 85% dampening. You really feel like we're getting there?
Probably not this game.
Yeah, I don't think so. No records will be set. Oz using the fade, the greater fade to trade out, survive incoming damage. Like I said, if I had to guess, I would say 30 to 40. That's my somewhere between 30 and 40 is when this game will close out. I think both teams are putting out massive pressure at this point. Both healers their mana is being taxed quite a bit. We just entered Dampening. But, you know, with the new essences, we have seen Restoration Druids and all the healers basically be able to run on fumes for quite some time, recovering a lot of that mana. With those various essences, Nazem taking quite a bit of burst damage right now. Specs and Chun-Li looking to make an offensive push, but you can see Nozem, he still has his unending resolve. Oz, he has the void shift. He can change his hit points with Nozem, so the boys are going to have to make sure they're doing consistent damage to Nozem to get through all of those defensive cooldowns if they want to end up, you know, barring a mistake from Storm, actually end up securing a kill and the second game in this series.
All right, let's see if they can do it. Can Storm tie it up here on Tolvaron Arena, or will they sink beneath the sands? Anti-magic zone again exchanged at the perfect time by Smexen, really reducing the damage of Nazem. Metaphors gets swapped to. Is he gonna get dropped to? Looks like he's struggling. Now into bear form with the efflorescence down. He's chilling. Now jumping forward, but gets Ursul's Vortex on his wild charge. Good shutdown by Garecki. That means he's going to be just pinned down, but Nazem's been left open, and Oz has been left open. How much damage can Oz and Nazem really do? I think Metaphor should have maybe kited to a different position. Now Chun-Li and Smexen can retreat to the pillar. Metaphor is still the target here for the boys, which means that maybe they're scared and they're trying to end the game sooner. Garecki's mana isn't looking too good.
I actually think Storm's going to win this game. I really do. I feel like Smexen and Chun-Li, they can't spend too much time in the open. I mean, you really can never count the boys out, but I just feel like Storm, with this map, with this composition, things are looking pretty good for them. Metaphors gets gripped in, good cleave damage coming in from the boys. Nozem getting a little bit low. Iron Bark gets traded out by Metaphors. Metaphors needs to make sure he's not kiting away from Nozem and Oz, like you pointed out. It's really important that he's in the open, allowing Nozem to get out as much damage as possible. It's one of those moments where the best defense is a really solid offense, and if you can force Chun-Li and Smexen to play defensive, that's when you have moments of recovery. Metaphor is actually pushing in, looking for crowd control, but Chun-Li and Smexen have been doing a really good job denying him every step of the way. Nozem gets interrupted. Things are falling apart here for Storm. Infernos do get dropped out by Nozem. He's trying to get some counter pressure rolling. Metaphor still pushing in, trying to get crowd control on Garecki. Unfortunately denied once again by Chun-Li, now caught into a fear. Nozem has to be careful. Dark Simulacrum fears from Smexen could be the deciding factor in this matchup, quite honestly. If Metaphors keeps getting caught into these fears, that's when you see Smexen and Chun-Li able to put out just so much damage. Now Garecki moves in, Rake stun onto Metaphors. Nozem could be in some trouble. Unending Resolve trades out. They need counter pressure, and they need it now. Oz has to try to get something done.
Well met, Hearthstone viewers. Welcome to what is going to be the most intense moment of this match here. Dampening now over 20%. Nazem's defense is starting to crack. We thought that Storm had the lead, but they have fallen back. The boys on the attack. Can they clean this up, or are they going to get some flack? They're about to take a bunch of damage. It's crazy. It's whack.
All right.
That was beautiful.
All right, down on Metaphor. Nozem still in trouble, but look at the spread pressure coming in from Oz. Smexen rotting down low. Chun-Li rotting down low as well. It's Smexen and Garecki. They have to retreat. This is devastating, but Nozem gets gripped into a ring of peace. Beautiful positioning coming in. Oz trying to get line of sight. He wants to void shift so bad. Can he get it? Can he get the void shift? He manages to find it. Chun-Li tried to shut it down with the paralysis, but good timing by Oz. That was really well played by the boys, setting that up. They gripped Nozem in, then they used the Ring of Peace to deny any sort of line of sight of Oz and Metaphors. They were unable to help him. Oz luckily snuck in the nick of time, and now look at this. Storm is actually in a commanding position. Specs and Chun-Li, Gorecki all at around 50% health. Gorecki's trying to sit down for a drink. Metaphor's chasing him, not allowing him to. And look at Oz, he's just free casting. This is the situation we want to see Storm in if they want to put another point on the board. Things are looking good.
All right, let's see what they can get done here. Who's going to fall first? It's anyone's match. Chun-Li dips low first. Chaos Bolts fly in. Not much defense left. They bring a piece of Nazem away. Chun-Li retreats back to Gorecki's side, but he's got no mana to heal with. Innervate in 5 more seconds. Innervate makes all of Gorecki's healing spells free. Perhaps that little moment of opportunity, he can recover the team and make a push. Chun-Li's got touch of death up. It's a race to the finish. Oz tries to grip Nazem to safety, but how safe truly is it at 31% dampening? Nazem is looking like he's just going to fall. They had all the pressure. They had all the momentum, but the boys just keep pushing. Will they be able to finally push Nazem over? He's solo on health. I'm so surprised that Metaphors is somehow keeping him alive throughout this moment, but Gorecki jumps in, adds in a ton of extra damage, and how is he still alive? How are you still alive, Nazem? At 10%, Metaphors is spending every last ounce of mana in the fight to keep Nazem going for any sort of opportunity. I actually can't believe it. Nazem is somehow still alive at this point. But where are the openings? Where are the targets? Gorecki has such a big lead on mana at this point.
Yeah, this is a disaster situation. Paralysis on Metaphors into an Asphyxiate Stun. He has to trink it out. He can't afford to fall behind. Gorecki moves in. He's looking to close out the game. Bash on knows him. Still massive damage with Fists of Fury. Smeks and Chun-Li. Knows him somehow holds on. Unbelievable, but I think his luck has finally run out. I mean, the boys commanding position for most of the whoever did that. Right now, Storm is in a bit of trouble. I mean, this is an elimination series right now. The boys are up 2-0 in this matchup so far. Metaphor's going to be pushing in, looking for damage early on. Inferno's proc instantaneously for Nozem. That wasn't actually his Infernals, that was just one of the new essences. So he's going to get a little bit of a mini Infernal to come out and do some additional damage. But Storm, they're going to have to try to figure something out. I don't know what their best course of action is. Big damage early on onto Oz. He's forced to use the Greater Fate to survive. But Metaphors is able to stabilize his hit points pretty quickly. And it looks like we have a little bit of a reset. In the last game, the boys, they had most of the pressure, most of the momentum. There was never really a situation where the boys felt like they were kind of in check, where, you know, they were in so much trouble that they had to run away and they had to do a complete reset. There was moments where they did lose hit points if Oz free cast for a long period of time and Gorecki is, you know, sneaking away for a drink. Then I think that's where Storm can really start developing some pressure, some damage. Right now, Storm opting for a more aggressive strategy, trading out a lot of their offensive cooldowns. Knows him, he's already used the Dark Souls, he's already used the Infernals, trying to get some pressure rolling onto Smekson and Chun-Li, who did trade out the Touch of Karma, so there is a little bit of an opening here for Storm.
Oz is running that Mind Trauma. We saw that in Europe as well. When the game is at this pace, it's a great honor talent. You can steal some haste from your opponents and benefit from its effect. So an interesting honor talent change there. He's dropped the Psy Fiend. The extra healing reduction didn't net them a kill, so let's just try and get some extra damage and reduce their opponent's damage. This time around, though, the boys are actually attacking Oz. They're getting a lot more cooldowns attacking Oz. Now switching to Nazem as soon as Dispersion was seen there. Good swap by the boys. They don't want to attack into any extra damage reduction. Maximize their output and then try and run Metaphors out of mana would be the name of the game here for the boys. Gorecki initiates crowd control with a bash. Chun-Li moves over, wondering if he wants to crowd control Metaphors or attack him. Just giving him a little quick Rising Sun kick and then going right back to the Warlock. Metaphors repositioning. They anticipated Nazem's getting death gripped, but equally so, Oz pulls Nazem to safety from the corner. Now Metaphors can easily pick him back up.
Yeah, Nazem look for a Chaos Bolt, and maybe Smekson is no stranger to Shadow Priest. Maybe he realizes Oz is running this Mind Trauma. If he can shut down the Mind Flays, if Oz gets a lot of these Mind Trauma stacks, and he has that built up, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. But if Smekson and Chun-Li can rotate interrupts, deny him from getting out those Mind Flays, then he loses those stacks, and he loses that damage potential. So I think that's what's going on here. Smekson and Chun-Li, they want to limit Oz's ability to steal their haste, and when he's able to get some off, they make a swap onto him, so those stacks eventually fall off, and they're not losing haste, they're not losing damage. I think it's intelligent, and I think that's why they're making these swaps over onto Oz. Infernals get dropped down. Still good pressure onto Smekson, onto Chun-Li. Gorecki positioned very far away to keep Chun-Li and Smekson up. It's a lot of pressure once again. Metaphor's mana is doing quite well, better than we did see in the last game.
All right, let's see if he can maintain that, though. Huge pressure right now from Storm. 3 members of the team on the boys dipped critically low. Gorecki in panic recovery mode to deal with this. pressure seems to be endless. Gurecky is still not stabilized. He did manage to at least pick up Chun-Li and Smexen. He can then safely hide at the pillar and pick himself up at a slower pace. Good positioning and good awareness on his part to maximize his healing on the most vulnerable. Good triage healing from Gurecky, although now spell locked. Fortunately, Smexen with perfect anti-magic zone timing. This purple shield protecting his team from Nazem's hardest hitting Chaos Bolts, but its defense has now faded. You're gonna need to get ready for these Chaos Bolts that Nazem is looking to line up. Metaphors is pushed up aggressively. What's he trying to do? Gurecky sees him. He is avoiding him. Both Druids playing tree tag right now at the pillar. Metaphors wants to get crowd control first, but gets bashed in reverse. Then Gurecky retreats away. But Metaphors will ultimately get out of crowd control. He's got to pick Oz up before he can move in. Looks like he's given up on chasing Gurecky. Too much damage to deal with.
Yeah, and I think it was the Siphon that Oz actually dropped out for Mind Trauma, so no longer has that as a potential to reduce some of that incoming healing. Big damage over onto Oz. Is it going to be Dispersion? No. Big heal from Metaphors, and that will chop off Oz. Now Oz looking to reverse the pressure, getting out some damage over time effects onto Smexen. Now, the boys, this is obviously a really good situation for them to be in. Right now, up 2-0 in this series. They need to make a deep run in the tournament right now. Going into this tournament, they were 4th in terms of overall standing this season. That's right on the edge. That's the bubble. That's not a place that they want to be. Boys, of course, they need to keep collecting as many points as possible, be as consistent as possible if they want to have an opportunity to make it to the summer finals. And right now, things are looking good for them. Storm, on the other hand, going into this tournament, they only had 32 points. Obviously, this isn't the worst case scenario for them, but if they really want to be serious about making it to the summer finals, they obviously need to figure something out. They have to figure it out quick because they're about to be eliminated from this tournament. I mean, Oz is getting really low. Another interrupt coming in from Chun-Li and Smexen. There's just massive pressure out. He gets interrupted again. Can they take him down? Big heals. I think that was a Hellstone from Oz. That definitely came in handy. I mean, that's good utilization of that ability from Oz, keeping him alive. We are now at about 3% dampening in the match. Metaphors gets caught into a bash. Gurecky looking for a hibernate. He gets spell locked. Good backup by Nazem. It's going to be shutting down any of that crowd control. And it looks like both teams have sort of stabilized at this point. Chun-Li's going to be vulnerable moving forward for about 30 seconds. He's got 25 seconds left on that Touch of Karma, and that's when his defensive cooldowns will still rotate back up. And I think that's one of the things that makes this a really difficult matchup for Storm is Chun-Li and Smexen, sort of these new age melee, the Windwalker Monk, as well as the Death Knight that provide a lot of self-healing for themselves. Shadowplay, they rely on a lot of spread damage, a lot of damage over time. And the fact that Chun-Li and Smexen can sort of heal through a lot of that passive damage makes them really durable, and it honestly gives them a little bit of an edge in this match.
Yeah, it definitely does. The boys know what's strong in the meta. The Storm are the ones that have to deal with it. If this Shadow Priest Destruction Warlock doesn't work here, it's going to be lights out. It may just be now. Huge pressure. Dispersion traded at critically low health. Big heals from Metaphors. Oz bounces back into the fight, but Dampening is now at 10% and will continue to rise at the top of your screen in the center. As that number gets higher, the healing in the game gets lower by the amount that the number says. So it's going to become very difficult for either side to recover from swing bursts of damage. Currently one thrown towards Oz. Metaphors appears like he's in a position to deal with it. More than ready. It's interesting that the boys have completely changed their targeting, whereas on Tolvaron they were attacking the Destruction Warlock. Here on Ashamanes they're attacking the Shadow Priest. Maybe they're trying to feel it out and find out exactly which target is the best one overall. I would say they've been getting a lot more cooldowns attacking the Shadow Priest, but it's also more risky because the Destruction Warlock left open does a lot of damage with Chaos Bolt, of course, so perhaps they're going to be switching back and forth between the two rather than just focusing on one individually.
Yeah, I mean, spreading out their damage, trying to pressure down multiple members is really important, but both these Druids are just doing so well on mana. I mean, both of these teams are doing insane amounts of damage, but the Druid's mana is just so stable at this point in the game. Nazem, he does get interrupted. Metaphors gets caught into an Asphyxiate Sun. Bash on a Nazem. They're trying to get aggressive with the Dark Soul, but right now, it's Storm that's on the back foot. They just cannot get Chun-Li and Smexen off of Nazem. They just had free reign this entire game. There's so much pressure coming in. Anti-Magic Zone trades, and I like that from Smexen. He trades out the Anti-Magic Zone preemptively so they can continue this assault. Normally, you see the Dark Soul as a cooldown used to force the Windwalker Monk and the Death Knight to run away, but when you trade out anti-magic zone like that, they can stay in the fight, keep up the pressure. But things are starting to spiral out of control for the boys in this match. Gorecki definitely has to play a little bit of catch-up right now. He's going to be going after Oz. A nice double leg sweep. Oz trinkets out Greater Fade to keep himself alive. He gets interrupted. Does Metaphors have the healing? Yes, he does. He tops off Oz really quickly with the Vampiric Embrace. Oz helps Metaphors out a little bit with that additional healing. Gorecki still kind of struggling in this match. Infernals drop out. Spread pressure finally paying off dividends for Storm, but Oz could just fall. There's a bash. Dispersion is traded out. What is Nozem going to do? He has to find counter pressure. He needs to get damage rolling onto Chun-Li, onto Smexen in order to force them to run away. Otherwise, Oz could just easily fall. I mean, the one good thing Oz has going for him right now is the fact that he has Void Shift available.
Yeah, he's got Void Shift left in the cooldown bank. They've got good damage, but is it enough to finish it off? It doesn't look like it. It's so close. How much closer can they get? I mean, look at the health right now. The boys are all sub 50%. Gorecki's mana isn't looking too great. If there was a moment for Storm to take it, this would have to be it. If they don't get a kill here, I don't think they ever will. They need to keep building off the momentum that they've got with Dampening rising high. This is it. I mean, other than this, if Gorecki recovers, I think they've got no chance whatsoever. Gorecki is slowly but surely pulling his team back into the fight. It is now Nozem in trouble on ending resolve at 10%, but big Chaos Bolts as a result. That is also an offensive cooldown, making Nozem immune to incoming interrupts as well as reducing damage on himself. So he did get to capitalize on that a tad bit. Everything's up to Oz. Can Oz somehow kill the whole team before Chun-Li and Smexen can take Nozem down? It's not looking too good at this point. Gorecki has stabilized the team. Infernals get called in. That was actually the essence of perfection. Maybe a bit of a bait for the anti-magic zone. Smexen's not falling for the bait. He's waiting for the actual Infernals to be called in. Chun-Li looks like he's desperate. He's attacking Metaphors. Smexen's going after Oz. This is a bit peculiar from the boys. I'm not sure why they decided to peel off. Maybe he was trying to drink, but he got the mana back already. Now they haven't really spent a lot of time pressuring Nozem. Ironbark's still available. Metaphor's trinketing out of crowd control. Activates its defense immediately. Will it be enough? Nourish is being casted. They have an interrupt for the Nourish. Doesn't look, they do have the bash. They bash Metaphors on his heels. He's got no way out. Chun-Li equally so in trouble, pops the Touch of Karma and the Touch of Death simultaneously. This could be a huge hit on Nozem. There's absolutely no defense for it. They need to Void Shift. They need to Void Shift, but they don't. And the boys take it 3-0.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the monitor beside me that shows a little bit of the
that new monitor that they added next to you? It tells you? Yeah.
Very really on point today.
Jealous.
We'll have to see which one of these two teams is on point to match.
Right.
Snuts coming in on the rogue, and it's very worth emphasizing. I think this is the first time we've seen Snuts, certainly this season.
What does your magic monitor say about the prediction for the outcome of this game? This is where we find the truth.
I'm going to go ahead and predict a 3-0 in favor of Cloud9.
3-0?
Yep. I'm going for it.
I'm going to have to tell Colo about this.
What's your prediction, Sid? You can't throw that out and not give it home.
Well, my brain is telling me Cloud9, but my heart is telling me Colo. This is such a tough divide.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, I don't actually doesn't want to give a prediction.
I just want Colo to play Arena with me afterwards, and I don't want to talk him too much.
Zach's already used his Trinket and his Greater Sacrifice onto Mageddon. It's been good lockdown on the side of Cloud9 so far. Mage is getting dominated by Snuts and Wealthy Man. Lots of pressure. What are they going to do? They need to find some crowd control on the Cubs. He's already traded out his Trinket, but you can see Wealthy Man, he's full hit points. Colo finally lands a kidney shot, but it gets cycloned on it. Polymorph on Zach. Mageddon's still in a lot of trouble. Big Comet Storm Ice Nova combo from Wealthy Man. Mageddon in a lot of trouble. There's a cheap shot over on Zach. He's got the Divine Shield. Doesn't use it. Big heal. Did you see that heal?
Yep, heals are pretty big right now. Holy Paladin is also looking surprisingly good. I was estimating that Paladin and Druid would be pretty close to each other. It seems like Paladin can at least go toe-to-toe into the deeper dampening stages. This will be really the test. If Zach's Paladin can run the course against Cloud9. Snuts gets to make his return. Finally, we get to see the myth, the legend, the BlizzCon champion himself in the arena. Dishing out tons of pain here towards Mageddon. Temporal Shield is going to go off, but it didn't do too much. Zach comes out of the Polymorph. He needs to connect some big heals, but there's a counterspell waiting for him. Not going to land on that Holy Light, but every Holy Light is a chance for Wealthy Man to snipe and interrupt. Actually uses his counterspell on Magedin. Now Zach can freely heal. Snuts tries to stall it with Smoke Bomb, but it got pre-Blessing of Protection. Beautiful play by Zach.
Yeah, nicely done. Wealthy Man needs to try to get that off as soon as he can, but Magedin was getting good polymorphs onto Wealthy Man, denying that spell steal. Now an attempt over onto Snuts. Snuts trinkets and uses his Cloak of Shadows to survive. Let's look at cooldowns. Zach still has his Divine Shield. He still has his Trinket. This isn't actually looking that bad for Resurgent. They could go for an all-in attempt onto Snuts. Keep in mind, Colo has the Vendetta and Snuts has no Trinket, but they trade out Blind, a defensive Blind onto Snuts. Interesting choice there. Polymorph on Zach right now. Magedin could be in a little bit of a trouble. So I guess they traded out the Blind to try to stall out the damage, try to allow Magedin to hold on, safeguard procs. He's got the Temporal Shield. He's not using it though. I feel like there's plenty of opportunities to use Temporal Shield in that situation, but Zach's heals are going to be strong. Now it looks like Resurgent, they realize they're not getting anything done going after Wealthy Man, making an attempt now over on the Snuts.
All right, let's see what they can get done. Snuts is looking a lot more vulnerable. Getting evasion, Cloak of Shadows already out of the way. There's potential here for Resurgent in game number 1. And what does that spell for Cloud9? I think it spells trouble because we've already seen Resurgent dismantle their Mage Warlock Druid. If they can also defeat the Rogue Mage Druid, I mean, what other compositions does Cloud9 really have at their disposal? It's really not much. Rogue Warlock, I mean, Resurgent might be the thorn in Cloud9's side, one of the only teams to actually defeat them, and it's with this Rogue Mage Paladin. Maybe they have to mirror them. Perhaps this series actually comes down to a mirror if Resurgent can beat Cloud9 in game 1.
I feel like Cloud9's winning this game quite heavily. I mean, Divine Shield, the greatest sacrifice comes in onto Magedin.
Biggest mistake.
I don't think things are looking too bad for Cloud9.
Big throw, potentially.
Yeah, Hammer of Justice over onto Cubsy. Good polymorph snuck in there by Magedin. Snuts is actually in a little bit of trouble. Cubsy, of course, got the preemptive Iron Bark over on the Snuts, but he's got no Cloak of Shadows. Gladiator Safeguard procs against his bounce. Snuts in a lot of trouble, and they did it. Cubsy didn't trinket. He was just holding on to his trinket for a rainy day.
All the cards. They can even blind Cubsy and then just pop everything on him and kill him and bop the Rogue. And because Wealthy Man also has to play Klepto, he's not going to be able to just Klepto, you know, the single Blessing of Protection. So I feel like Resurgent, they have the pressure and they get to set the pace of the game. But Cloud9 can definitely still win if they play super good, especially if Wealthy Man outplays Magedin a lot.
I think Snuts just needs a little bit of a warm-up. He's been on the bench for some time and now coming into the fight. Give him a couple games, he'll be back online. But of course, we do have to credit Resurgent. I feel like they're just a team that has improved and improved over time, and now they've got a lot of diversity in terms of their compositions. And if they can defeat Cloud9 in this series, it gives them a good shot to actually pass Cloud9 in points in terms of the summer season and be the #1 point earners. That would be absolutely crazy for them. A drastic improvement overall. Snuts the target again. Gladiator Safeguard procced, but no real kill found there. They can hold on to the spell steal for a later time. But they've already gotten through Iron Bark. They've already gotten through Cubsy's Gladiator's Medallion. Now they got to the Gladiator Safeguard. I would say that Resurgent, they're in the lead right now.
Yeah, I mean, things are looking good for Resurgent. I think going after the Rogue just seems so much better. They realized early on in game number 1 that Wealthy Man wasn't taking too much damage. He did a really good job playing defensive. He's got, you know, Temporal Shield. He's got double Ice Block. It's hard to take him down. But going after Snuts, if they just get crowd control on Cubsy, Kidney Shot Snuts, there's not too much that they're going to be able to get done. Wealthy Man has to do a really good job with his interrupts. Snuts could just fall. Cloak of Shadows, Iron Bark overlap. Cubsy's got no trinket. There's no defensive cooldowns for Snuts whatsoever. Resurgent is one setup away from closing out the game, and they've actually changed their target. They're going to be going after Colo in this matchup, realizing going after Magedin is not working out for them so far.
Yeah, usually we see Rogue Mage mirrors as a Mage race, but right now going after the Rogue appears to be the best strategy, and Cloud9 are trying to take that strategy for themselves, but they could already be a couple setups behind. Zach still has a lot of ways to deal with crowd control and save Colo. Snuts and Cubsy don't really have those options on the table. Colo on the run, trying to hold on to Zach's cooldowns for a later attempt. Cubsy's in a polymorph. Colo, is he going to move in and try and go after Snuts? He gets a re-stealth, maybe? Gets pulled out from the Blizzard. Not going to be able to capitalize on it. Walks into a kidney shot. Perfect timing for Snuts and Wealthy Man. Magedin's trying to save Colo with polymorphs on Wealthy Man. Looks like with the Blessing of Protection, it should be more than enough, but this was Blessing of Protection prior to the Vendetta, so maybe it wasn't 100% necessary. Zach getting caught in a polymorph. Maybe Resurgent falling apart here. Obviously, when you become the target, we saw Magedin focus down, and he dealt with it very well, but now that Colo is the target, perhaps he's not comfortable being the main focus. They actually use blind defensively. This is desperate from Resurgent. This is telling me that they're 100% out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, Snuts is going to get controlled up, but what are they really going to be able to get done out of that? Blind Sap on Snuts, now into full kidney shot, Hammer of Justice on Cubsy. Is there any follow-up? Unfortunately, no. Majorden can't find it, and because of that, Cubsy's able to connect the Iron Bark. Now they're going after Colo once again, and Cloud9 going after Colo just seems like a much better strategy coming in from them. All of a sudden, the pressure has been lost. Majorden actually traded out an ice block in that exchange to keep Colo alive. Now he's more vulnerable. They don't even have to get through that defensive cooldown at this point of the game. Things are looking really good for Cloud9 here.
I almost wonder if he ice blocked because they want them to stop attacking Colo so Colo can do something. I almost wonder if it was maybe a bait. I mean, it also saved Colo, but it looks so much different watching Cloud9 attack Colo. It's almost as if Resurgent are standing still now. They can't even find a footing to fight back. Colo, Cloak of Shadows, no one was over there. I mean, Zach was still crowd control, but I don't think it was necessary. Colo now with only evasion. Avenging Crusader, pop, but they're not. This seems totally uncoordinated. This is completely disjointed by Resurgent. Just simply attacking Colo, and Resurgent are falling apart. They try and go after, oh, there's the Vision of Perfection Avenging Crusader from Zach. Caught me off guard there with the new essences, providing you a couple of seconds of the cooldown at a reduced duration. I'm curious to see when Resurgent look to make a push, because right now, I mean, Cloud9 are just walking all over them.
Yeah, Colo kind of wasted his trinket a little bit earlier on in the game, and now doesn't have it available. Zach forced to trade out his Divine Shield. Zach wasn't in any crowd control when Colo exchanged his trinket just 30 seconds earlier, and it just seemed like he wasted that defensive just a little bit. And this is just a commanding lead for Cloud9. Things are looking really good. Keep in mind, Smoke Bomb is available here for Snuts. So if they can catch Colo when it's done, if they have any sort of damage, it's going to be scary. Full blind now on Trinkets out of that instantaneously. Kidney shot over on Colo. Big damage coming in.
I mean, this could just be the end of the game. They've already gotten through multiple Gladiators, medallions. Zach's in a polymorph first. What's Colo going to do? I mean, it just almost looks like he's lost. Like, they just targeted him.
Here it is. All in Cubsy.
Big damage here, but Zach can't help. If they don't have Zach in there, I don't think they have enough damage. He finally gets out of crowd control. He's going to be punching away with those hammers. They have to take Cubsy out. They have to do it. It's do or die. Can they do it? Majorden needs to spell steal that Gladiator safeguard, but they can't get it. Cubsy slips around the corner, and I think Victory slips away along with them. Zach gets stunned up. Snuts mixes up the crowd control, trying to deny some of the Avenging Crusader pressure. Colo is still so low on health, but now Snuts equally so. Resurgent just need to get a game plan, just pull it together. Otherwise, I mean, it's just looking so sloppy. Just calm down, clean it up, start calling cooldowns and targets, and start making something happen. It just seems like they're so terrified.
Well, I mean, it's not even looking that bad for them with how the game's been going. I mean, Zach has his trinket coming up, ultimate sacrifice in 30 seconds. Colo has his trinket rotating back up. That all-in attempt was really nice. If Majorden could have used the Kleptomania on that Gladiator safeguard, they could have easily just taken him down. They just need to be a little bit more patient. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Cubsy was able to survive. Now an attempt here. Double Ring of Frost gets channeled out. Unfortunately, doesn't land. Majorden now in trouble. Keep in mind, he's already used his ice block. Cloud9, they know this. There's no ice block available for another minute. They can force Zach to use his trinket, force Zach to use the ultimate sacrifice. It's going to be a really good spot for Cloud9 to be in, but there's another all-in attempt on Cubsy. Is he going to be able to live? Kidney shot into Hammer of Justice into Dragon's Breath. Cubsy in complete desperation. Barskin, Iron Bark. Still no trinket, but a massive heal. Cubsy able to hold on, and now it's Majorden on the back foot.
Yeah, Majorden in trouble. Traded his ice block earlier to help Colo, and now won't have it to help himself. And he needs it right now. He's so low on health. Sacrifice from Zach, redirecting damage to himself instead, right in the nick of time. But now Majorden Cyclone at low health, pausing his health for some time. Cubsy switches to Cyclone. Cubsy, beautiful crowd control at this point in time. Colo goes for the defensive blind again. Zach is in a pod, but he breaks out. That's so unfortunate for Cloud9. Now Snuts is in trouble. No Iron Bark. He's in a Hammer of Justice. If he trinkets, he'll get blinded. Snuts low on health. Big damage. Cloak of Shadows evasion. Both cooldowns. He gets stunned on it. Colo goes for the Vanish kill. Gladiator safeguard. Where's the spell steal? They have to wait for the cloak. Doesn't look like they have the spell steal. Zach's now in a polymorph. Cloud9 could reverse this. Going after Majorden, but Ice Block came up just in the nick of time for this attack.
Majorden's going to be safe because of that. There is a combustion available, and look, Snuts, nothing. He's got nothing left to work with. Majorden could easily take him down if they land a big meteor with a kidney shot. Snuts is in a lot of trouble. Cubsy gets interrupted. Is there any crowd control on the Cubsy? Here it is, kidney shot. Majorden, big damage, but Cubsy lands the Iron Bark that ultimately will keep Snuts alive. If they kill through Iron Bark, that's going to be a complete miracle. Blessing Protection comes in over onto Majorden before the polymorph goes in. Good plays there by Zach. 16% dampening. Polymorph now onto Zach. Colo. He's got the smoke bomb. He's got Vendetta coming up in around 25 seconds. Snuts still really vulnerable here. Cubsy has to make sure he holds onto his trinket. He needs to get a preemptive Iron Bark. This is like a 4-second window where he's going to be able to get it rolling. Cheap shot onto Cubsy. Major in. Is he going to be able to get anything off of it? Unfortunately, no. They just weren't patient enough. And that setup was completely wasted.
All right, let's see. Smoke bomb Vendetta. Big combo here for Colo. He can set up for the win. He just needs the confidence. He's got to pull it together. They've got an opportunity. 18 seconds away, though. They might just kill him. This is an insane amount of damage right now on Snuts. They Iron Bark to deal with the Vendetta, but they drop the smoke bomb. Where's the stun? Where is the stun? He gets stunned, but is he actually still inside the smoke bomb? I don't think that he is. Snuts is still just taking the pain at the moment. Iron Bark is about to fade. With its damage reduction, potentially Snuts' life. Snuts is trying to go for the kill at the same moment. So low on health. Such a dangerous moment in time, but they've got to make something happen here. Dampening getting up 22%. Mana in favor of Resurgent. Mage in pre-temporal shields, but he's done. Snuts sets up for the win. He's looking warmed up in game number 2. Mage blinks away on 1%, but Cubsy jumps in, gives him a quick smack. Proccing the counter rise. He's on the run. I actually can't believe he's alive right now. Zach keeps him going with the Blessing of Sacrifice, and now there's still victory on the table for Resurgent.
That was such a nice play by Snuts. He gets the Shadow Step kick on Zach. Kidney shot on Majiden. Almost wins them the game with that play. Unfortunately, Zach gets out of crowd control for just a second.
Oh no.
The ultimate sacrifice now an attempt here over onto Snuts. Iron Bark trades out. Fate Focus Shadows. No way. This is just a big setup coming in. Cubsy's tapped on mana. And Resurgent, with the way Colo's playing, he's playing so defensive with his blinds, with everything. Is Majiden going to be able to hold on? Temporal Shield keeps him alive. Zach uses his Divine Shield. That's the last line of defense. Right now, Cloud9, they're at the finish line. Majiden blinks out. Nice Dragon's Breath. Just trying to avoid Snuts at all costs.
Oh, no.
Shadow Step over, interrupt by Wealthy Man. Cyclone on Zach. If Majiden survives here, I'm going to throw my hands up in the air. That was a nice setup by Cloud9. A lot of close calls. Definitely signs of life here from
as possible, and then when it's his turn to get kidneyed, he needs to just be running. Basically, he just needs to play around the kidney shots, and then of course Majiden, he needs to go for Sheeps on Wealthy Man, and then when he does land them, he needs to go for a Blink Dragon's Breath onto Cubsy, or combine it with a Hammer of Justice from Zach. But now we're gonna see a nice opener here from Cloud9.
Colo actually switched off of Night Elf, and he's playing Human now with Relentless. So he has the Everyman for himself to get out of stuns, and also Relentless to just make all stuns, all crowd control a little bit shorter. And I think it's a good choice. I think it's going to be a little bit more value in this matchup than Night Elf really could be, especially if he's the main target.
Yeah, definitely is going to be the case. I think Gliders Maledict is not nearly as effective to be running that Shadow Melt, so getting out of more stuns, more crowd control, definitely going to be an advantage to Resurgent to deal a lot of damage. Great chain initiated here. Snuts is isolated. They pull all of his defensive lineup and still possibly kill him. Cubsy's in a sap. Snuts' Gliders Medallion gets spell stolen off. Are they going to move to match point? Cubsy's locked down in Dragon's Breath. Colo looks to finish him off, and he's going to do it. Resurgent take it down in a quick game 3 and move to match point. So I think you have to take it game by game. You can't just say overall, like, Cubsy's the better healer, Snuts is the better rogue. It's really coming down to just every individual game.
Yep, well, Resurgent are 2-1 up, as you say, Sid, 1 game away from eliminating Cloud9 from Cup 3 here in the summer season. They've done it before. Can they do it again?
I mean, well, we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, the last game was just so explosive coming in from Resurgent. Once again, going after Snuts. Kidney shot secured with a Hammer of Justice on Cubsy, but there's no follow-up. There's the blind. Cubsy trinkets out into a sap! Colo saps Cubsy's trinket. He does manage to sneak in the Iron Bark, but that was a good play. Are they going to be able to make anything happen off it? Doesn't look like it just yet, but style point.
Cloak of Shadows as well. Can they get evasion too? It would be every single cooldown if they can. Wealthy Man's trying to protect Snuts with some polymorphs, but even still, Dragon's Breath might just be enough to pull evasion. They need to get it. They're not finding it. Cubsy gets a heal now. Majiden in trouble. Pre-Blessing of Protection on the smoke bomb by Zach. That's going to allow Majiden to easily escape this attack. Cubsy repositioning. Cubsy wants to stay as far away from the Paladin as possible. It's a bit of cat and mouse between them, except the cat's the mouse in this case. You do not want to be anywhere near the Paladin. Hammer of Justice is a close range stun, and it's the initiation for Resurgent. So the longer and further away Cubsy can stay from Zach, they can stall the crowd control chain. Zach's going to use the charger to cross midfield and secure the Hammer of Justice. Cubsy is locked down. Snuts is on the run. He's trying to play defense while his healer's in crowd control. Does a good job disrupting both Colo and Majiden. Cubsy is now out of crowd control. Cloud9 have an opportunity to attack.
Yeah, kidney shot now onto Snuts. Can they get the crowd control? Dragon's Wrath, potential Ring of Frost, they find it! Gus is in so much trouble. What is he going to be able to do? He uses Feign, he has the evasion, not trading it out just yet. There's finally the evasion with the cheap shot on Nicolo. Right now, Wealthy Man's in full desperation, gets the polymorph secured over on to Magedin. Colo gets caught into a polymorph, into a cyclone. Good control there by Cloud9, realizing the situation. And Snuts managed to hold onto his trinket as well, so still has that as a defensive ability if he really needs it. Magedin, safeguard procs. There's good damage here for Cloud9 as they look to reverse the pressure onto Magedin the best they can. Magedin gets healed off quite quickly though by Zach. Those Holy Paladin heals are really strong right now. Resurgent, still, they stabilize. They're going to be looking for another attempt onto Snuts quite soon. Hammer Justice on Cubsy. I don't think there's actually a Ring of Frost available, unfortunately, for Magedin to actually find any additional crowd control. He sneaks in a polymorph. Garrote over onto Snuts into a cheap shot, and actually it was a blind overlapped with the polymorph, so Cubsy can freely trinket out of that. No big deal whatsoever. That's a fair trade, and he's able to keep his team nice and healthy so they can continue this offensive push.
I think you switch to Cubsy if you're Resurgent right now with no Gladiator's Medallion. Colo wants to start it up with the Garrote silence. He gives up on it though. Magedin still being pressured. Cloud9 mix it up, going after the Mage, trying to pressure there. Can they get the cauterized? Gladiator safeguard is proc. Magedin shreds through it with a flurry. Snuts is still trying to push forward, but he doesn't want to line of sight Cubsy too far, but he could get the cauterized. If he does, he's going to go for it. Shadow steps in. Can he get it? He stuns up Zach even for just a second. They get the cauterized. Are they going to get the ice block as well? Magedin's trying to hold on. They're going after Cubsy. A bit of a race to the finish. Magedin has to block. Cubsy's going to be able to recover quite easily because Magedin cannot attack an ice block. Zach's in a full polymorph. Magedin has not recovered. Cloud9 have total control right now. Snuts is looking to KO the rest of this. If they can get off that blazing barrier, if they can get any more crowd control, one more polymorph. Where's the cyclone? They don't get it. Zach saves the day with the Blessing of Sacrifice. Now looking to charge in, stuns Cubsy. Who are they going to go after? It looks like Snuts. They've got him stunned up, but he pre-feinted the attack, producing at least some damage. Wealthy Man takes control of Magedin with polymorph. Colo has to solo Snuts. I don't know if he's going to be able to. Cubsy's now out of the crowd control, catches a quick Sif Mend. Snuts is slowly but surely recovering and now leading the charge for the assault towards Magedin and to bring this to a game number 5. Zach uses Divine Shield to break crowd control. And with the Avenging Crusader coming up in 7 seconds, he could be doing a ton of damage. But where's the holes in the defense? There aren't any. Ironbark available. Cloak of Shadows available. Oh! Ice blocks. It's Magedin that doesn't have anything left. I think it's Resurgent that don't have anything left. Cloud9 have complete control.
Yeah, Cloud9, they're looking really good this game. There's a lot of tricks coming in from Resurgent in this series, but Cloud9, they've realized a lot of those tricks, and they've been able to handle them quite nicely. Shadow Step kick coming in from Snuts immediately on that Ring of Frost, shutting that down. Now full kitty shot, smoke bomb on to Magedin. Zach, he has to get there. He needs to land some heals, but Wealthy Man sneaks in a full polymorph, and now Magedin's all by himself. He's got the temporal shield. Is he going to be able to get it off? Dragon's Breath onto Wealthy Man, trying to slow down some of that crowd control. Zach gets caught into a bash. Every man for himself, frees him from that. And he gets out of the crowd control. Magedin should be topped off. Temporal shield's rolling. We haven't even entered dampening, and sparks are flying.
Yep, big damage here. Perfect crowd control set up once again here by Cloud9. They need to get sap. They don't get it. They go for a Garrote instead, unfortunately, but still might just be enough. Gladiator safeguard again, procking for Magedin. He Dragon's Breath Snuts away, but Ray of Frost being channeled, gets stunned by Colo, but it's not enough. Snuts closes it out. Cloud9 tie it up. We're going to game 5.
Yeah, Zach had Trinket for that blind, I think.
Would have preferred it if Colo went back to his Night Elf. I'm not sure. No, he swapped to Relentless, so he's human still. I like Night Elf just because you get more stealth openers, essentially, as an assassination rogue.
What I want to see, too, is when they make that all-in push on a Cubsy, Magedin has to save his Kleptomania Spellsteal for Safeguard. If Safeguard procs, Cubsy's not going to die. If he can get Safeguard off, then he's going to fall over instantaneously, especially if he's playing the Balance Affinity. So look out for Magedin to do that. Who are they going after? It looks like Snuts is actually the target of choice. Didn't get any crowd control onto Cubsy, I don't believe, and Magedin actually uses Combustion. Unfortunately, really futile, though, not able to get really anything rolling.
Smoke bomb drop, big damage. How are they going to respond? Cycloned it. Very low health. I'm surprised Zach didn't use the Blessing of Sacrifice into that. That would have been devastating, but fortunately Zach holds on, but now stunned. This is easily the cauterized. That's the ice block. Cloud9 are all over Resurgent. They have total control. The only opening right now is no trinket on Snuts. Colo moves in, goes for the stun, but there's no crowd control on Cubsy. They had an opportunity there to make a big push, but I think they may have blundered it away. Cloud9 they're in control.
They actually used blind on Cubsy, and he just sat it because there's no combustion. I mean, I feel like Resurgent kind of threw away the opener of this game, wasting their cooldowns. There's a full polymorph over onto Zach with the Cyclone onto Colo. Majidin is in a lot of trouble. Keep in mind, he's got no cauterize, which means he doesn't have that cheat death effect. If he goes down to 0, he's dead. Zach's gonna have to keep him alive. The last lifeline is the Divine Shield ultimate sacrifice available for Zach, the Holy Paladin. Is he going to be able to keep Majidin alive? Another beautiful Cyclone incoming from Cubsy. This has been great control in this game. Cubsy's trying to avoid the Hammer of Justice. Does manage to do so for a little while, but ultimately Zach finds it. Unfortunately, Majidin cannot find the Ring of Frost. Blinding Light actually comes in. They need to find some damage. There's the Ring of Frost. Now it's Snuts that's in trouble. He's got no Trinket, no Cloak of Shadows. Can Colo land the kidney shot? Snuts with the defensive kidney shot onto Colo. He trinkets out immediately. Snuts is still in trouble. There's a polymorph on Cubsy. He manages to find the Iron Bark, but he's holding on to his Trinket. Doesn't want to have to trinket outside of blind.
Number 1 point earners Cloud9. Game 5 against number 2 point earners Resurgent. Resurgent have a good opportunity to clamor and take the number 1 spot if they can defeat Cloud9. If they can play on their game, they've managed to at least get the cooldowns more even from such a terrible start on their part. Honestly, going so far behind, no ice block, no cauterize. So this is going to be the most difficult game they've ever had to play against probably the most difficult team in World of Warcraft you could play against. So I am curious to see if they can pull it off here. Zach's in a polymorph, Mages is in a stun. This is spelling some trouble. Colo's trying to slow it down by stunning Snuts, but Wealthy Man has free reign. Mages is so low on health. What's Zach going to do? He wants to hold on to as many cooldowns as he can. He bops the blind, but then gets spell stolen on it and silenced on the spell steal into the Cyclone. He wants to connect the sacrifice. Very close call. Now the Cyclone at low health. Cloud9 are on fire here. Snuts off the bench, warmed up and ready to go.
Yeah, this is looking beautiful for Cloud9. Cubsy actually trinkets. They might be able to make it all in. Keep in mind, Cubsy's really vulnerable. They can hold on. They've got Combustion, they've got Vendetta. There is a possibility. Ultimate Sacrifice trades out. Now it's Cubsy that's going to be in trouble. They're committing onto Snuts, but I think they could easily take him down. If you look, Snuts, no Trinket. Cubsy, no Trinket. Right now, Resurgent can basically go after anyone they want. Who are they going to hit? Zach moves in. There it is. Hammer of Justice on Cubsy. Do they land the Ring of Frost? A beautiful game from Cloud9, but Resurgent turning it on its head. Snuts could easily just fall.
Big heal there from Snuts. Trying to stun up Colo, silence Mage and buy time. Cubsy is in a blinding light. Zach's playing the all-in crowd control specialization. They go all in. They need to get the kill when they go all in, but they're not getting it. Snuts just refuses to die. Mage is in so much trouble. Zach in a polymer, but it's on diminishing return. Bit of a mistake here from Wealthy Man. Snuts in the stun, in the smoke bomb. Cubsy ducks in, connects a heal. This is match point. Cloud9 face elimination. Cubsy gets caught in a poly. Snuts is on the run. He pre-evasions. He needs to avoid the kidney shot at all costs. If Colo can connect it, it will be devastating, but Snuts is stalled long enough. Cubsy's out of crowd control. Now it's Majidin who has nothing. Cloud9 initiate what could be the final crowd control chain. They secure it, but they break it. They end up, Zach trinkets anyway. That's a big mistake by Resurgent. The Frozen Orb actually clipped Zach and broke the poly. Now he doesn't have his Glidier's Medallion. He's recklessly charging it in midfield and then gets crowd controlled again. Resurgent are throwing the game at these final seconds. They're trying to pull it back together. They're trying to clamor something, but Cubsy sees it coming. He Iron Barks before the crowd control. Snuts is going to be more than durable to survive for it, but Majidin's Ice Block's coming up in 10 seconds. If he can stay alive, perhaps Resurgent can pull this together. Avenging Crusader up for Zach. Maybe an opportunity for the team. There's still no Gladiators and Medallions for 10 more seconds. Resurgent still have an opportunity. Why did they go after?
But he's got no block.
Wait, he has no ice blocks.
He's got no ice blocks.
When did that happen?
They might be able to go after him, but right now it's Zach in a full blind. Majidin in trouble. Full sap coming in from Snuts. Majidin trades out the ice block. He does not want to mess around. Can Snuts get the re-stealth? He's just patiently waiting. He might be able to find it if he gets it. This is really good here for Cloud9. This is the game-winning setup. Garrote silence on Majidin. Can they take him down? He has the Gladiator safeguard. Now an attempt here from Resurgent. They're going after Snuts. But Snuts, I think he was able to weather the storm. He has his Trinket. He's got Cloak of Shadows rotated up. There's a Smoke Bomb Kidney Shot. Big damage on Majidin. Ultimately going to survive off the back of that ultimate sacrifice of Zach. And Resurgent hold on.
Both teams battling it out to the bitter end. You couldn't ask for it to end any better way. Blinding Light play by Zach going in for that very extended crowd control chain. But they need follow-up. They sap off the Blinding Light. Oh, it! This could be good night for Cloud9. Resurgent look to take them down. They get a bit more crowd control, but it's not enough. Iron Bark is active. Snuts is likely to survive him. He's got Cloak coming back up, Evasion coming back up. It's still so close to call. There's no Ice Block now for Majidin. There's no crowd control breakers for Zach. You would anticipate that Cloud9 can win in the next crowd control. They just need to lock Zac down. Zac moves into the Frozen Orb so he can break out a Polymorph. Good positioning by Zac. Mageddon's defensively Polymorph, but undiminishing return. Big mistake by Mageddon. Multiman's going to have free reign now. The Frozen Orb's over. Polymorph incoming. They've got Mageddon completely isolated. What are you going to do, Mageddon? Zac's going to trinket out, but into another Polymorph. Cubsy, are you going to move in for the game-winning Cyclone? He's a bit reluctant to, doesn't want to throw the game. Maybe he's afraid of being swapped to, wants to play it safe and slow and steady. Mageddon taking huge hits. Zac's trying to go for some Holy Lights, but he's got an interrupt of Snuts to deal with. He repositions away from Snuts.
Full blind, full blind.
There's no trinket, but there's evasion and cloak. I feel like Snuts should not die here. He has all the cooldowns. He just needs to activate them. He's going to evasion when Colo connects, but Cloak is necessary as well. Everything from Snuts. Cubsy is still crowd controlled. This actually could be it. The cooldowns are ending. Snuts is totally isolated. This might just be over. Can he hold on? Cubsy's out of crowd control. Ironbark's him on 10%. He's still stunned up, but he pre-fainted the smoke bomb. That pre-feint is keeping Snuts going. Now Zac's in crowd control. Mageddon's in trouble, but he's got Temporal. How much is it going to heal? The Gladiator's Maledict absorbed most of it. He's on the run. Zac is still locked down in a full bash, and suddenly Cloud9, they turn it around? Cloud9 turn it around? How are you still alive, Mageddon? Everyone just refusing to die, and Mageddon holds on? No way. Absolutely.
Sack. Oh, did he clone it?
I think he cloned it.
I don't think he cloned the effect.
I think he got it, yeah.
Got the clone, here it is, damage rolling out. There's a blinding light over onto Cubsy. Snuts could be in a little bit of trouble. Mageddon actually gets topped off. I think he still has the cauterize also with Snuts on the back foot. Cubsy gets the Ironbark, lands the Ironbark onto Snuts to keep him alive. Cloud9 can't believe it. They hold on, they're trying to take down Mageddon. Temporal Shield's going to be available. Zac in a good position to keep Mageddon alive. Hammer of Justice, kidney shot on Snuts. Is this it? There's a full sap on Cubsy. Mageddon also incredibly low. This could go either way.
This could go either way in what is going to be the final seconds of the match, but right now Mageddon is all alone. He's got Snuts all over him. How much longer can he take it? We're at 20% dampening. Almost both heals almost completely out of mana. Snuts is moving forward. They're pushing. They're just doing damage. It's all damage, and it's all now. Can they take him down? No, Zac gets a big heal. Mageddon gets back up. Cubsy gets swapped to. Colo's going for the YOLO swap to Cubsy, but he doesn't have Mageddon to back him up. Cauterize procs. Cauterize is back up again. Mageddon is just melting, literally melting. Full polymorph. How are you going to do this, Mageddon? He drops a Ring of Frost around himself, so Snuts walks into crowd control. Mageddon Dragon's Breath Snuts. He buys an extra second with that, but Zac is still in a poly. Avenging Crusader procs for Zac. He judgments. That gets him a big heal. Temporal is up, but it's over now. Divine Shield. Zac goes for the kill. They drop Smoke Bomb onto Mageddon. There's nothing left for him. How is he still alive? Resurgent refuses to give up. Hammer of Justice down, but Mageddon is just not getting healed. The dampening's too high. Zac can't handle it.
Ice block.
It's 3 seconds. It's 2
can
seconds.
he hold on?
1 second. Mageddon hold on. He's got an ice block now, but there's no mana. His health is not going to go up with no mana. What are you going to do, Zac? How are you going to deal with this? Ice block immediately after it comes off cooldown. And let's look at this. What options do you have? You got a Rogue with Trinket on Snuts. You got a Barkskin Druid, and you got a 2 ice block Mage. This isn't good if you're Resurgent. I mean, okay, but who do you kill?
Polymorph, he's going to get the sacrifice.
Sacrifice!
He got it on the blind. Mageddon's going to survive. Temporal Shield's still available. Now look, Cubsy, no trinket. Snuts, no trinket. The Snuts falls. This is absolutely insane. Resurgent going to be pulling off miracles. Can they do it? Temporal Shield, Mageddon not using it. Is he going to use it? Zac trying to keep him alive. Finally,
he got Avenging Crusader.
They just need one more setup and they can win.
Go for this stun. No, I don't think so. Colo's in a Cyclone on his Vendetta. Zac trinkets a poly. They're going all in. Will Mageddon fall? Ray of Frost fully channeled. Gladiator Safeguard procs again. Zac's in a full Cyclone. There's absolutely... How are you alive? There's no way that you should be alive right now, Mageddon. Zac in a full bash. Mageddon gets interrupted. He's on the run, but Snuts is in hot pursuit. He gets Dragon's Breath away, but it's not enough. Valiant effort from Resurgent, but Cloud9